The main guy, once a delivery man, accidentally kicks off a legendary saga. Not only does he change jobs, he gets yeeted into a strange cultivation realm. An ancient bloodline artifact chooses and fuses with him on its own. Thus he gains the power to freely hop across mystical dimensions. Every new world he steps into instantly spawns chaos and danger. Ordinary junk in his hands turns into rare treasures. Random plants that follow him evolve into higher spirit beasts. Common food he carries transforms into immortal delicacies. The head of a mighty faction immediately grovels upon meeting him. Even an ancient demon lord trembles while addressing him. All attention now shifts to a famous trade guild in Liaoyun City. Inside the hall, the air is taut with tension over a key auction item. Rumors of a lost scripture ignite fierce greed among listeners. The informant reveals a powerful rival, shattering that ambition. The mentioned young master exudes the aura of one born to rule. As the crowd reels, the auction host makes her entrance. The guild's female steward officially declares the bidding open. The first sect-defining technique appears with a jaw-dropping start price. Bids skyrocket amid the crowd's ecstatic shouting. A noble suddenly breaks the unspoken rules with a crushing offer. The entire hall freezes at the overwhelming price gap. The host confirms the dominating bid, leaving others helpless. Just when it seems over, a hand wearing a treasure ring quietly rises. That brief sound freezes the whole atmosphere in place. The young man calmly names a price that makes every noble go pale. The onlookers realize this single move has toppled the old order. The highborn bidder's face darkens, fury boiling at being blocked. The steward keeps her polite smile, ready to announce the result. A silver-haired servant urges restraint, only to be brushed off. Once the rival retreats, the youth is declared the rightful owner. Many disillusioned spectators try to leave, only to be stopped. The steward unveils a new item, the real highlight of the auction. The hall falls silent at the sight of a legendary token. An elder stresses its political significance in major alliances. The protagonist curiously asks about a name he's never heard. Someone explains it's a shortcut past all trials into the sacred land. Its worth equals a VIP pass beyond all laws. The rich young lord sneers, calling his rival a lucky fool. Just as he prepares to bid, a staggering number drops first. The price stuns the entire hall into paralysis. The young lord's face contorts in disbelief. Meanwhile, the youth looks confused at everyone's shock. The steward nearly loses control, sealing the deal in delight. Her overexcitement leaves the crowd dumbfounded as protocol collapses. She immediately approaches the bidder to verify strict payment methods. The young man asks for a payment delay and is escorted out through a private route. The defeated noble scowls and secretly orders an investigation into his rival. In a sealed room, the steward assures him that their backup forces are ready. Once the tension fades, he finally relaxes. He removes the treasure ring, clearly about to trigger a secret. The small object spins midair, radiating strange signs. Blinding flash erupts, warping the surrounding space. His figure is pulled back to his original homeland. His true identity and dual-realm travel ability are revealed. It all began with a small accident that awakened an ancient relic in his bloodline. His first realm jump was chaotic, bringing odd items that drew attention. This alien world runs on brutal survival rules. A random vegetable in his hand starts glowing with spiritual light. The phenomenon is deemed a rare treasure, sparking a bidding frenzy. In an instant, his financial fate flips completely. His first earnings far exceed imagination. From something no one expected, through repeated trials, he gradually grasps the world's structure. The continent is split into 5 distinct strategic regions. Alongside them exist forbidden zones beyond normal order. Some territories are ruled by foreign races. Dark forces gather in the most perilous area. The rest belongs to humanity for expansion and use. 3 races maintain a fragile balance after centuries of conflict. Among humans, cultivation rank defines power and status. The body tempering phase includes 7 progressive stages. The divine arts path opens access to higher energies. The ultimate realms mark the peak of any cultivator's journey. Beyond strength, hidden laws await personal discovery. Interrealm travel rules state only natural life forms can cross safely. Transporting objects is tightly limited, exceeding it causes instant failure. Creatures from other realms mutate upon entering the mortal world. Luckily, the relic can auto-adjust clothing to hide anomalies. Back in reality, he realizes his spending joy made him forget his income problem. An idea sparks as he gazes out the window. Confident smile forms, his new plan is ready. Time passes, and complaints rise outside from the long wait. The steward stays calm, deciding to keep observing. The guards grow suspicious, sensing something odd within the room. The gossip makes her hesitate briefly. Finally, she chooses to enter and check for herself. The moment the door opens, an unexpected scene unfolds. They bump face-to-face, creating an awkward silence. He cracks a joke, turning the mishap into playful teasing. She regains composure and shifts to the core issue: payment. Outwardly polite, she's inwardly ready to retaliate if deceived. He admits gathering resources isn't easy. The guards misread his tone and prepare to use force. Just as tension peaks, he reveals a glowing spirit creature that shocks everyone. He insists this is the real matter worth discussing. The steward recognizes it as a rare spiritual herb that heals and prolongs life. He bluntly asks if that's enough to replace the gold payment. Seeing the impossible quantity, she completely loses her composure. The pile of spirit beasts alone equals a fortune, and it all began with a simple act of kindness toward common workers. Before everyone's stunned faces, he calmly reveals the true origin of the creatures. The steward instantly negotiates. Determined to preserve this rare connection, he calculates the values precisely, flipping the deal so the guild now owes him. Pleased with the promise, he agrees to the exchange without fuss. Soon after, he leaves with an armory of weapons under amazed stares. Before disappearing, he leaves a teasing promise that makes the steward awkwardly smile. The new guards panic at the sight of a cleaned-out vault. The steward sees it as a long-term investment, certain is no ordinary man. A few steps later, he suddenly halts. Sensing danger ahead, a gang of bandits appears, openly demanding his treasures. He responds with pure disdain, utterly fearless. The bandits, enraged, immediately attack. At the brink of death, he triggers his teleportation ability. His body vanishes, leaving his foes bewildered. Back in the mortal world, he realizes the limits of realm travel and its brutality. He reflects on his reckless show-off and resolves to learn martial techniques. He once avoided cultivation because the manuals were too obscure. This time, as he opens it, something strange happens. The cultivation text becomes vivid and surprisingly easy to grasp. He finds learning in this world far smoother than expected. Path to ultimate power begins to unfold. Brimming with confidence, he steps onto his new journey. Half a month later, in a barren field, his first power bursts forth. His punch shatters a massive boulder, revealing his figure behind it. Breathing hard, he confirms his hard training has paid off. Continuous cultivation has made his body lean and his power surge. He senses his physique has mutated strength and organs beyond his visible level. Though now a martial cultivator, he knows danger is closing in. While pondering, a sudden cry for help echoes from afar. Ahead, a group of villagers is besieged by wild beasts. The perilous scene quickly falls within his view. The beast's feral eyes gleam with murderous intent. One lunges at a child, fangs dripping blood. At that instant, a single punch smashes the beast's skull. He joins the fight, directly crushing the attacker. The loud impact makes everyone turn in shock. The enraged pack leader roars, signaling counterattack. He stands before the girl, treating the battle as training. The beasts charge all at once, roaring madly. He shouts and strikes back without hesitation. His overwhelming force sends them flying like straw dolls. At last, he relaxes, threat eliminated. The rescued people stare in awe and gratitude. In another forest, he continues testing his strength. A single motion fells a giant tree. Trunks topple one after another under his blows. The rescued girl brings him water, admiringly introducing herself. The villagers hurried to collect the wood, thrilled to rebuild their homes. He modestly replies that it was nothing worth mentioning. Remembering his benefactor's invitation, gratitude and identity are made clear. Warned about mountain dangers, has invited to stay safely in the village. After the battle, the strangers treat him like a returning hero. Not wanting to reject their kindness, he stays to train in peace. His cultivation soars briefly, then slows as a bottleneck appears. He learns that further progress requires strengthening internal organs through special methods. He decides to use resources from his old world to compensate. In Mujia village, the people prepare goods for the market fair. Mutai invites him along, calling it a relaxing trip. The trade road buzzes with shouts, revealing the lively mortal rhythm. The villagers sell forest products they've long gathered. Mutai happily thanks him for helping the goods sell out fast. The little girl tugs his hand, her eyes full of trust and warmth. The adults don't interfere, letting them wander off through the crowd. As a bit dazed by such unguarded trust, they stroll joyfully through the market, the girl beaming over her new gift. Their fun abruptly ends when a familiar cry for help rings out. He immediately leads the girl toward the chaotic crowd. The sight makes the girl tremble with emotion. A group of thugs is brutally beating villagers. The victims can only endure helplessly. The girl rushes in, crying as she shields her loved one. Her father, hurt and terrified, shouts for her to stop amid the chaos. One thug kicks the frail girl and hurls insults, calling her worthless trash. In that instant, Yifan appears, grabs the thug's leg coldly, and snaps it. The man screams as his leg twists grotesquely, bones shattered. Yifan scolds him essily for a cultivator attacking a defenseless child. Shaking in fear, the thug still orders his gang to attack. The command triggers the whole group to charge at Yifan. One swordsman lunges but takes a gut-crushing punch from Yifan. The blow flings him away, knocking down the rest behind. Without pause, Yifan stomps another's neck, ending him with cold precision. Calmly, he asks if he is now qualified to teach them. Facing death, the leader panics and begs for mercy. From afar, a gray-haired man with a broadsword observes silently, gauging the youth's power. His shocked to sense the boy has reached the bone-breaking realm. Yifan grabs a thug by the collar, demanding to know why they caused trouble. His second uncle hurriedly stops him, warning these men serve the city lord's manor. Hearing that, Yifan narrows his eyes, asking what's really going on. The gray-haired man steps forward, explaining the accident and naming himself Zhou Hon, head guard of the city lord's mansion. An angry villager retorts that the carriage lost control first and caused the crash. Uncle Mu quickly intervenes, choosing to swallow his pride to avoid bigger trouble. He kneels before the carriage, begging the young lady to spare everyone for the injured man's sake. Fan now grasps the truth. The official status makes everyone afraid to resist. From inside, a hand lifts the curtain as a cold female voice demands compensation for the mistake. The speaker is Lan Xing-nai, who orders Zhou Hon to break the villagers' legs as a warning. Uncle Mu, sweating but composed, questions the lady's cruelty. Lan Xing-nai laughs wickedly, calling it a small price for ruining her mood, then commands the execution. A bald brute with a broadsword bows to obey, stepping forth with murderous aura. He charges, blade raised, mocking the peasants and swearing to kill them all. Just before the blade falls, Fan calmly intercepts it with one hand. The bald man pales, roaring in shock at the unexpected block. Fan clenches his fist, swings back hard, and shouts, "Get lost!" The punch smashes his face, leaving him whited in disbelief. Though burly, the brute narrowly dodges the next blow with sharp reflexes. Fan shields the victims, asking if they're hurt. They assure him they're fine. Little Ruru bursts into tears, calling Fan's name in fear and relief. Lan Xing-nai frowns angrily, calling him a nameless fool daring to oppose her. Fan charges the bald man, fists blazing with determination. The brute raises his sword horizontally to block. Upon impact, the sword shatters from the sheer force, leaving him stunned. He quickly crosses his arms to guard, cursing the youth's terrifying strength. The next punch slams into his forearms but doesn't send him flying yet. Fan narrows his eyes, surprised by that endurance. The bald man sneers, boasting of the iron armor gifted by the city lord. Before he finishes, Fan's punch pierces his defense, breaking arms and shaking his chest. The man's body is flung away, vomiting blood from ruptured organs. Soldiers rush in to catch him, panicking over their fallen leader. Onlookers whisper in shock, thrilled yet terrified of the aftermath. The bald man shoves his men aside, screaming that he'll kill Fan himself. He ignites his blood energy, body glowing red in a berserk state. The sight finally makes Fan visibly alarmed. In a blink, the brute closes in with a flurry of savage punches. Fan's pupils tighten, puzzled by the strange technique. The bald man laughs madly, flaunting his early blood realm and mocking Fan's chances. Before he can finish, Fan's fist meets his face. He coolly notes the man's weak power despite higher rank. The punch crushes his face, teeth and lips mangled beyond recognition. His body soars through the air and slams into the ground. Soldiers screaming. Uncle Mu's group stands frozen, jaws dropping at the impossible scene. The bald brute coughs blood endlessly, unable to fathom how a novice could be so monstrous. Ruoru rushes over, hugging Fan and asking if he's hurt. He gently reassures her is fine. Fan quietly inspects himself, realizing his earthborn physique makes him far stronger than local cultivators. Lan Xing-nai furiously orders troops from the city lord's manor to arrest all villagers and throw them into the dungeon. The soldiers immediately kneel and obey in unison. Uncle Mu trembles in fear, recalling the horrific fate of those once imprisoned there. Just then, another carriage arrives revealing steward Nilan, mocking the Lan family's arrogance. Her voice draws every gaze toward the newly arrived carriage. Nilan calmly smokes, criticizing their disregard for lives and abuse of power in public. Lan Xing-nai's face darkens as she demands to know Nilan's true intent. Nilan steps down smiling, declaring she personally saw the Lan carriage cause the accident. She greets Fan politely, and he hurriedly returns the courtesy. The villagers are stunned to learn Fan knows the chief steward of One Bao Tower, a top trade guild. Lan Xing-nai sneers, mocking a steward for mingling with commoners. Nilan sternly replies the people are the nation's foundation and warns her of royal consequences for such insults. Lan Xing-nai fumes, accusing Nilan of threatening her openly. Nilan coolly says if she wants to make arrests, she'll have to overcome One Bao Tower first. Lan Xing-nai hesitates, knowing that offending the powerful guild would be disastrous. She forces a smile, pretending to yield, and grants a one-time pardon to the villagers. The Lan entourage retreats hastily like startled birds. The Mu villagers finally breathe easy, overjoyed at their narrow escape. Nilan then escorts Fan and the others to One Bao Tower. He sincerely thanks her, but she shrugs it off. She orders the injured villagers treated in the guest hall. As the others leave, Ruoru tugs Fan's sleeve, curiously asking about his link to the wealthy big sister. Fan strokes his chin and says simply it's because she still owes him money. Ruoru's eyes widen in disbelief. Later, Nilan shares tea with Fan, congratulating him on reaching the rare bone-breaking realm in Liao Yun City. Fan modestly replies, admitting he couldn't have escaped today without her help, pouring more tea. Nilan probes why someone with so many rare elixirs hides in a rural village. Fan's expression hardens as he tells her to remember one thing. He coldly warns that what should be known, hearsay and forbidden matters must never be asked. Nilan shivers slightly and hastily agrees not to pry. Fan changes tone, reminding her of the 3 million gold debt from their last trade. Making her awkwardly admit it, she offers to show him new merchandise to pick from and offset the debt, instantly catching his interest. Mentioning business jogs Fan's memory of his earlier fight with the guard captain. He brings up the strange fist technique the man used. Fan then directly asks if there's a martial art here suited to his style. Nilan leads into One Bao Tower's technique vault, displaying all the latest martial arts for him to choose. She first presents Chun Shen Finger, a low-tier royal-grade finger art that can pierce stone once mastered. Next is He Jia Pong, a mid-tier royal-grade technique from South Emperor. requiring special cultivation methods. Though she showcases famous arts like Chunhoa hand, none truly satisfy Yifan. Finally, Naolan retrieves a manual from the top shelf, saying this is the last option. She solemnly introduces it as Shadow Fist, a Haiti Royale grade technique and one Bao Tower's prized treasure. Yifan strokes his chin, satisfied it's exactly the kind of high-grade art he sought. In the main hall, Ruru waits nervously by herself. She has heard that even geniuses need months of seclusion to master a top royal-grade technique. Seeing Yifan appear, Ruru dashes over and hugs him joyfully. Yifan asks why she didn't rest instead of waiting outside. Ruru honestly says she was worried and came to check on him. Naolan remarks that their closeness looks just like real siblings. Yifan playfully pinches Ruru's cheek, teasing that she has his little tail. Then he pulls something from his robe. It turns out to be a brand new outfit, which he offers Ruruo to try on. Her eyes sparkle as she asks if it's really a gift for her. Naolan smiles and confirms that Yifan picked it specially, had noticed the outfit earlier for re-embroidered flowing fairy, both elegant and nurturing, perfect for girls. Just as the mood warms, someone rushes in, shouting that second uncle is in danger. They hurry to find him unconscious on a sickbed. The old physician examines him for a while. Frowning in frustration, he concludes the injuries are severe broken bones. Ruptured veins only a legendary master could heal him, or perhaps a divine medicine, though such things barely exist. Amid despair, Yifan calmly says there might still be a way. That night, at a modern world pharmacy, closing time arrives. A tired clerk prepares to lock up after a long shift. Suddenly, Yifan bursts through the double doors. Moonlight hits his face, making the clerk turn pale in terror. Yifan grins eerily, eyes wide under the night's glow. Meanwhile, in the other world, villagers keep vigil beside second uncle. Ruru grows more anxious as Yifan still hasn't returned. Just then, his familiar voice calls out his back. Yifan places a glowing root before the doctor, asking if it can save the man. The old doctor's eyes bulge at the sight of the shining herbs. He trembles, naming two mythical ingredients Baixiu Kai Linhua and Di Zhang Beichong Kawang. He continues, adding Wenling Kiai Xingye, declaring them priceless divine medicines. Overjoyed, he swears complete recovery is possible. Never in his life has he seen so many sacred herbs together. Ruoru suddenly notices Yifan's injured hand and cries out in concern. Yifan fumbles, unsure how to explain. He recalls barging into the modern pharmacy, shouting for all the herbs he needed. The panicked clerk slammed the door, catching Yifan's hand and making him yelp in pain. Thinking back, Yifan can only laugh bitterly, too hasty, forgetting his cultivation strength didn't work there. 3 days later, Ruoru, in her new outfit, scolds second uncle in the kitchen for getting out of bed too soon. Feeling much better, he assures her his leg is fine and asks where Yifan has gone. Ruro said he went out to find tonics and purposely hid it from her. Elsewhere, Yifan faced a raging serpent charging at him, the snake coiled tightly around his body. Refusing to release, yet Yifan stayed calm, fists clenched without panic. His punch stunned the serpent, puzzled why it wasn't hurt. The monster snake stared at Yifan in confused suspicion, and then opened its venomous jaws, roaring and biting down. Yifan smirked disdainfully as a violent sound erupted. The snake exploded, raining flesh and blood everywhere. Yifan swiftly collected its demon core, confirming Shadow Fist's might. He realized he had broken through to mid-stage internal strength. But by nightfall, Yifan had gathered a pile of demon cores, satisfied with his cultivation goal. Thanks to the simplified manual, Shadow Fist became easier to master, pushing him near late-stage internal strength. Remembering the breakthrough process of eating endless animal organs still made Yifan shiver in disgust. Just then, Ruru brought a pot of organ soup, happily calling it Yifan's favorite. He quickly dismissed the thought, grabbed a basket to hunt meat for second uncle and fruits for Ruruo when throwing knives suddenly flew from behind. Yifan instantly sensed the killing intent and dodged the incoming blades. He coldly ordered the hidden attacker to show themselves. Several black-clad figures lipped down laughing. Exposed at last, they surrounded him, threatening that he wouldn't leave alive. Yifan glanced and instantly guessed Miss Lan was behind it. One admitted they were well paid and didn't care who the mastermind was. Before finishing, they all charged with blades drawn. Yifan dodged and assessed one was late-stage internal strength. 2 others attacked in sync but were merely early-stage internal strength, landing smoothly. Yifan swept his leg and knocked down 3 peak Bonner fighting fighters clearly. His foes were well-funded. Thinking of Ruruo waiting, he decided to end it quickly. Yifan unleashed Shadow Fist, a storm of blows raining on the assassins. Amid the clashing sounds, they were beaten miserably to the ground. 1. Terrified, questioned the wrong until Yifan smiled, saying info's never reliable. The man grew more frightened, realizing Yifan had held back his killing power. Yifan stepped on his chest, demanding the mastermind, but the man hid behind Assassin Guild rules. Yifan looked intrigued by such stubbornness. He switched tactics, offering double pay to buy out their employer. At first, the man coldly refused, claiming loyalty, but faced with a mountain of silver, greed won instantly. They knelt and pledged to protect Yifan and investigate the client. Yifan sneered, vowing the one who wanted him dead would taste their own poison. He secretly planned to gather more martial skills and reach Bloodburning Realm to dominate Lion City. Miss Lan stormed through the streets, furious that Nalan sided with commoners against the city lord's house. Lin Yongkai followed, soothing her with clever words and talk of the greater good. He deftly pinned a rare gold hairpin in her hair, boasting of his gift to calm her mood. Yet right then, Miss Lan froze, eyes locked on a newly arrived figure. The one in her sight was none other than Yifan, the man who shouldn't still be alive. Enraged, she turned and slapped Lin Yongkai, screaming he was useless for failing to kill Yifan. Lin Yongkai clutched his face. Protesting had spent heavily on assassins and couldn't explain their failure. Miss Lan kept cursing, vowing to handle Yifan herself while Lin Yongkai scrambled after her. Yifan met Nalan to buy martial skills when she asked why. He casually said money solves all, instantly silencing her. Nalan produced a newly stocked high-grade movement manual, saying it fit Yifan's needs perfectly. Yifan boldly declared that from now on, any top-tier techniques should skip auction head buy them all. From afar, Miss Lan sneered, mocking the country bumpkin Yifan for bragging beyond his means. She arrogantly offered to buy every item Yifan fancied, paying triple just to spite him. Nalan politely declined, reminding her Wanbao Pavilion followed fair bidding rules. Furious, Miss Lan announced if Yifan outbid her, she'd accept public humiliation. Yifan narrowed his eyes with a faint grin, clearly expecting fun ahead. Miss Lan haughtily confirmed the bet but added he'd suffer shame if he failed to pay. She lifted her chin, laughing, ordering Yifan to kneel and lick her shoes if he lost. Yifan stayed silent, handing Nalan a token and asking to proceed with payment. His calm demeanor hinted he awaited the grand reveal with amusement. Seeing the token, the crowd gasped, some terrified, others clueless and whispering. The T-Vian order was explained as a supreme badge granting free access to treasures without bidding. Others added it allowed unlimited credit within Wanbao Pavilion. Only a few in the city held one. The crowd now doubted Yifan's origins, while he merely smiled, recalling an old favor with Pavilion. Flashback: Nalan once begged him for herbs to save a life. Still owing him payment, to repay that debt, she offered the T-Vian order as her ultimate pledge. Back then, Yifan half-jokingly confirmed its powers before accepting it. Returning to now, Lan Xingni turned pale. Her father didn't even own such a thing. Yifan twirled the token, mockingly saying his spending power dwarfed her boasts. He coolly reminded Lan Xingni to prepare to fulfill her public promise. Elsewhere, a young master frantically searched for Lan Xingni, praising her beauty and status. His companion laughed, mocking how unique the lady's current aura was. The mockery echoed as Lan Xingni knelt on the ground, urged to keep her word under scornful stares. The young master arrived, frozen in shock as he called her name. Lan Xingni screamed inwardly with hatred. She'd never been humiliated like this. Yifan coldly warned he wasn't someone to be pushed around. He declared he never sought trouble but would never fear provocation either. Yifan casually pulled the hairpin from Lan Xingni's head, coldly warning her not to provoke him again. He gripped the pin tightly, implying what fate awaited her. In an instant, the hairpin was crushed to dust before everyone's horrified eyes. Yifan stood up and walked away, joking that the show had been entertaining enough. Just then, Lin Yongkai pushed through the crowd, shouting for people to disperse. He hurried to lift Lan Xingni, but she coldly declared she'd changed her mind. Lan Xingni said she no longer wanted Yifan dead, she wanted him to live in misery. She warned Lin Yongkai to make that happen or their engagement was over. Lin Yongkai suddenly realized Yifan was the mysterious man who seized the Banshan art and Ascendievan token. Lan Xingni was stunned, unable to believe what she heard. He recounted how he once bid on the Ascend Heaven token for her, only for Yifan to snatch it mid-auction. Their spies tailing Yifan were later outwitted. Losing all trace of him, confused, Lan Xingni decided to report Yifan's identity to her father. Back to Yifan, he woke from a long sleep, sighing that his own bed was still the best. Before him lay the new martial manuals had bought, filled with hundreds of intricate variations. Thanks to simplified principles, he mastered them all in one night, merging fist and movement arts. He now felt ready to face a peak blood-burning realm fighter. Yifan planned to buy cultivation supplies before returning to Seclusion, but as he opened the door, trouble suddenly struck. The landlord, Madame Go, stood waiting with a menacing aura, scolding him for not replying. Yifan apologized nervously, realizing he'd forgotten to pay the rent. Madame Go roared furiously, demanding full payment on time. Yifan dropped to his knees, offering a few coins and begging for an extension. Madame Go grabbed his collar, berating why a healthy young man was so broke. Yifan gave a wry smile, blaming it on spending all his time cultivating. Unexpectedly, Madame Go returned the money, leaving him speechless. She even shoved extra cash into his hands, saying he'd need it and better pay in full next month. Yifan bowed deeply, grateful for her rare kindness. After that, he had to rush deliveries on his old bike. Chased by the app's late-time warnings, Yifan mocked himself lavish in another world, yet dirt poor on Earth. During a break, he noticed a strange yet a wealthy businesswoman offering a fortune for a surrogate father. Just as he hesitated over that risky idea, his phone rang. Yifan answered cheerfully, shocked to hear his father's voice. After listening, his face changed instantly. He agreed to come at once. That night in the hospital, he found his mother unconscious while his father recounted a drunk driver accident. His father choked out that they'd pawned everything, still short 300,000 for treatment. Yifan reassured him, vowing to shoulder the entire burden. He quietly left the room, his father's hopeful gaze following. Under the lonely streetlight, Ivan pondered how fate always crushed the poor. Just then, a faint cry for help echoed from afar. He saw a group of men forcing a white-haired girl who was desperately resisting. They struck down her bodyguard and hurled threats, driving her deeper into despair. Ivan suddenly appeared behind them, kicking the leader square in the face. The white-haired girl turned, terrified by the brutal scene. Ivan took down another thug, scolding the gang for bullying the weak. One flew off screaming, clutching his leg in agony. The bespectacled man ordered everyone to attack, but Ivan dodged effortlessly with a single precise strike. Ivan floored him, realizing his otherworldly strength still worked on Earth. Years of training had etched combat reflexes deep into his muscles. His dodging speed and endurance now far surpassed his former self. In mere moments, the whole gang lay beaten while the glasses man froze at his 7 elites' defeat. Before he could react, Ivan was already in front of him. He had no idea how. A heavy blow sent him collapsing. Realizing fighting further was suicide, his only thought left there was absolutely no chance of victory. Seeing the defeated men, the white-haired girl stood speechless in awe. Ivan briefly asked if she was alright and urged her to leave, but she quickly called him back. She asked him to escort her home for safety. Ivan refused, saying he had deliveries to finish but could help her call the police. Without hesitation, she grabbed his hand, offering 1 million as escort payment. Ivan immediately quit his job and told her to give the address fast. Soon they arrived at a luxurious villa, where she asked to go inside to report she was safe. At that moment, an angry shout echoed from within. A fierce woman was berating trembling guards, threatening their lives for failure. The guards knelt, vowing to find the second young miss at all costs. Then the woman heard a familiar voice and swiftly turned around. Before her stood the white-haired girl, and Ivan the girl burst into tears and hugged her sister. The sisters embraced tightly, crying and promising never to wander off again. Ivan simply smiled, watching their reunion. After hearing the full story, the older sister sincerely thanked Ivan for saving her sibling. She proposed holding a grand banquet in his honor. Ivan waved it off, reminding her of the 1 million reward already promised. Hearing that, the sister's face darkened in visible displeasure. Intimidated, Ivan quickly withdrew his words, thinking he had acted for righteousness, not luck. The sister tapped her sibling's head, scolding that her life wasn't worth just 1 million. Leaving Ivan stunned, she handed him a bank card, saying it contained 100 million as a token of gratitude. Ivan was shocked to learn she represented the massive Tang Corporation. The sister confirmed it and added the money was still far less than the debt of a life saved. Before she could continue, Ivan eagerly asked for her help right away. 3 days later, his mother's hospital treatment was fully arranged. The sister assured him that everything had been properly organized. 5 top experts from home and abroad had been invited to design the surgical plan. She expressed heartfelt sympathy, saying she too only had one beloved younger sister left. That's why the sister vowed never to let her sibling face danger again. Ivan sincerely thanked her, promising to repay the favor someday. The sister took the chance to ask him to train the corporation's security team. 7 bodyguards appeared at once, eagerly begging to become Ivan's disciples. The sudden scene left Ivan both amused and embarrassed. He hadn't planned on becoming a coach. The sister revealed she'd already found who was behind the kidnapping. The culprit turned out to be a business rival trying to pressure Tang Corporation. What shocked her most was that the thugs Ivan defeated now suffered trauma and nightmares in the hospital. She asked him to teach the guards some real combat skills. Ivan modestly replied it'd be more about experience and small tricks. She promised short training and let him name his price freely. Ivan realized that was pure business talk, impossible to refuse. He agreed to try but gave no guarantees, and she immediately sealed the deal. Watching her leave, Ivan decided to spend this time by his mother's side in gratitude. From then on, he began appearing at Tang Corporation's dojo to train the guards. After finalizing the treatment plan, his mother's surgery went smoothly and she woke safely. That day Ivan returned home, collapsing onto the couch, relieved it was all ending well. He activated his realm ring, thinking it was time to return to the other world. As he crossed dimensions, worry filled him what had happened to Mu Village after half a month away. When the scene appeared, his pupils shrank in shock. Mu Village's signboard lay broken and twisted beyond repair. The entire area was ruined and smoldering. Like after an apocalypse, Ivan stood frozen. Unable to believe the devastation, he ran frantically, shouting for Uncle Tai, Uncle Yan, and the others. Just then, Nalan appeared with several people, saying they'd been waiting for him. The Mu Village survivors were now sheltered in Wamba Pavilion's warehouse. Everyone was bandaged head to toe, some still forcing themselves to stand guard. As the warehouse door opened, tension filled the air. The people inside shouted warily, demanding to know who was coming. Ivan and Nalan stepped in, announcing their names to calm them. They instantly recognized Ivan, cheering his name throughout the room. Ivan moved forward, patting Uncle Tai's shoulder, relieved they'd survived, but then he noticed in horror that Uncle Tai's right arm was gone. Looking closer, nearly everyone had lost limbs or bore grave wounds. Uncle Tai calmly said keeping their lives was already the greatest blessing. Suddenly remembering Ruruo, Ivan anxiously asked where she was. At her name, Everyone's expression turned grim. In a corner, Ruuru lay wrapped like a mummy, burned all over. The old doctor gently coaxed her, saying she needed her bandages changed for healing. As each layer was unwrapped, deep burns appeared painful to even look at. Ruuru stared at her reflection in the water, refusing to believe it was her. She overturned the basin in panic, screaming that she didn't want treatment. She wept bitterly, begging to die rather than live disfigured. At that moment, a gentle hand rested on her neck. Ivan hugged Ruuru tightly, softly assuring her everything would be all right. She burst into tears in Ivan's arms, overjoyed that he had finally returned. Nalan sighed beside them, saying she'd survived, but her wounds were too severe to predict recovery. Ivan's face turned cold as he demanded to know who was responsible. Nalan frowned, replying that the culprits were the Lin family and the City Lord's faction. In the City Lord's mansion, the Lord sat high on his throne, asking for the day's report. The Lin young master presented spirit stones with flattering words to please his elder. The City Lord praised the rare gift and his son's keen judgment. The young master smiled humbly, saying pleasing his elder was all that mattered. The daughter interrupted angrily, complaining that Bai Yifan had been found to avenge her yet. He hurried to comfort her with honeyed words. The City Lord sternly warned that Bai Yifan was not simple, his power and background were unpredictable. Hearing that, the daughter showed open resentment. The City Lord reassured her, saying he'd already ordered Mu village destroyed to vent her anger. The young master reported that over 10 villagers remained missing after the cleanup. The City Lord immediately ordered a citywide hunt to drag Bai Yifan and the survivors into the light. Back at Ivan's place, Nalan explained she had sent rescuers as soon as she heard the news. Unfortunately, the enemy struck too swiftly, and by the time help arrived, the village was gone. Few survived, most villagers perished in the inferno, even children weren't spared. Ruoro survived only because she hid in a rice jar but suffered the worst burns. Nalan sighed helplessly, admitting that was all she could manage. Ivan clasped his hands in thanks, deeply moved by her efforts. Nalan asked what he planned to do next. His eyes burned with killing intent, answering with a single word: revenge. Nalan anxiously warned him that the City Lord and the Lin family had many blood-burning masters. She added that City Lord Lankan had reached 5th stage marrow cleansing realm with a near-invincible body. Moreover, he possessed a powerful defensive artifact, making him nearly unkillable. Ignoring all warnings, Ivan swore he would never forgive those who hurt his loved ones. Before acting, Yifan asked Nalan to care for the remaining survivors in his stead. Then he returned to Earth, gathering rare medicinal herbs in bulk. The pharmacist, seeing him buy endless burn medicine, curiously asked why. Yifan avoided the question, leaving quickly with no explanation. The pharmacist could only watch him go, even more puzzled by this strange customer. At the airport, Yifan saw his parents off. His father asked why he wasn't joining the trip. He reassured them, handing over his savings so they could rest easy on vacation. His mother was touched, torn between pride and worry. His father comforted her, saying their son was grown and had his own path now. He added that families should be a steady support, not chains to hold him back, not shackles that bind their child's feet. Late at night in the dorm, Ivan's phone buzzed nonstop. The landlord curiously picked it up, wondering who was texting so much. The messages said Yifan was traveling, had paid the rent in full, and sent his thanks. The landlord smiled, guessing he'd finally found a stable job. But when she saw her account balance rise by 100,000, she gasped. What kind of work was he doing? Returning to the cultivation world, Ivan brought spiritual herbs to ask the doctor about their effects. The doctor confirmed the formula was correct and marveled at the rare ingredients. Yifan innocently said he actually thought his gathering speed was slow. He explained his storage ring was limited, so he had to make several trips. The doctor sighed at the priceless value of the herbs, praising Ivan's loyalty and righteousness. Nalan arrived just then, asking if the medicine was ready. Yifan handed her the potion, reassured that everything would be fine. Ruru teared up, hoping she could return to how she once was. Yifan gently promised to buy her many beautiful dresses once she recovered. Suddenly, the sharp crash of shattering glass echoed. Yifan and the doctor rushed in, alarmed by the sound. Before them stood Ruru, her burns gone. Stunned with joy at her restored beauty, she rose gracefully, apologizing for breaking the mirror in excitement. As the doctor sighed in relief, Ivan warmly praised her beauty, making Ruru beam with happiness. Nalan watched silently from behind, growing even more suspicious of Yifen's mysterious origins. Yifan gifted Nalan a dragontail herb as thanks and asked another favor. He requested all high-grade martial techniques of Wanbao Pavilion and a place for urgent seclusion. Soon, he was arranged to train at a secluded manor outside the city. There, a vial of beast blood was delivered for his use. As he absorbed it, Yifan realized he was still far weaker than Lang Kaian and needed faster progress. After the blood refinement, he continued relentless sword training. Each slash cleared the trees ahead like a storm sweeping through. After a short rest, he resumed absorbing beast blood again. The cultivation cycle repeated without pause. The doctor was horrified by such madness, unable to fathom his endurance. Nalan only shook her head, muttering that his secrets defied common sense. Time slipped into night, then rolled into the next morning. Day and night blurred as Yifan remained lost in cultivation. When the forest was finally leveled, he laughed success at last. Yifan declared he had entered blood-burning realm, his body reaching 4th layer. Nalan arrived to congratulate him, Stunned, he reached late stage in just half a month. Ifan thanked her aid and revealed he was about to take action. He asked that if he didn't return, she should lead Ruoruo and the others out of the city. Nalan handed him a silk box as a protective charm. Opening it, Ifan found a talisman radiating blood energy. Its origin unknown, Nalan explained one talisman boosted maximum combat power. The other offered brief defense. She also presented the famous Yen Kingdom treasure sword Zansha. Yifan accepted the sword, intending to pay for it. Nalan stopped him, admiring his resolve for vengeance and insisting on helping freely. She wished Yifan victory and safe return. Ifan gratefully vowed never to forget her kindness. At that moment, a familiar figure entered the Lin estate. Guards spotted the intruder and shouted warnings. Before they finished, Ifan flashed past in an instant. Every guard dropped dead without a chance to resist. He strode straight inside, declaring the revenge had officially begun. Inside, the Lin father and son, unaware of danger, were still smugly discussing their bright future. They believed their ties with the city lord's mansion could let them control Yuyun City. The father laughed proudly, pleased with his son's ambition and cunning. Just then, a loud crash outside startled them both. A guard was flung into the hall, screaming in pain. Father and son, shocked and furious, the young master yelled for the intruder to show himself. Yifan entered with icy composure. Instantly recognized by his foes, young Master Lin sneered. Thinking Yifan had walked into his own trap, he unleashed his movement skill, vanishing from sight. The next instant, he appeared before Yifan, aiming to capture him alive. Yifan casually blocked the punch with one hand. In a blink, the attacker's arm was snapped, his scream echoing miserably. Though he looked fierce, terror filled him at Yifan's overwhelming strength. Yifan coldly warned that the punishment wasn't over yet. With a sweep kick, he shattered the man's stance completely. Young Master Lin rolled on the floor, wailing in agony. Seeing his son tortured, the fat father panicked and shouted for help. The son, gritting through pain, urged his father to flee and fetch the city lord. As the fat man turned to run, Yifan exploded in speed, leaving only an afterimage. Before he could escape, Yifan appeared ahead, making his heart pound in terror. Yifan gripped his neck and slammed him against a stone pillar. Lifted like a chicken, the fat man begged for mercy. Yifan's eyes were icicled as he asked why he shouldn't kill him. The man claimed he only followed the city lord's orders, warning of dire consequences. Young Master Lin shouted, flaunting their family ties to the city lord's mansion. Before he finished, Yifan snapped the fat man's neck, ending him on the spot. Watching his father die, young Master Lin froze in shock. Yifan threw the corpse aside, coldly challenging the survivor. The young master trembled, his arrogance completely gone. He knelt in bed, offering all his wealth for his life. Yifan smirked, unimpressed by the Lin family's riches. He stated that his own resources far surpassed their imagination. Hope shattered. The young master sobbed in despair for mercy. Yifan placed a hand on his head, declaring death the only redemption. In an instant, young Master Lin's life ended like his father's. Yifan stood silent like a death god, his next target clear. His figure faded, disappearing from the Lin residence. Soon after, at the city lord's mansion, panicked subordinate rushed in with bad news. As the city lord meditated, news of the Lin family's bloodbath shattered the silence. The city lord opened his eyes, seething with killing intent, and demanded details. The subordinate knelt, reporting that the killer was a youth named Bai Yifan. Hearing the name, the city lord ordered the city sealed and troops dispatched, gathering his forces. He cursed, baffled that Yifan was still alive. Before departing, he ordered 2 generals to stay behind and guard his daughter. The 2 immediately bowed and obeyed without hesitation. The city lord led his army out, their momentum surging toward the Lin estate. Just then, his daughter returned, curious about the massive mobilization. A general brushed her off, saying they were hunting a dangerous criminal. She grew suspicious why the generals stayed behind, and was told it was for precaution. She coldly ordered the generals to guard outside, then stepped into the residence. She thought no one would dare cause trouble against the city lord's power. She figured the enemy must have a death wish to provoke such a force. A maid approached, asking which nightgown she preferred. Seeing a familiar outfit, she frowned, annoyed it hadn't been discarded. She scorned Ruo and ordered the offending garment thrown away. Mentioning Mujia village and Bai Yifan, her hatred deepened, vowing to kill him herself. Suddenly, every servant in the room collapsed unconscious. The eerie scene made her panic, shouting for her attendants. Behind her, Yifan's cold voice echoed like a ghost whisper, peering right beside her ear. He terrified her she couldn't believe had entered the city lord's mansion. As she trembled, Yifan leaned closer, saying status here meant nothing. The young lady screamed for help, crying that there was an assassin. Yifan crossed his arms calmly, reminding her the courtyard was heavily guarded. He stated coldly that all guards and both generals had already been slaughtered. Her heart clenched in terror as she grasped Yifan's monstrous power. Yifan drew his sword, eyes full of killing intent, asking if she remembered his warning. With the blade at her throat, he exposed her role with Lin Wenkai in destroying Mujia village. Her legs gave out as she collapsed to her knees. She wept, offering youth and life in exchange for forgiveness. Yifan roared in fury, invoking Ru, and the innocent children burned alive. Cornered, she frantically begged for mercy, flaunting her status and body. She stripped off her clothes, trying to trade her body for life. A flash of sword light cut off the shameful act. Her hand was slashed, and she screamed in agony. Yifan sneered, saying filth like her only disgusted him, yet he pretended to grant her a humiliating way to live. Yifan placed one foot on the chair. Eyes cold as frost, he ordered her to lick his shoes clean. Humiliated and furious, she clenched her teeth in rage. Yifan mocked her, reminding she'd do anything. For her life, she accepted the shame. She bent down and licked Yifan's shoes, swallowing her pride. Yifan smirked, mocking her desperate will to live. Inside, she seethed with hatred, hoping to stall until her father returned. Half an incense stick later, the shoes gleamed spotless. Yifan calmly declared the job done, time to die. A flash of sword light ended her life instantly. In her final moment, she died wide-eyed, filled with despair. Meanwhile, the city lord was leading troops in pursuit of Yifan. Suddenly, his heart tightened with an ominous premonition. Soldiers, seeing him stop, asked what was wrong. He steadied himself, saying it was just unease in his heart. Then a soldier ran up in panic with grim news. The scouts found Lin City full of corpses, Lin Deifu and Lin Wenkai missing. Hearing this, chills ran down his spine. Sweat beading as dread filled him. He spurred his horse, shouting they'd fallen into a trap and must return at once. Rage surged within. He swore if the Bay Brat harmed his daughter, he'd wipe out his entire clan. Seeing the city lord panic and flee, his subordinates stood dumbfounded. Moments later, he sped back to the horse post. Before the mansion gates, the sight froze his heart. 3 corpses hung like slaughtered foal, 2 from the Lin family and his own daughter. Yifan leaned against the wall, arms crossed, smirking that had been waiting for him. The city lord's eyes flared with killing intent as he spat out, "Bah, Yifan!" In a blink, his figure vanished, cracking the ground beneath. Reappearing before Yifan, he launched a deadly punch. Yifan drew his sword, blue aura flaring, coldly saying the dead wasn't decided yet. As the blade left its sheath, countless azure slashes burst forth. The sword aura sliced through the air toward the airborne city lord. Stepping through the air, the city lord froze. He recognized a legendary technique. He was forced to descend, mind reeling at the name Violent Rain Sword Art Peak Royal Rank. Remembering how it took him a year to grasp its basics, he was horrified. Yifan did it in 2 months. Yifan pointed his sword mockingly, saying the old man at least had some insight. The city lord clenched his fists, blood energy blazing. Admitting Yifan's power explained his killings, he sneered that one in the blood-burning realm challenging a marrow-washing expert was courting death. Yifan sneered back, unleashing the second move of the Violent Rain sword art. With a shout of swift rain, he slashed, summoning countless watery stones in midair. The sight made the city lord's eyes widen in disbelief. The rain of stone blades poured down, forcing him to defend. Amid the barrage, one shard pierced straight for his brow. He raised his hand, forming the Cloud Thunder shield to block the fatal strike. Even Yifan's expression grew grim at the display. From the city lord's palm, violent lightning burst forth. The electric glow engulfed the area as he laughed triumphantly. Yifan quickly realized that his opponent relied on a magic artifact for such power. The city lord angrily admitted using it, saying Yifan deserved death. He fired a bolt of lightning straight at his foe. Yifan stomped down, using his movement technique to evade. His body blurred like wind, dodging while widening the gap. The city lord chased instantly, hurling more lightning strikes to trap Yifan. Thunder crashed down, shaking the battlefield violently. The city lord laughed maniacally, sure his prey was finished. When the smoke cleared, Yifan stood unharmed, stunning him. Against all odds, Yifan remained completely unscathed. His body glowed as he mocked the city lord's lightning for its weakness. He produced a talisman from Nilan, impressed by its protection. As it activated, Yifan's body surged with strength, absorbing surrounding energy. The city lord froze, realizing his opponent even had charms. Yifan gathered power, launching the third form of the Violent Rain sword art. Sword aura turned into a roaring water dragon surging toward the city lord. Facing the might, the city lord gritted his teeth and met it head-on. His 10,000 thunder peak clashed with the water dragon. Exploding sky and earth, both forces canceled out, their power fading. The city lord staggered back, eyes still burning with fury. Yifan too was wounded, blood dripping from his lips like his foe. The city lord sneered, saying even with talismanic boosts, Yifan lacked real combat experience. Yifan calmly replied he never planned to rely on brute strength. His confidence made the city lord uneasy, sensing a hidden move. Before he could react, Yifan closed in faster than perception. A water crystal silently formed before the city lord's chest, ready to pierce through. Yifan narrowed his eyes, unleashing the sword art's final killing move. The crystal shot through his chest, shattering his organs from within. The continuous water drip sword force erupted, leaving the city lord helpless. He collapsed in despair, unable to believe he'd fallen to Yifan. Yifan stepped forward, raising his sword, declaring karma spares no villain. His gaze gleamed with killing intent as he said it was all over. The blade pierced through the chest. His scream died instantly. In the end, the city lord was nothing but a lifeless corpse. Yifan bent down, picking up a small object he recognized as the lightning artifact. It was a Cloud Thunder ring, tiny but packed with terrifying power. Yifan pocketed the ring calmly, his rightful spoils of war. At that moment, the city lord's soldiers arrived on the scene. They panicked, reporting the deaths of the city lord, his daughter, and their entire household. Standing amid corpses, Yifan proclaimed that those who surrendered would live, resistors would die. Horrified, the soldiers trembled, not daring to move. In the Wanbao Tower, Neilan paced anxiously, heart burning with worry. She feared for Bai Yifan's life or death. Suddenly, a subordinate rushed in, breathless with grim news. Neilan's face paled, dread rising within her. The subordinate recounted everything from the Lin family's annihilation to the city lord's death and mansion reduced to ashes overnight. Neilan nearly lost balance, torn between terror and awe that Yifan truly succeeded. Elder Tai analyzed in shock that even 4 blood-burning cultivators couldn't defeat a mid-stage marrow-washing expert, yet they fell. Clearly, Liyun City was entering a new era. Next morning, crowds gathered before the city gate around a new notice board. It displayed a Haibani warrant for Bai Yifan. Though many thought he didn't look like a villain, suddenly, a hand reached out and tore the portrait down. Yifan looked at the drawing of himself, annoyed at how ugly it was. He shook his head, tossing it aside, deciding it wasn't worth caring about. Thinking of moving on, he chose to continue his journey elsewhere. The discarded portrait looked more like a monkey than a man. That night in Wanbao Tower, Neilan stood by the window, lost in thoughts of Yifan's future. Suddenly, a streak of white light shot straight into her room. When it stopped, a letter and a small box were pinned to a pillar. Neilan hurriedly opened the letter to read. In it, Yifan bid farewell, sending gifts in gratitude and hoping for fate to reunite them. Opening the box, she gasped it was filled with rare treasures. Neilan whispered softly, wishing to meet young Master Bai again someday. Meanwhile, Yifan had already ridden out of Liyun City under the night sky. Half a month later, at the Yenyuan border in Yun Prefecture, the docks bustled with travelers. Amid the crowd, Yifan quietly blended in. Lost in thought, he overheard 2 men discussing the Holy Land of 5 Elements, soon recruiting disciples. They said even the lowest cultivation method from that sacred place could spark a worldwide frenzy. To them, being a disciple was already a blessing. Becoming an elder meant even kings were beneath notice. The 5 Elements Holy Land lay far in Ningguo Yuan, reachable only by Yunzhou airship or Yodai on horseback first. Hearing that, Yifan exhaled softly in silence. He knew Yunzhou was the continent's supreme transport, crossing space in moments. As crowds jostled to board, Yifan joined the chaotic line. When his turn came, he slapped the counter, asking for a ticket to the 5 Elements Holy Land. The clerk coldly quoted 500 gold for the trip to Nuo Yuan. Inside, he sneered, warning that staying aboard cost fortunes beyond belief. Yifan tossed out a pile of gold, stunning him, and demanded the best suit. The clerk's attitude flipped instantly. He bowed and cursed himself for offending a money god. Just then, 2 people barged in, offering double to seize the room, naming themselves Wang Dang and Wang Meng. Yifan frowned and directly asked their intention. Wang Dang arrogantly declared that whatever he desired must be his. Yifan coldly replied the room was already reserved by him. The clerk intervened, confirming the suit indeed belongs to Yifan. A pink-haired girl sneered, mocking Yifan for daring to defy the royal house. She introduced herself as a titled princess, her brother the heir of Prince Kang. She claimed even speaking to her was an honor. Defiance meant death. Yifan chuckled, lamenting how bullies appeared everywhere. Learning who they were, the crowd murmured, urging Yifan to yield lest he offend royalty. Yifan scoffed that nobles and titles were meaningless, had booked first, and he wouldn't yield. The man in blue trembled with fury at the public insult. Yifan taunted him, pointing behind and telling them to crawl to the end of the line. Seeing tension rise, the clerk began to panic inside. He tried to mediate, suggesting young Master Wang take the next room. Fearing both wealth and power alike, Wang Dang coldly asked one last time, warning the cost of crossing Prince Kang's house. Yifan shot back, asking instead what happened to those who crossed him. Wang Dang growled that making enemies abroad was asking for death. Yifan calmly agreed halfway, but he added the more dangerous man was yet to be seen. Wang Dang fumed, cursing the country bumpkin who shamed him. The clerk hurriedly urged them to board. Yunzhou was about to depart. Wang Dang grudgingly settled for the heaven room No. 2. While Wang Meng pouted in anger, he soothed his sister, promising to make it up to her once they reached the Holy Land. The clerk sighed in relief, happily arranging Wang Dang's room. Just then, Yifan suddenly spoke up to stop him. Wang Dang turned back, puzzled. Yifan smirked, saying he disliked noise while resting. He threw out another heap of gold, announcing he was buying all heaven's sweets, leaving the clerk stunned. Wang Dang roared in rage, demanding Yifan's purpose. Yifan calmly replied that first come, first served. It was perfectly fair. The clerk immediately handed all room tokens to Yifan, shooing Wang Dang away, thrilled by his windfall. Yifan took the key cards and left, glancing back provocatively as Wang Dang ground his teeth, swearing revenge. Yifan walked off, teasing the crowd, even gifting rooms away just to spite his rivals. Wang Meng fumed, realizing Yifan did it on purpose. Wang Dang only replied coldly that he already knew. Soon, the airship lifted off into the sky. Inside the cabin, Yifan was suddenly stopped by a loud shout from behind. A burly man with a fierce face blocked his way, saying he wanted a word, expecting a fight. Fan was surprised when they instead sat down for drinks. They ate and toasted together, the mood entirely opposite of what others imagined. The fat man introduced himself as Li Yi, praising Fan's disdain for nobility as refreshing. Fan curiously asked about his background. Liu Yi said he came from the Wu Kingdom's Merchants Guild, then asked Fan's name in return. Fan introduced himself, noting inwardly that Wu Kingdom rivaled Yan in strength. Liu Yi laughed heartily, calling their meeting fate and offering friendship out of respect. He vowed to enter the Holy Land too and would protect Fan if the Wang family sought revenge. Fan chuckled, saying he'd never worried about such things. Liu Yi roared with laughter, declaring they'd drink until dawn. An hour later, Liu Yi was passed out on the table while Fan shook his head helplessly. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck the airship. The craft shook violently, throwing Fan to the floor. Liu Yi, dead asleep, didn't even stir. Fan stood up, puzzled about what was happening. Panic spread as passengers screamed about a thunderstorm. Another lightning strike made the crowd cry and flee in terror. Fan watched with an amused smile at the perfect coincidence. He took out the Cloud Thunder ring, muttering that it was time to use it, had studied it before, knowing it could absorb lightning energy during storms. After 7 clear days, had never had a chance to test it until now. The timing couldn't have been better. As he extended the ring, all lightning converged toward it. Everyone on board gawked in horror, unable to comprehend the scene. Thunderlight poured into the cabin like a storm, catching all off guard. The crowd panicked as bolts pierced rooms despite the ship's protective wards. Fan calmly held the ring, channeling all lightning into it. After a while, the ring was fully charged. Fan smiled in satisfaction, another trump card secured. Soon after, the airship docked at the Five Elements city. Stepping off, Fan confirmed this was indeed the Holy Land's entrance exam site. The pudgy man, head swollen with lumps, explained that King Yuan built the city to please the Holy Land. Fan marveled at the immense crowd, while Liu Yi laughed, calling it a gathering of the world's martial elites. Li Yi pointed upward, telling Fan to look at the sky. Above, groups of cultivators soared past on flying treasures. Liu Yi excitedly said those were experts of the divine ability realm, capable of endless flight. Fan smiled brightly, saying this journey was already worth it. Just then, a majestic voice thundered from the heavens. A crushing aura descended over the entire plaza. Before the crowd, an elder's true form appeared in midair. He introduced himself as Yan Yunsong, an intersect elder, announcing the entrance examination process. The crowd erupted, surging toward the registration site. Liu Yi clasped his hands to Fan, both encouraging each other before parting ways. Liu Yi chuckled awkwardly, admitting he could no longer protect Fan now. He left with the crowd, telling Fan to stay clear of the Wang siblings if he feared trouble. Fan smiled wryly, certain they'd meet again soon, not part forever. The eastern arena overflowed with people queuing for registration. Cries of defeat echoed everywhere as victors and losers rotated nonstop. Amid the line, an awkward scene unfolded. The Wang siblings suddenly spotted Fan standing ahead. Wang Deng sneered through clenched teeth while Wang Meng urged her brother to strike now. Fan advised patience, saying the real score would be settled inside the Holy Land paid in blood. He stepped forward, presenting his token, his blood-burning realm aura stunning the Five Elements disciples. Behind him, Wang Deng mocked loudly that such weak cultivation was useless in the trials. Under skeptical gazes, Fan directly handed over his command token. The disciple's attitude flipped at once. He smiled warmly and granted Fan direct admission. The siblings were shocked, speechless, unable to believe what they saw. Whispers spread as everyone questioned Fan's true background. From the sect's high platform, an elder demanded to verify the token's source. The disciple below respectfully reported its owner was Bai Fan. After checking, the elder found Fan's aptitude extremely low, suspecting a lucky rich kid, and asked for orders. The elder declared that with such talent and cultivation, Fan was fit only for servant work. Yet, since he possessed the Ascending Heaven token, the sect allowed him entry as an outer disciple. Those who passed the trial were flown by spirit birds straight to the Holy Land. Fan mused that his strength could command armies in the mortal world, yet barely qualified here. He couldn't understand why his body surpassed realms but was still judged as low aptitude. Still, he believed his resources and earthly knowledge would one day lead him to success. Before long, the group arrived at the Five Elements Holy Land. Fan was awestruck seeing the sanctuary suspended amid the clouds. Elder Yan introduced it as the Five Elements Celestial Palace. Reserved for high-ranking figures, he pointed out the cultivation areas designated for the new disciples. He formally declared them outer disciples and emphasized strict obedience to sect rules. The elder distributed identity jades, housing assignments, and told them to study the room's regulations. Everyone bowed respectfully in unison. Back in his quarters, Fan checked his belongings from daily-use talismans to spirit stones and rare pills. He was surprised at how generous the outer disciple benefits were, filled with valuable supplies. Among the items, he paid special attention to a tome describing the world. It detailed the continent's layout and the 3 major races information he already knew. Then it listed humanity's supreme holy lands. The first names were Wu Wei and Huangji, followed by Wuxing and Guanghan. Then came Zhenwu and Jianqian. each with distinct cultivation paths. Qian Qiu and Duo Bao were also ranked among the great powers. Finally, Zai Hong and Piao Dao completed the 10 great holy lands. Wu Wei was said to be the most mysterious. Few disciples but each defying heaven itself. Huang Jie ruled Central Continent powerful, domineering, and unmatched. Xinwu focused on body forging, while Zanshan centered on the sword path. Guanghan, since ancient times, accepted only female cultivators. The 5 elements are divided into 5 academies, the youngest holy land among 10. Yifan sighs, realizing only self-strength can prevent oppression even with wealth. He reviews the cultivation realms, confirming marrow cleansing is key to stronger vitality. Yifan ponders body refinement and recalls Earth's medicinal herbs. For a month, he travels between 2 worlds for experiments. His research shows herbal soaking and drinking stabilize body enhancement. Folk medicines are used for purification and detoxification. His body feels lighter, power and spirit both surge. Yifan is certain the breakthrough time has come. His inner aura suddenly bursts forth. The surrounding spiritual energy gradually calms. He smoothly crosses the threshold into early marrow cleansing realm. His blood energy forms a faint red shield, tougher than peers. Yifan tests his strength with a punch through the air. One strike shatters all nearby trees. His power surpasses normal marrow cleansing cultivators. His cultivation journey in the 5 elements holy land truly begins. And then he visits the sect's task hall and sees crowds of disciples. This is where duties, missions, and sect resources are managed. An elder hands out monthly pouches, symbols of sect discipline. Besides wages, completing missions earns contribution points. Yifan waits in line. Every new disciple starts with 50 points shown on their jade token. Contributions are mainly used to exchange for secret arts and combat skills. Rumor says the martial archive is vast. Mastering one art can transform strength. The grand record lists 3 ways to earn contribution points. Basic missions are for marrow cleansing realm, with average rewards. Intermediate missions open to aperture opening realm, with higher pay. Advanced missions belong to purple mansion realm, giving massive rewards. The second method is donating rare treasures to the sect. The last is hunting wanted criminals on the bounty list. Though most profitable, it's deadly since targets are infamous killers. Yifan weighs the options. Missions pay low, hunting's risky, treasure offering suits him best, but knowing the Holy Land is complex, he hides his wealth by taking missions. With that decided, he asks the elder for a low-ranked task. In a sect corridor, a group of disciples are robbed of their spirit stones. Wang Deng appears laughing, boasting of his ambush trick for loot. The leader, Gao Yang, tall and burly, feigns innocence after taking them. He pats a disciple's head, forcing him to admit it was voluntary. One trembling man asks to leave as it's getting late. Gao Yang attacks, declaring the choice isn't theirs. The victim is knocked back toward his comrades, barely standing. Just then, Wang Deng suddenly looks aside and shouts. His gaze locks on Yifan, his old annoyance, now a sect mate. Seeing this, Gao Yang asks, and Wang Deng answers with hatred. Wang Deng whispers their grudge from Yunzhou to Gao Yang, acting mysteriously until he gets it. The more Wang Deng talks, the angrier he gets, ranting about Yifan's oddities and his hatred for using the Ascend order to enter the Holy Land. Hearing this, Gao Yang's eyes gleam. He guesses Yifan must be rich and worth targeting. Meanwhile, Yifan casually reminds himself to hide his resources since not strong enough to face others' greed. His plan for low profile is shattered when a hulking figure blocks his path. Gao Yang appears with a sly grin, asking to borrow something. Yifan coldly asks what exactly he wants. Gao Yang steps closer, bluntly naming his target spirit stones. Whispers spread, everyone thinking the newbie is doomed. Those who try to intervene are beaten down. Others quietly advise Yifan to surrender. Contrary to all expectation, Yifan smiles slyly as if he planned this. Calmly, he says they can have the stones if they kneel and beg. The place goes silent. Gao Yang roars in disbelief. Some whisper Yifan is clearly asking for trouble. Gao Yang explodes with fury, taking the words as a death sentence. He lunges forward, but Yifan dodges effortlessly. The missed strike shocks Gao Yang for a moment. The crowd stares wide-eyed at Yifan's reflexes. Wang Deng is horrified a new disciple could evade that blow. Gao Yang growls, demanding Yifan repeat his taunt. Yifan calmly ups the price. Each extra cadeau earns him more stones. Tone mocking, Gao Yang turns pale, rage boiling to his head. He points at Yifan's face, gritting his teeth with threats of revenge. Just as the fight erupts, a fat youth rushes in, warning hell call. An elder. Yifan recognizes Louis. Louis is shocked to see Yifan here, never expecting him to join the Holy Land. Yifan's calm reply leaves Louis tongue-tied. Gao Yang loses patience and attacks again. This time Yifan doesn't dodge. He pushes Louis aside safely, telling him coldly to wait a moment. Facing Gao Yang, Yifan sternly warns this isn't a place for lawless behavior. He grabs Gao Yang by the collar and lifts him effortlessly. The crowd shudders at the chilling sound of cracking bones. Wang Deng freezes in disbelief at the sight. Someone weakly protests that Yifan's sneak attack breaks martial code. Chaos erupts. Some shout wildly. Others stand stunned. Louis stands dumbfounded, unable to believe what is seeing. Gao Yang, nearly choked out, can only wheeze broken pleas. Yifan feigns pity, telling him to apologize properly to save face. Gao Yang endures the pain, confused about Yifan's intent. Yifan calmly says he'll borrow the spirit stones himself. Gao Yang barely gets a word out before being cut off. Fan coolly declares there's another way to handle this. Holding him with one hand, he traces strange motions in the air. Gao Yang's spirit stones fly out by themselves, making him scream in panic. Fan leisurely says he'll choose for him to save time. Then he casually hurls Gao Yang away. His body crashes into his group of cronies behind him. Everyone rushes to help. Realizing Gao Yan is already unconscious, Fan collects the spirit stones and returns them to the robbed disciples. Those who get their resources back bow repeatedly, eyes full of gratitude. One awkwardly tries to return his share, but Fan firmly waves it off. His sharp gaze sweeps the retreating henchmen, tossing out a cryptic warning that chills them. Before being forced, they hurriedly hand over everything. Begging for mercy, Fan coldly tells them to drop it and vanish. They flee in panic, fawning all the way, leaving Fan feeling like he just watched cheap street clowns. Wang Deng hides in a corner, eyes full of hatred, silently engraving his grudge. Fan turns, scanning the area with sharp vigilance. Sensing no one, he frowns slightly. He could have sworn he felt killing intent just now. Li Hu approaches, praising Fan's strength but worrying Gao Yang might seek revenge. Fan says bullies like that only swallow shame. Humiliation scares them more than pain. He declares if they dare come again, he'll gladly fight back. Li Hui laughs loudly, taking the chance to invite Fan on a mission short on people. Fan tilts his head, asking directly what the task is. Liu eagerly explains the plan in detail. The mission concerns a border general suspected of colluding with demons and using civilians for dark rituals. It's a basic task with steady pace, 60 points each for evidence found. So Fan agrees. Liu cheerfully leads him to meet the rest of the team. 3 outer disciples are introduced: Zheng Tai, Shineng Xinwu, and Liang Hao. Fan greets politely, keeping a calm, friendly manner. Liang Hao shows disdain, mentioning Fan entered via the Ascend order. He mocks Fan's poor talent, saying his presence will drag the team down. Liu quickly mediates, saying he's seen Fan's strength and trusts he won't be dead weight. Unbothered, Fan sits down and replies with a witty, half-teasing remark. Liang Hao glares, demanding what Fan's implying. Fan calmly drinks, saying those who scorn others usually meet ugly ends. Liang Hao angrily stands to lash out, but Zheng Tai and Shen Xinwu rush to cool him down, stressing the mission matters most. Shen Xinwu softly persuades that having enough members is already fortunate. Liang Hao still fumes, waving his hand in frustration. He storms off, sneering about gluttonous bloodline, making Liu flush with anger. Fan turns and bluntly asks about the bloodline just mentioned. Shen Xinwu is surprised he doesn't know despite knowing Liu. They explain Liu carries the Tati bloodline from an ancient beast. Those with it absorb spiritual energy faster and start cultivation early, but the cost is immense resource consumption, worsening with time, earning it the title Wasted Bloodline. Zheng Tai sighs that the Holy Land won't invest heavily in such risky cases. Shen Xinwu elbows him to stop talking too much. Li calmly accepts her fate, saying being an outer disciple is already lucky. Zheng Tai and Shen Xinwu encourage her, insisting she's still their sister in arms. Fan muses aloud that when it comes to resources, his own supply far exceeds imagination, is confident that with effort, raising Li into a powerhouse isn't impossible. Still, it's not the right time to reveal anything. Avoiding unwanted suspicion, Fan deems Liu worth befriending but decides to observe longer. The team departs at Wei's border. Liang Hao briefs them that Yang Shizong is mid-marrow cleansing realm. His faction has 4 top lieutenants, the strongest half-step bloodline realm, able to command elite troops. Zheng Tai and Shen Xinwu are stunned by the army's massive numbers. Fan muses that even weak soldiers and hordes remain a real threat. They conclude the plan must stay covert with 0 exposure. Li No agrees, stressing Yang Shizong's demonic ties and crimes evidence means elimination. Priority is to capture alive for interrogation if impossible. Bring back the corpse. The squad stealthily nears the general's mansion. Spotting the target ahead, they ready concealment techniques. Each quickly activates a talisman on their body. Their figures blur into shadow as Liu now signals the advance. Fan leads, silently slipping through defenses. A strange breeze brushes past, unsettling a guard. Suspicious, he finds nothing wrong and moves on. By dusk, they observe from above. Liu now orders infiltration to locate Yang Shizong. Sun Shen Xinwu reports the target's position confirmed. Yang Shizong returns, dismisses guards, leaving the gate unguarded. Inside, his wife gently reminds him to rest after long travels. She helps remove his armor. He gratefully replies, promising dinner if time allows, mentioning their lost child. He grows melancholy. Yang Shizong says he'll cultivate and tells her to sleep early. She silently watches him fade into the corridor. Suddenly, he halts. His cold gaze sweeps around, full of vigilance. Fan's group tenses, feeling exposed. They fear their cover might be blown, but he merely hesitates, then leaves. Everyone exhales in relief. Li now signals to keep following. Yang Shizong enters a sealed chamber, ordering all exits locked. Once shut, he triggers a secret mechanism on the desk. A hidden tunnel opens beneath. He mutters it's time. Zheng Ti gasps, realizing the mansion hides a suspicious underground palace. Li now halts the team until the target fully descends. After he's gone, they confer at the tunnel's mouth. Li No decisively leads down, wanting to witness the plot firsthand. They descend into a vast crypt. Alert at every step, a red mist surges forth. Metallic stench sharp Bai Yi Fan instantly senses blood path demonic energy. The dense, eerie aura confirms the intel Yang Shizong is practicing forbidden arts. Shin Xinwu panics, pointing ahead and warning the others. Before them, Yang Shizong sits amid a vast sea of blood, soul mists rising. Corpses chain some still tainted with demonic energy. Has not just cultivating his refining evil corpses, the team splits into 4 positions, silently preparing to strike. Before they act, Yang Shizong's icy voice exposes their presence. A devastating attack hits instantly. Bai Yi Fan shouts for everyone to dodge. They scatter, Liu now retreating in confusion at how they were discovered. Yang Shizong sneers, mocking them as naive intruders. Liu now sternly accuses him of betraying humanity and invokes the 5 elements Holy Land's judgment. At the name, Yang Shizong laughs, ridiculing the sect for sending weaklings. Bai Yi Fan feels a chill as danger sense, screaming louder than ever. Yang Shizong declares his one step from completing his demon body, and they've come as perfect sacrifices. Bai Yi Fan instantly warns the team they've walked straight into a trap. A crushing aura erupts, smothering the entire crypt. Yang Shizong coldly sentences them to become his offerings. Liu now roars and charges, with Zheng Tai and Shen Xinwu right behind. Bai Yi Fan stops him in time, ordering everyone to hold. Suddenly, the chained corpses begin to thrash violently. Chains clash and shatter one after another. The corpses lunge forward at normal speed. One targets Liu now. Its power terrifying. Bai Yi Fan pulls the team back, shouting to retreat. 2 demon puppets strike together. Zheng Tai is flung aside, and Liu No realizes they're deadly demon puppets crafted by Yang Shizong. Amid chaos, Zheng Tai is gravely wounded. Shen Xinwu and others rush to aid him. Li now roars in fury, Vong, such a monster maker must die. Bai Yi Fan calmly deduces these aren't ordinary corpses but high-grade dark constructs. He concludes they were forged from living humans retaining potential, and even growing stronger. 4 alone are deadly. Yet one worse remains unseen. Bai Yi Fan smirks faintly, realizing the situation's far more tangled than expected. Yang Shizong commands slaughter. The puppets roar and charge, forcing Liu Nao to yell for an all-out fight. Li No leads the counterattack, pouring all strength into a sword strike. The blow tears one puppet apart, making Li No laugh triumphantly. His joy dies as Yang Shizong's mocking laughter echoes. With emotion, blooded energy heals the puppet completely. Yang Shizong coldly claims his creations aren't so easily destroyed. Bai Yi Fan's group freezes, realizing he can regenerate them at will. The team panics, urging Liu Nao to find a counter fast before exhaustion sets in. Liu Nao steadies himself, deciding to face Yang Shizong directly to cut off his control. He activates a talisman on his sword, sending it flying toward the target. Yang Shizong blocks it effortlessly, mocking Liu Nao's lack of skill. With one sweep at his hand, he knocks the sword away. The sword spins midair, then rebounds straight into its master. Teammates scream Liu Nao's name as he is struck, gravely wounded. Liu Nao admits the foe's realm far exceeds expectations. Despair spreads if even Liu Nao fails. Hope is gone. Yang Shizong yawns in boredom, ordering them all tossed into the blood pool. For a moment, Liu fears they'll all die here. Suddenly, Bai Yi Fan strikes his movement ghostly fast. Before Yang Shizong reacts, a flash of sword light lands. In an instant, his arm is severed, his scream echoing. Liu Nao can't believe what he's seeing. Furious, Yang Shizong roars, "Hell, kill Bai Yi Fan." He unleashes full power, charging with a mighty punch. Bai Yi Fan calmly turns his sword, using the second move of his sword art. Spiritual energy forms raging crystals, shattering the blood shield Yang Shizong raised. The foe panics, his defense useless under the crystal storm. Thousands of shards pierce at once, trapping him in despair. The demon puppets lose connection, collapsing lifelessly. Bai Yi Fan stands amid the carnage, sword aimed, aura overwhelming. He coldly orders Yang Shizong to surrender. No path remains. His comrades stand stunned, unable to believe such strength. Yang Shizong bitterly admits defeat before the Holy Land's sword art, yet he stubbornly vows everyone will die today. Bai Yi Fan's face hardens, his danger sense flares violently. The last chain snaps, releasing the strongest demon puppet. Everyone scrambles away. The supreme puppet locks on a Bai Yi Fan. Its power far greater, he urgently warns retreat. A colossal strike smashes the ground. They barely dodge. Shin Xinwu pale with fear. The monster howls madly. Aura like a berserk beast, despair grips them all. Bai Yi Fan and Liu Ye hide behind a stone pillar. Seeing Yang Shizong lying motionless, Liu Ai shakes him in panic. No response. Liu Ye realizes Yang Shizong is truly dead. Hearing its master's death, the puppet freezes, then howls in agony. It goes berserk, erupting with insane power that terrifies everyone. The monster storms toward them like a hurricane. Someone shouts a desperate warning. The team scatters. Liu No calmly notes it hunts by sound and orders silence. While hiding, Shin Xinwu asks what's next. Liu now decides they must retreat. The gap's too wide. Bai Yi Fan refuses, saying if it escapes, countless civilians will die. He declares the creature must be slain here in the crypt. Liu No angrily snaps that Bai Yi Fan can't win alone. They must call for help. Right then, Liu Ai steps forward, stating Bai Yi Fan isn't alone. Liu now stares in shock, baffled by how reckless Liu Yai intends to be. Liu Yai reasons that waiting an hour for reinforcements will doom everyone. He insists the puppet will slaughter innocents long before help arrives. Liu admits he's not strong but never a coward. as ready to die together if it means saving innocent lives. Shin Xinwu and Zheng join the resolve to fight. Lu Wu no roars in anger, while Bai Yifan solemnly says only those who face death can truly protect the world. The demon puppet, as if commanded, charges at Lu Nao with savage speed. The group panics and scatters toward nearby cover. Liu Ye grips his weapon, trembling yet shouting his resolve to fight. The puppet smashes through the stone pillar. Bai Yifan suddenly dashes forward, drawing Lu Nao's angry rebuke. Bai Yifan calmly replies, telling them to watch closely. He erupts with fierce spiritual power, clashing head-on with the monstrous foe. With chilling composure, he asks who the real fool is. Mysterious power bursts forth like 10,000 soldiers, blasting the puppet away. Its massive body crashes into the crypt wall. Demonic energy disperses violently. The creature is slain. Liu Ai stands frozen, recognizing lightning energy that restrains blood fiends. Bai Yifan smiles confidently, declaring life and death belong to the strong. Before fading, the puppet croaks out loyal words without regret. Bai Yifan is stunned it still retained a trace of humanity. He reflects that this puppet must have willingly fallen, a rare phenomena. Li Hoi stares blankly, unable to believe the monster is truly dead. Lu Du now suspiciously questions the strange power, but Bai Yifan brushes it off. When touching the blood pool, Bai Yifan's face shifts. Something's off. Shin Xinwu nervously asks what's wrong. Bai Yifan concludes the ritual pool used beast blood, not human. Li Hui is puzzled. It contradicts Yang Shizong's cruel reputation. The crypt suddenly quakes. Shen Xinwu cries out the place is collapsing. Bai Yifan immediately orders a full retreat. A stone pillar falls behind Liu Ye, nearly crushing him. At that instant, a gentle voice and a surge of energy trigger a protective barrier. The shield forms in time, saving him by a hair's breadth. From above, Yixiachu of the Wood Institute appears serenely, asking how things went as if expecting it all. Bai Yifan, surprised, asks about the power. Li Ai happily introduces her as senior sister Yixiachu of the First Institute. Yixiachu praises their rare achievement and promises to report their merit to the Holy Land. Another pillar collapses dangerously behind her. She keeps talking calmly, only smiling confidently when warned. Yixiachu flicks her finger. The pillar shatters instantly. She assures them she sensed the danger earlier. Liu Ye gapes in awe, admiring her hero mastery. The group bows deeply, grateful for her rescue. Yixiachu steps closer, studying Bai Yifan intently, praising his extraordinary talent and battle prowess. He replies humbly but secretly feels proud. She laughs, patting his shoulder with thunderous force, saying his enlightenment and mindset are rare among outer disciples. While they converse, Lu now sneaks to Yang Shizong's corpse to loot. He finds a glowing ring, grinning as he believes fortune has smiled on him. Yixiachu suddenly appears and snatches back the ring with an overwhelming move, making Liu now scream in pain. She decisively hands the spoils to Bai Yifan, confirming ownership for the one who finished the foe. Bai Yifan gladly accepts, secretly calculating the great benefits this artifact brings. Li Nao stands nearby, dark with fury and deep resentment. Yixiachu turns to Yang Shizong's corpse, sighing for the fallen general who once guarded the borders. She begins recounting the tragedy, starting from his only daughter falling for his subordinate. The monarch forced his daughter into a political marriage with a foreign tribe. The girl met a tragic end, humiliated to death in exile. Consumed by boundless hatred, Yang Shizong turned demonic to avenge the empire's betrayal. His earlier words of loneliness revealed his eternal grief for his lost child. Liu Ai suddenly realizes the lady's words were the key clue. Yixiachu ponders the battle scars on the general's body. Bai Yifan recalls the demon puppet's final fading moment. He realizes the lingering humanity came from a willing fall driven by obsession. Liu now coldly vents his anger by stomping the corpse, saying it's unworthy of pity. Bai Yifan furiously shouts and stops the desecration. He strikes back, channeling spiritual power straight into Liu Nao's leg. Liu Nao screams while Bai Yifan sternly declares the dead must not be insulted. He vows to return the body to Madame Yang. Liu Nao objects, insisting the head must be taken to complete the mission. Bai Yifan isly states the corpse must remain whole. No negotiation. Yixiachu appears just in time, presenting the tiger tali as proof instead of the head. Liu Nao is stunned to learn the tiger tali was Yang Shizong's supreme command seal. Yixiachu stresses that the tali's worth surpasses life itself and backs Bai Yifan's choice. Li now grudgingly obeys, outwardly compliant but inwardly resentful. The group then erects a grave for Yang Shizong in the wasteland and informs his widow of the truth. Bai Yifan gently inquires about her emotional state. Yixiachu says the lady had long prepared herself, choosing to cultivate for her families and the world's souls. Bai Yifan rises to end the talk, urging everyone to move on. As they leave, Shin Xinyu curiously asks Yixiacho how she tracked them down. Yixiacho says she went demon hunting with Sister Jang but failed, ending up sent on errands. While wandering, she accidentally found strange demonic energy around the Yang mansion. Hearing that Bai Yifan's group secretly mocks her sex disciple quality, Shin Xinyu suddenly recalls and confirms the mentioned one as the famed Sister Jiang. Yixiachu introduces Jang Ling, the saintess of the Five Elements Holy Land, one of the 5 supreme hairs. Bai Yifan's curiosity earns him Shen Xinyu's teasing for ignorance. Shinek Sinyu explains the 5 hairs are elites chosen by the Southern Institute, each guarding a direction. Jang Ling is the youngest, most gifted, and a peerless beauty. Xiaochu gets overly excited, showing her wild admiration for the Saintess. She slings her arms around them, excitedly inviting them to witness the legendary Saintess firsthand. Meanwhile, Wonley Forest has turned into a chaotic battlefield. The Holy Hall disciples fight desperately while shouting encouragement. Trembling all the same, from the blazing red center, dark tentacles emerge, striking people down mercilessly. The Great Sorrow Demon King appears, mocking the Holy Land's lack of talent. Jang Ling steps forward, confidently declaring she alone is enough. Xiaochu waves wildly, warning everyone to just watch and not disturb the Saintess. Bai Yifan is horrified by the Demon King's terrifying pressure even from afar. The Great Sorrow Demon King roars, vowing to kill Jang Ling today. Jang Ling orders her disciples to activate the sealing formation. The disciples respond at once, swiftly forming a precise battle array. The array channels spirit power into massive wooden branches, stunning the Demon King. The branches close in, creating a cage that traps the foe. Delighting everyone, the Demon King sneers, dismissing such restraints as worthless. The disciples maintaining the array grow visibly exhausted, barely enduring the demonic force. Jang Ling draws her sword, calmly stating she doesn't aim for a direct kill. The cage works briefly, but a sudden mutation shakes the Demon King. Bai Yifan realizes the change comes from an intense energy clash. Jang Ling says it's only a prelude, then unleashes her killer move summoning the Golden Crow Phoenix. The flaming phoenix dives in, engulfing the seal and making the Demon King shriek in terror. The Demon King erupts in blazing red demonic power. Trying to escape, Jang Ling stays composed, declaring the foe has no way out, activating the world-destroying fire. She unveils her ultimate technique. The seal dissolves, replaced by a white sphere imprisoning the Demon King. Amid his screams, the sphere explodes, signaling his complete annihilation. The shockwaves spread. Disciples hastily defend against the scorching heat. When calm returns, only a massive crater remains a testament to total victory. Jang Ling descends amid her disciples' reverent gazes. She calmly reassures them and orders the battlefield cleaned up. Watching from afar, Xiaochu proudly explains this is the heavenly Dharma form of a seventh realm powerhouse. Bai Yifan marvels that such strength rivals divinity itself. A burning desire stirs within him to one day reach that same realm. Suddenly, Jang Ling calls out the group hiding nearby. Xiaochu panics, startled at being discovered. The group is baffled, unsure when they were noticed. Jang Ling sternly asks why outer disciples came to such a perilous place. And Xiaochu hastily makes excuses. She even boasts that Bai Yifan is a rare talent who defeated someone above his realm. Jang Ling shows interest, confirming the claim about Bai Yifan's cross-realm victory. Under her sharp gaze, Bai Yifan awkwardly admits it, blushing nervously. Jang Ling smiles, praising his combat ability. Bai Yifan modestly responds, calm outside but inwardly flustered by her aura. Liu No mocks his yellow grade aptitude, only to be sharply rebuked by Shen Xinyu. Shinek Xinyu even punishes Liu No directly, warning him to shut up. Jang Ling inquires about Bai Yifan's aptitude, and though anxious, he nods in admission. Li now secretly mocks, thinking a yellow grade can't catch the Saintess' eye. Instead, Jang Ling looks even more pleased, leaving Bai Yifan stunned. She cites powerful figures from humble origins to prove talent isn't everything. Jang Ling encourages him and promises a recommendation if he advances, making Bai Yifan pledge his resolve. Liu now is dumbfounded at the idea of a personal recommendation from the Saintess. Jealousy burns as he realizes the immense privileges and resources it brings. Liu reminds everyone it's late and time to return the mission report. At the contribution hall, the team reports completing the capture of Yang Shizong. The elder praises their results and grants contribution points. Bai Yifan receives his card, secretly thrilled at the generous reward for a low-tier task. Shinek Xinyu and Liu excitedly discuss using points to trade for new martial skills. Just as they leave, Li No loudly calls Bai Yifan back. Liu No accuses him of trying to hog the loot stored in the ring. Bai Yifan calmly replies, unfazed by the accusation. Li No abuses his title as captain, demanding the storage ring be handed over. He fumes, claiming Bai Yifan only dares act arrogant now that the Saintess is gone. Liu angrily retorts, saying without Bai Yifan they'd all have died in the dungeon. Liu No argues he also fought and was injured, so he deserves a share. He then orders Bai Yifan to apologize, flaunting his authority. Before he finishes, Bai Yifan suddenly kicks him so hard he nearly cries, Shinek Xinyu, Liu, and Zhang Tai shout in shock. Trying to stop him, Bai Yifan throws Liu now down again, reminding him of their unfinished grudge. Coldly, he declares any apology must be made on one's knees. Li No roars in rage, feeling unbearably humiliated. He pretends to drop it but hides behind others, clinging to false pride, outwardly enduring. Li now secretly vows revenge. As he turns to leave, Bai Yifan's voice calls him to halt. Li No smirks, thinking the other wants peace. Instead, he gets punched straight in the face, collapsing in shock. Li No rolls on the ground groaning, limp like a sandbag. Shinek Xinyu cries for him to stop, while Liu stands frozen in disbelief. Bai Yifan calmly comments that his face looks more symmetrical now, then leaves as Shen Xinyu urging. In fury, Li No leaps up and draws his sword to strike back. Bai Yifan instantly presses his blade to the man's neck, making him sweat cold. He warns that next time they meet, he won't hold back. Bai Yifan leads the group away, leaving Liu Nao kneeling in bitter defeat. Onlookers whisper in awe at the new disciple's audacity in the contribution hall. Liu Ye warns he could face punishment from the discipline hall, but Bai Yifan shrugs it off. Bai Yifan suddenly takes out several small bottles and shares them with the team. Liu Ye instantly recognizes it as blood from a Tier 4 Jingming bird and is stunned. Zhang Ti analyzes its immense value. Amazed by Bai Yifan's generosity, Shinek Xinyu guesses it came from the ring, and Bai Yifan calmly confirms, saying everyone gets a share. Secretly, he chuckles it's actually just chicken blood brought from Earth. The trio express awe and gratitude, while Bai Yifan feels they're true comrades after facing death together. Then he casually pulls out 3 glowing hearts and hands them out like random rewards. Liu Ye and Shen Xinyu are stunned, realizing beast hearts are worth far more than Tier 4 blood. Hunting a Jingming bird is hard enough, getting its heart is nearly impossible. Liu Ye tearfully hugs Bai Yifan, calling him big brother, leaving him awkwardly amused. In the discipline department, a cold elder's voice questions the report. Li No fabricates lies, accusing Bai Yifan of seizing command and stealing treasures. He adds that he was beaten publicly. Riling up the elder, Elder Ming immediately orders Bai Yifan summoned for interrogation. 2 enforcers respond in unison. On the way, Li No pauses with a scheming look. He secretly bribes the 2 with gold, asking them to rough Bai Yifan up. The enforcers sneer at the small bribe, saying all statements are verified with truth serum. Panicking, Li No offers a massive pouch of money. Begging for leniency, Yulong weighs the pouch, laughs, and seems pleased by its heaviness. Li No flatters them but secretly plots to seize Bai Yifan's treasures. Yulong devises a plan to swap the truth serum, rendering his testimony meaningless. Both gloat, convinced Bai Yifan will be severely punished. Under the moonlit forest, Bai Yifan meditates, outwardly serene like in prayer. In truth, his mastering the blood shield technique with unwavering focus. Suddenly, he opens his eyes. His breakthrough moment has arrived. The blood shield flares crimson around him, gathering atop his head, filling him with pride in its defense power. The remaining items are common pills he plans to trade for points tomorrow. The silence shatters as the door bursts open and someone shouts his name. Feng Su and Yulong storm in, flaunting their authority. Feng Su confirms his identity, arresting him under the discipline department's order for fighting in the contribution hall. Liu now smirks behind them, certain Bai Yifan will suffer. Bai Yifan calmly agrees to go, saying he was heading there anyway. Yulong suspiciously asks what he means. Bai Yifan replies he intended to submit her for beast blood and hints someone tried to steal it, causing the fight. Hearing of a rare treasure, Yulong glances sharply at Liu Nao, making him stammer in denial. Yulong coolly says the truth serum will clear everything, sending Liu Nao into panic. Li No lowers his voice, offering to split the profit, but Yulong immediately demands a bigger share. Li Nao grudgingly agrees, seething with hatred toward Bai Yifan. The 2 enforcers sternly urge Bai Yifan to follow. Bai Yifan asks for time to change clothes, claiming he just finished cultivation. Yulong firmly refuses, insisting on direct supervision. Both walk straight into the house, leaving Liu Nao outside. Inside, Yulong warns him coldly, but Bai Yifan calmly starts changing. Feng Su notices the spiritual energy in the room far surpasses intersect standards. Yulong's eyes catch a strange emerald object. They are shocked to see the carpet is woven from rare spirit herbs. Their gaze shifts to confirm another beast fangs of high grade. Even the foot towel is made of divine beast feathers, leaving them speechless. Yulong feels like he's stepped into a treasure vault. Baffled by the source, Bai Yifan casually says they are just his daily household items. He even offers them homemade bath sachets as gifts. Feng Su and Yulong realize they're priceless treasures far beyond normal value. They whisper to each other, suspecting Bai Yifan's background is far from simple. Outside, Liu Nao waits nervously. Sensing bad news, Feng Su and Yulong emerge completely changed, smiling politely. Liu Nao panics when told they'll still escort him to the discipline hall. Yulong implies he prefers long-term profit over quick gain. Liu Nao turns pale, unable to believe what he's hearing. At the discipline hall, the elder declares the matter resolved. In despair, Liu Nao confesses all his lies and jealousy, cursing as he goes, his sentence for incompetence and malice imprisoned and stripped of pay. Unwilling to accept it, Liu Nao drags Feng Su and Yulong into the mess. The 2 hurriedly kowtow, taking responsibility and personally escorting him away. The elder praises Bai Yifan's integrity and grants contribution points. He bows in thanks. Li Nao is taken away right after. Feng Su and Yulong try to flatter Bai Yifan, promising future protection. He simply smiles. The pair rejoice, admiring their big brother's cleverness. Their joy ends abruptly when a sack drops over their heads. Inside, they panic, unable to break free. A brutal beating follows, making them scream for mercy. When it's over, they find all their belongings gone. The thief has vanished, leaving them raging in humiliation. They grit their teeth and swear vengeance. Bai Yifan chuckles to himself, calling it his way of returning the favor. The next morning, at the martial arts pavilion of the 5 Elements Holy Land, Bai Yifan requests to exchange for the Topter Technique Soft Demon Great Strength Art. Stunning the elder, he solemnly insists has thought it through and asks for guidance. The elder warns the art is too difficult, likely beyond his current realm. Bai Yifan cuts him off, laughing confidently that he'll manage fine. The elder helplessly hands over the manual, sighing that he'll soon regret it. With the technique in hand, Bai Yifan plans to upgrade his gear to match a true powerhouse. At the Talisman Hall, he shops like a tycoon, leaving the manager dumbfounded. He ends up buying nearly everything, skipping only a few items, shocking the clerk into doubting his points balance. He keeps buying weapons, ordering an entire section packed up, making even the elder cry out in alarm. Bai Yifan leisurely admires a golden sword, satisfied, deciding to replace all his equipment. Leaving with a mountain of weapons, he stirs gossip has practically emptied the vault, legendary arms included. Someone shouts to ask his contribution total, but Bai Yifan smugly thinks it's a number none could imagine. That night, he studies the soft demon great strength art, learning it requires essence from the new G-Beast's blood. To him, that blood is absurdly easy to obtain. After absorbing it, he must exercise intensely to transform it into power. He tosses the empty blood vial toward a swarm of bats, clearly taunting them. Enraged, the bats swarm after him as he runs, mocking them the whole way. The chase ends quickly as they close the distance. Bai Yifan suddenly counterattacks, testing his new strength with a punch. The lead bat is sent flying, crashing into its flock in chaos. He feels his meridians surge, power soaring like dozens of horses combined. Riding the momentum, he unleashes an even stronger strike. The blast wipes out the entire swarm of bats in an instant. Just as he celebrates his success, strange noises echo from deep in the forest. On a nearby cliff, a mysterious man appears and calls out to someone. The two meet in tense silence, revealing themselves as demon spies hidden for years. The identity of a demon lord from the Eternal Regret demon sect is exposed in their talk. The cliffside man angrily shouts for him to stop his mockery. They discuss the Great Sorrow Demon King's death and the Eternal Night sect's next plan. Bai Yifan hides behind a tree, horrified to learn a spy lurks in the Holy Land and demons plan to kill Jang Ling for revenge. At the mention of the demon god, cold sweat runs down his back. The threat is beyond imagination. The mysterious man calmly warns that touching Jiang Ling means striking the five elements Holy Land's core. Precisely because it's dangerous, they must craft a flawless plan. He mentions the upcoming Spirit Herb Garden trial, where Jiang Ling's oversight could be used to lure her to death. The reincarnation demon lord grins wickedly, eagerly agreeing. Their plan use rare herbs to draw elites together, then unleash beasts to slaughter them. The schemer is praised for his sharp and vicious mind. Once the elites are dead, Jiang Ling will inevitably bear the blame. Bai Yifan hears the whole plot, shaken and knowing he must escape at once. Suddenly, the mysterious man senses movement and blasts demonic power at his hiding spot. Bai Yifan panics, thinking he's been discovered. The strike shatters the tree, exploding in dust and smoke. Seeing no one, the man begins to doubt his instincts, concluding there's no life nearby. He decides he was imagining things. The man departs, and the forest slowly returns to silence. Bai Yifan slips away safely, exhaling in relief at his narrow escape. He vows not to let the plot against Jiang Ling succeed. Yet lacking evidence, he fears reporting it might backfire. He resolves to infiltrate the Spirit Herb Garden and investigate quietly. 3 days later, the garden bustles with crowds of disciples showing off and competing. The lively scene amazes all with the trial's grand scale. Those who perform well might catch elders' eyes and enter the inner sect. Cold voice echoes, ordering everyone to clear the way. Tu Changfeng strides in arrogantly, his aura forcing others to retreat, one after another. Other notable figures arrive, drawing every gaze. Shinek Xinyu whispers that those 5 are outer sect elites, one step from entering the inner sect. Bai Yifan suspects these geniuses are the demon lord's intended targets. He quietly asks Xinyu about the demon race, surprising her with his sudden concern. Xinyu explains demons are humanity's mortal enemies, ranked solely by combat strength. The demon god reigns supreme and unmatched being of legend. Beneath the demon god are 7 great demon sects, infamous and far-reaching. The demon and beast clans together pose humanity's greatest existential threat. Bai Yifan finally grasps how complex and perilous the current situation truly is. Just then, a clear voice rings from the Spirit Herb Garden's entrance. Jiang Ling appears, declaring she'll personally oversee the trial and demands rule obedience. The male disciples are instantly captivated by her beauty and fame. She announces Rule 1 combat is allowed, but bullying weaker realms is forbidden. Rule 2 the trial lasts 7 days. Rule 3 participants may keep any herbs found after registration. She warns that violations will be punished severely. The trial begins, and disciples surge into the spatial gate. Bai Yifan decides to enter as well. Upon arrival, he feels the space overflowing with rich spiritual energy. His teammates vanish, everyone has been scattered randomly. He recalls the garden's vastness and dangers that grow deeper within. A distant roar catches his attention. 3 massive snakes appear before him, bearing their fangs. Bai Yifan scoffs, deeming such larger beasts unworthy of concern. With a flash, his sword moves. 3 snakes drop dead instantly. He concludes Tier 4 beasts threaten common disciples, but to him, they're trivial. Thinking of the demon lord's lurking beasts, he decides to keep exploring. A cry for help echoes nearby. Immediately drawing his focus, he finds Su Chun cornered by 2 male disciples. Desperately resisting, Gao Yang taunts her crudely, showing shameless intent and disdain for sect rules. Wang Dang urges him to hurry before trouble comes. Guiyang laughs lewdly, spewing filth while Su Chun trembles in fear. Wang Dang grins wickedly, scheming selfishly. Suddenly, something whizzes through the air. Both scoundrels are struck in the face. Sent sprawling in pain, they howl in fury, clutching their faces, searching for the attacker. Bai Yifan steps out, mocking them as beasts amid the spirit herb garden. Su Chun, tearful, pleads for help and recounts their crimes. Gao Yang recognizes his old enemy, snarling with mixed rage and excitement. Bai Yifan coldly gives them a choice: crawl away or be crippled. Gao Yang laughs arrogantly, boasting his now peak aperture realm. He roars and charges, eager to settle old scores. Bai Yifan easily blocks the punch, his expression calm as ever. He sneers that the man isn't even worth a finger. Gao Yang freezes in terror, sweating as he senses the vast power gap. Bai Yifan gives a final warning about bullying the weak. A mere flick of his finger sends Zhou Yang flying. Gao Yang tumbles down a slope, screaming in pain, wiping his hands in disgust. Bai Yifan turns a cold gaze toward Wang Dang. Wang Dang stammers, trembling, asking what he intends to do. He tries to threaten him by flaunting his intersect sister status. Before he finishes, Bai Yifan punches him square in the face. Wang Dang collapses, realizing the man's power is far beyond belief. Bai Yifan mockingly dismisses intersect titles, deepening Wang Dang's despair. Without another word, he kicks Wang Dang out of sight. Wang Dang splashes into a lake, flailing pathetically, while Bai Yifan mutters disgust for bullies. Bai Yifan bends down to pick up a fallen storage pouch. He coolly declares all its treasures now have a new owner. Su Chun tearfully thanks for saving her life. While Bai Yifan only worries about her wounds, he offers her a spiritual medicine for healing. The herb is the extremely rare Isol golden leaf. Su Chun is shocked, confirming if he truly means to give it to her. Bai Yifan awkwardly turns away, claiming the herb doesn't suit him. Su Chun blushes, realizing his hidden meaning. She leads him deeper into the spirit herb garden, warning of high-rank beasts. Bai Yifan suspects the forbidden zone might be a demon clan trap. Deep in the forbidden river, disciples discover a rare clearlight herb on a small isle. Someone warns that a lion-ape guards the spirit herb. Seeing the beast still alive, they realize taking it would be suicidal. Liu Yai explains the lion-ape is a hider beast attacking means death. Zhang Ti agrees, suggesting they wait for others to strike first. As they observe, a strange voice sounds behind them, followed by a reaching hand. Lixi startles, spinning around to question the newcomer. Bai Yifan smiles, pats Liu Yu's shoulder for vigilance, making him grin in relief. The group scolds him for disappearing and eyes the girl beside him curiously. Bai Yifan introduces Su Chun, and they quickly get acquainted. Su Chun recounts her bullying and rescue. The group plans to act as Tu Changfeng prepares to strike. Tu Changfeng grilly gives orders, sending two to distract the lion ape. Meng Fizi and Honai obey and get ready to assist. Despite the thrown rocks, the lion ape barely flinches as two others rush in. Hong Bei and Liang Fei affirm their positions confidently. Tu Changfeng declares hell face the beast head-in. Ordering formation hold, he channels spiritual power, charging fiercely toward the lion ape. Onlookers admire Tu Changfeng's team's coordination and strength. Suddenly, the lion ape roars, unleashing shockwaves that fling everyone away. Tu Changfeng is forced back, stabbing his sword into the ground to stand firm. The disciples panic, realizing they can't handle its power. The lion ape grows even madder, locking on a Meng Fisi. Trapped under its gaze, Meng Fisi screams in terror. The beast strikes down like thunder. Meng Fisi's armor shatters as his hurled away screaming. The disciples freeze in horror at the beast's sudden power surge. Bai Yifan realizes it's triggered its berserk bloodline state. Tu Changfeng shouts for retreat, urging everyone to flee the danger zone. Meng Huinai clings to Tu Changfeng, begging him to carry her as she's injured. Tu Changfeng sees the lion ape charging him. Escape is all that matters. He snaps angrily, ordering Meng Huinai to let go before she drags him down. Terror grips him, knowing one more delay means death under those claws. Spotting a hidden figure nearby, he conceives a cruel escape plan. From across the field, Bai Yifan senses something off and grows suspicious of Tu Changfeng's intent. Tu Changfeng pulls out a chunk of spirit-rich meat, calculating how well it could lure the beast. Without hesitation, he throws it toward the hiding group, consoling himself that survival demands sacrifice. The lion ape halts instantly, its focus locked on the tempting bait. The chunk flies toward Bai Yifan's group, shocking them as disaster looms. The beast roars thunderously and bolts for Bai Yifan. Chaos erupting. Against all odds, Bai Yifan calmly grabs the meat instead of dodging. He reassures his teammates and boldly lures the beast, taunting it to focus on him. Aroused by the spirit scent, the lion ape goes berserk while Bai Yifan remains cold and calculating. Liu admires his sacrifice, while Shen Xinyu worries about the beast's terrifying might. Distant onlookers are stunned by Bai Yifan's decision to become live bait. Unable to stand by, Liu and Shen Xinyu rush in despite Su Chun's frightened protests. Liu firmly declares he won't abandon a comrade, leaving Su Chun torn. Just then, Tu Changfeng appears mockingly, claiming Bai Yifan must be dead by now. Meng Fizi and Meng Huani arrive, furious and disgusted by Tu Changfeng's cowardice. Confronted, Tu Changfeng shrugs it off and even threatens them openly. Everyone's disgust deepens, seeing him as a shameless hypocrite. Tu Changfeng strolls toward the clearlight herb, burning with ambition to ascend faster. He deems his vile acts trivial, believing Bai Yifan merely paved his path to glory. Suddenly, Bai Yifan reappears like a specter, flipping the scene on its head. Without a word, he punches furiously, roaring for Tu Changfeng to back off the herb. Tu Changfeng can't react in time and is blasted into the river. Bloodied and broken, the crowd freezes in disbelief as Bai Yifan calmly pockets the clear-light herb with contempt. To him, the herb is worthless, their greed only amuses him. His teammates rush over, anxiously checking if his hurt. Bai Yifan laughs it off, calling it just a warm-up. To Liu Yu's relief, Tu Changfeng drags himself from the river, furious and baffled that his foe is unharmed. Bai Yifan replies casually, mentioning the beast in passing. He explains the lion ape is knocked out and tossed aside, no longer a threat. The crowd buzzes, some call it luck. Others marvel at Bai Yifan's hidden power. Hearing this, Tu Changfeng grows madder, feeling his honor trampled. In rage, he unleashes his ultimate art, charging at Bai Yifan and demanding the herb. Someone scolds him for bullying the weak, saying he's disgraced his senior title. Tu Changfeng ignores all reproach, fixated on stealing the fortune. Bai Yifan responds coldly, channeling his spirit power to invoke a secret art. Crimson light engulfs him, stunning Tu Changfeng as Bai Yifan mocks his weakness. Gripping Tu Changfeng's hand, Bai Yifan coolly says using this move on him is overkill, sending the man into panic. Bai Yifan stands firm, fists clenched, his aura crushing the entire field. Scarlet spirit energy flares like wildfire, devouring the space around him. Without hesitation, he delivers a rage-filled punch straight into his foe. Tu Changfeng is flung away, rolling miserably as witnesses gasp in disbelief. Shock spreads. How could a prefecture realm genius fall from a single blow? The gap stuns everyone. None expected a new disciple to wield such power. Bai Yifan mocks him coldly, turning his earlier insults back to shatter his pride. In terror, Tu Changfeng begs for mercy, citing the sect's rules. Indeed, those rules forbid prefecture disciples from attacking lower realms. Yet the irony before them leaves Tu Changfeng trembling in fear. His despairing scream echoes through the mountains. Bai Yifan gazes indifferently at the fallen man. Ignoring his hateful curses, he casually takes the storage pouch, claiming it as spoils of war. Bai Yifan generously divides the loot, earning cheers and admiration. Liu Yi and Sheng Xiu happily accept spirit items. Eyes full of gratitude, he clearly allocates shares. Anik Suchuan obediently complies. Lying on the ground, Tu Changfeng secretly nurses killing intent, planning an ambush. Just then, crimson weapon streaks in from afar, ruining his plot. Bai Yifan turns, recognizing it as a weapon forged from blood essence. Three powerhouses appear, sternly condemning his cowardly conduct that disgraced the outer sect. Tu Changfeng argues in rage, but his aura has utterly collapsed. Bai Yifan quickly notes all three are Purple Mansion realm experts wielding unique arms. One casually kicks Tu Changfeng aside like worthless trash. That man then invites Bai Yifan to join their team, praising his strength. Bai Yifan curtly asks their purpose for forming a group. The man explains they are heading to the upper Forbidden River, where many are needed to break a spirit barrier. The team channels spirit power in unison, striking together to unravel the seal. Their combined force shakes the barrier violently, cracks spreading fast. Yang Xiadi urges them on, pouring in more power as the seal nears collapse. Just then, Huang Zhen arrives with reinforcements, followed by Shi Min, whose aura is equally fierce. Huang Zhen joins the formation, adding his energy and shouting to breach the seal. Under the overwhelming pressure, the barrier finally shatters open a huge gap. Yang Xiadi exhales in relief, eyes locked on the newly opened passage. Shi Min scolds Huang Zhen for being late. He laughs it off, saying he was gathering allies. Bai Yifan instantly understands. Bai Yifan concludes that entering Purple Lantern Valley requires teamwork, and most outer sect elites are now assembled. Shi Min eyes Bai Yifan, amazed that a novice under 3 months stands here. Huang Zhen recounts his victory over Tu Changfeng, warning not to underestimate Bai Yifan. The group enters Purple Lantern Valley, stunned by the unusually dense spiritual energy. Shi Min finds the silence eerie, and it's explained that this is the Moon-Eater Wolf's domain. Scaring off other beasts, Disciple spots a rare violet spirit flower and greedily rushes to claim it. Before he can touch it, a massive shadow lunges out, terrifying him. Bai Yifan immediately warns everyone of the ambush. The beast attacks savagely, gravely injuring a nearby disciple, blood splattering everywhere. Amid the chaos, the crowd stares into the darkness, sensing doom approaching. Screams erupt as they realize it's the dreaded Moon-Eater Wolf. Panic spreads through the valley as many scramble to escape. Huang Zhen stands firm with his hammer, assuring all that a rank-7 beast can't surpass a Purple Mansion cultivator. Hearing this, greed flares. Some already calculate the worth of its pelt and eyes. Bai Yifan remains calm, sensing the wolf's aura is bizarrely strong, beyond any normal beast. Suddenly, the Moon-Eater Wolf lets out a chilling, sinister laugh. This shatters logic. Unawakened beasts shouldn't express human-like emotions. The wolf strikes without warning, emerald claws slashing at the confident Huang Zhen. Has hit before reacting, falling dead, leaving nearby disciples horrified. Everyone freezes. A triple-layer Purple Mansion expert slain in one blow. The spirit beast kills 2 more, forcing the rest to realize its intelligent and unbeatable head-in. Bai Yifan quietly deduces that the entire valley is a pre-planned death trap. The demon beast doesn't rush it, methodically drives them into despair. Elsewhere, Jang Ling suddenly senses unease, her face paling at the thought of Purple Lantern Valley, Without delay, she orders a rescue team to set out immediately. Her peers barely grasp the situation before she vanishes in haste. Back in the valley, the survivors despair united. They still can't stop the beast. Shimin breaks down, trembling in terror at dying here. They realize the beast is toying with them, hurting them like prey. The Moon-Eater wolf howls eerily, making Shimin shiver with dread. When they grasp the howl as a summoning call, despair engulfs all. Bai Yifan quickly counters, saying it's not just calling reinforcements. From the darkness, countless feral eyes appear. All valley beasts gathered. Roars and heavy steps thunder closer, heralding death itself. The Moon-Eater wolf stands tall, sneering like a general commanding troops. Bai Yifan recalls legends of higher spirit beasts with intellect and control over lesser monsters. He deduces the exit is sealed without breaking through. Total annihilation is imminent. A panicked disciple realizes the cruel truth: the expedition was a death trap from the start. Shimin, overwhelmed by fear, bolts in desperation despite her comrades' shouts. The Moon-Eater wolf seizes the chance and snatches Shimin in a flash, chilling everyone to the bone. Yang Xiaodi collapses in despair, trembling and crying while her peers try to console her in vain. Bai Yifan observes silently, realizing unchecked fear will lead to total annihilation. He notes the wolf resting calmly, knowing they're merely bait for a greater plot. Time runs out, delaying further only deepens their doom. Resolving to risk it all, Bai Yifan steps forward toward the beast, ordering everyone to stay put. The disciples panic, calling him suicidal. Bai Yifan steadies their spirits, vowing to make the beast taste fear instead. He throws a strange object into the encirclement. A nauseating stench erupts instantly, making all who inhale it gag. The plant spreads its full odor, forcing those nearby to cover their noses and retreat. The beasts grow restless, though the Moon-Eater wolf remains menacingly calm. As doubt spreads, strange reactions appear behind the spirit beast. Beasts exposed to the poison convulse, foam, and drop dead. The rest recoil in fear, giving the disciples a flicker of hope. Yang Xiaodi recognizes the item. Gasping as she names a rare lethal toxin, she recalls legends of its deadly stench, while Bai Yifan calmly muses on its mundane origin. He remembers Earth, how that same smell once sent children running. Seeing its potency, Bai Yifan silently thanks himself for keeping this useless thing. A hidden disciple can't help but praise his quick-witted ingenuity. The group finally exhales, realizing the beast encirclement has been broken. Bai Yifan lands lightly, treating the danger as temporarily resolved. His gaze shifts to the final foe, knowing the true trial has just begun. The Moon-Eater wolf faces him, eyes full of killing intent as everyone holds their breath. Between life and death, Bai Yifan charges forward, sword blazing with radiant fire. He unleashes a ferocious strike, pouring his full strength into the slash. The blade meets the beast's hide in a moment of sheer tension. The result shocks him. The full power strike leaves only a shallow cut. The wolf tilts its head mockingly, letting out a contemptuous laugh. Frustration stirs in Bai Yifan. Its defense far exceeds his expectations. The beast bursts forward with terrifying speed, forcing him into peril instantly. He dodges with agile footwork, calculating how to restrain its movements. Fangs bared, the Moon-Eater wolf prepares to deliver the killing blow. In that decisive instant, Bai Yifan chooses the risky path to counter. He spins and drives his sword straight at the beast's throat. Onlookers gasp, certain he's trading his life for the attack, but Bai Yifan doubles down, gripping his sword tight while gathering another killing art. Yang Xiaodi stares in horror as a new weapon takes shape in his hands. Crimson weapon condenses fully, radiating violent energy. Bai Yifan unleashes his full power, plunging the blood-furred weapon into the Moon-Eater wolf's body. A deafening roar fades. The beast collapses motionless, leaving all in stunned silence. None can believe it, suspecting Bai Yifan broke through realms mid-battle. As danger fades, cheers erupt. Everyone hails his power and courage. He senses his energy forming weapons, realizing this new realms might exceed expectation. Just as calm returns, a sinister laugh chills the air once more. Bai Yifan instantly tenses, sensing a demonic force behind the wolf's death. A massive celestial phenomenon descends from the sky. Spiritual energy from an artifact binds the Moon-Eater wolf's corpse. Flames surge violently, purging all lingering corruption. A female cultivator descends in radiant light, her presence commanding. Bai Yifan exhales in relief, knowing they barely escaped death. Yang Xiaodi and others rush forward, shouting for their savior. With a simple gesture, Jang Ling disperses all remaining evil aura. She sternly orders everyone to recount the entire incident. A disciple angrily complains, but Bai Yifan stops him and calmly explains the true cause. The others agree, confirming the strange aura wasn't from a normal spirit beast. Yang Xiaodi narrates the herb-gathering mission and the wolf's mutation. She emphasizes Bai Yifan's role in buying them time to survive. Jang Ling suspects the rare herb's origin but gets only vague answers. She praises briefly, deciding to investigate personally while examining the corpse. Bai Yifan curiously asks about the broken seal. Jang Ling confirms she had checked all strong beasts before the trial began. She explains she once suppressed the wolf as it neared breakthrough, but the seal vanished. Bai Yifan questions whether the seal was forcibly broken. Jang Ling denies it, saying the beast lacks such power. Bai Yifan proposes someone may have secretly intervened. Jang Ling nods, admitting their thoughts align. She orders all disciples to withdraw, promising answers later. A few grumble but soon flee the perilous site. Before leaving, Jang Ling quietly thanks Bai Yifan for saving everyone. She hands him a secret manual, its immense value leaving him stunned. She explains it's a high-grade martial art suited to him he accepts respectfully. Then she offers another item, sparking his curiosity. Jang Ling explains it's a realm-stabilizing pill to aid cultivation. Deepening his gratitude, she bluntly questions how someone of low talent advances so abnormally fast and where he found rare treasures. Bai Yifan admits to a past fortuitous encounter filled with relics. Claim she cautiously accepts. He carefully suggests this incident may link to demonic sect forces. Seeing his hesitation, Jang Ling urges him to elaborate. Bai Yifan grows alert, scanning the surroundings for unseen watchers. He only hints they must stay vigilant, implying there's a dangerous traitor within the sacred land itself. Just then, 3 female disciples rush in apologizing for their delay, earning Jang Ling his mild scolding. She promptly orders the trial suspended for investigation, and the 3 bow in obedience. In the Grand Hall of the 5 Elements Temple, a dean remarks that the incident's truth is far from simple. Du Shanrong analyzes that no beast could break Ling's seal, there must be hidden conspiracy. Xia Jingqing rebits sharply, blaming the entire fiasco on Jiang Ling's negligence. Yan Tines defends her, saying casualties in trials are common. But Xia Jingqing objects immediately. He stresses that had rescue been slower, the losses would have been catastrophic and unforgivable. Du Shanrong continues defending Ling, citing her past demon-slaying merit, but Xia Jingqing insists on separating merit from fault when a heavy aura silences all. Muley steps forth, ruling Ling guilty of mismanagement and sentencing her to reduced pay and temporary reassignment to teach outer disciples. Jang Ling accepts the punishment calmly and respectfully. Muley takes partial blame for his disciple, volunteering extra penalty. Leaving Xia Jingqing speechless, Yan Tines mentions a young disciple's great merit in the event. Confirmed by Jiang Ling, Du Shanrong expresses keen interest in that new disciple's exceptional talent and performance. She laments that another key figure wasn't present to witness such rare potential. Elsewhere, Bai Yifan suddenly sneezes for no reason. He wonders if someone's gossiping about him. Back home, he tests the realm-stabilizing pill but finds the effects limited. He reflects on the Purple Mansion, the source of mind and spirit power requiring time to adapt. After breakthrough, cultivating the Brain Palace carries great risk without proper methods. An idea strikes him. He recalls a unique training technique he once considered. A memory surfaces of him buying strange seeds at a market. Asking for the best batch, he hopes their brain-nourishing effect works here as it did in his previous knowledge. As he channels energy, heat spreads through his body, essence converging in his consciousness center. After long meditation, he opens his eyes feeling refreshed. The training ends, his power now fully obeys his will. His gaze lands on the new manual, already planning how to modify it his own way. Returning to daily life, he relaxes in his familiar home, savoring rare tranquility. Even while resting, he reminds himself not to neglect critical information. A message from his mother reports good health and a promise for a future trip, warming his heart. Thinking his family's safety finally puts him at ease. His phone suddenly floods with texts from Tang Rongrong asking where he's been. Her unusually persistent messages make him suspicious of her motives. He quickly types an apology, claiming he's just been busy. Suddenly, urgent knocking shatters the calm night. Surprised, he wonders who would visit so late. Opening the door, he finds his old friend He Shengui standing there. Bai Yifan freezes, asking why he appeared so suddenly. Soon, the two sit in a noisy bar, chatting and drinking with laughter and nostalgia. He half-jokingly asked if Bai Yifan got rich thanks to money or a backer. Bai Yifan chuckled, saying his friend hadn't changed a bit. He Shengui mocked himself, claiming he wasn't born to be a rich hunk. The chat was cut short as the mood suddenly shifted. A sharp, angry shout caught Bai Yifan's ear with eerie familiarity. He spotted Tang Dungdung drunk and being forced to drink more by a man. To Shengwu's surprise, Bai Yifan instantly left the table to intervene. The man clearly had nasty intentions, trying to take advantage of her. Despite Dungdung's dazed refusals, he kept pressing her. Bai Yifan suddenly grabbed the man's wrist and yelled a warning. The man screamed in pain, cursing and threatening back. Bai Yifan responded with a clean, powerful punch. He sternly warned he wouldn't spare him if he bothered her again. The man turned pale with fear and begged repeatedly for mercy. Done with that, Bai Yifan turned to help Tang Dungdung. Visibly worried, half-conscious, she recognized him and mumbled his name. Confused and dizzy, she heard him asking about her bodyguard. 2 hours earlier, Tang Dungdung had stared at her phone, waiting for his reply. She had asked to meet for something important, but his cold refusal crushed her. Overwhelmed, she cried and accused him of being heartless. Bai Yifan froze, completely clueless how to respond. In her drunken haze, she kept questioning his long absence and hinting at another woman. Her jealous, emotional rant left him flustered and awkwardly trying to calm her. Shenghui, watching the whole thing, teased until Bai Yifan snapped at him to shut up. Then Bai Yifan explained things to her bodyguard and took responsibility for her safety. He helped Dungdung into his car, agreeing to take her to his place instead of home. Shengui watched with a smirk while Bai Yifan denied any funny ideas. Once home, he gently laid Tang Dungdung down, finally getting a breather, even half asleep. She kept calling his name, insisting she had something vital to say. Bai Yifan sighed helplessly, wondering how things got so chaotic. Sharing a room late at night only made him more uneasy. When she groggily asked where she was, he softly told her to rest first. He couldn't stop wondering what she wanted to tell him. Suddenly, she held his face and told him to hush and listen. Tang Dunding hesitated, about to reveal something serious between them. Bai Yifen's heartbeat sped up as he nervously awaited her words. But the moment shattered when she vomited all over him. Horrified, Bai Yifen cried out, feeling cursed by fate. Still dizzy, Dunding staggered to shower, stripping and complaining, while he stood helpless. After the chaos, they ended up on the bed, with Bai Yifan curled at the edge lamenting his misery. Shivering in the cold, he still couldn't figure out what she had wanted to say. Thinking it over, he had to admit her figure was dangerously attractive. Scolding himself for stray thoughts, he decided to sleep early and buy supplies tomorrow. Suddenly, Tang Dunding hugged him from behind, happily savoring the closeness. Bai Yifan froze, heart racing as she kept speaking clearly, still awake. As he tried to turn, she shyly begged him not to look back. She confessed that during their time apart, she longed to understand him more. His unpredictable distance made her anxious. Only by hugging him did she feel he was real. Spoiled since childhood, this was her first time yearning for someone. Her confession of liking him completely stunned Bai Yifan. She suggested they lie together to confirm her feelings. Alarm bells rang in his head, and he reminded her she was drunk. She whispered she was sober and pleaded softly with him. As he moved to leave, she sadly assumed he found her unattractive. Before she could finish, he silenced her with a sudden, fierce kiss. Seeing her tears, he couldn't bring himself to refuse her. Passion filled the room, and the two forgot the world outside. The next morning, Bai Yifan woke up exhausted from the long night. The empty space beside him made him look around for Dundung. He found a new message she had just sent. In it, she confessed her feelings but asked for time and secrecy from her sister. He sighed bitterly, unsure whether to feel joy or sorrow. Thinking of her terrifying sister's gaze made his heart pound with dread. In the other realm, his residence returned to peaceful calm with birds flying about. Suddenly, a flash of light tore through the sky. Striking down a bird, Bai Yifan reviewed his training results, pleased that the golden lock finger worked well for long-range attacks. He noted that its power could be adjusted by the amount of spiritual energy infused, that many now had a secret trump card against future powerful foes. Just then, brilliant light erupted atop the mountain. Beaming straight down, the alarm bell from Five Elements Mountain rang, signaling a major event. Liu Yi rushed in, reporting that all outer disciples were being summoned, prompting Bai Yifan to follow. At the mountain's base, hundreds gathered as Axia Jingsheng announced a demon lord's massacre and dark cult kidnappings. Amid the uproar, he declared an alliance of two holy lands to invade the eternal demon abyss. Outer disciples could join voluntarily, with huge rewards promised for top achievers. Hearing the name Forget Dust Pill, the crowd erupted in excitement. Someone explained it was a mid-grade spirit pill that greatly boosted breakthrough success. With added top-tier weapons and martial skills, everyone sensed the mission would be perilous. Liu Yi discussed with Bai Yifan about the true purpose behind the expedition. Many speculated the higher-ups aimed to compete for prestige with rival sects. Su Chun hesitated, reminding them the eternal demon abyss was infamous for its deadly danger. In contrast, Li Wei burned with enthusiasm, calling it a rare chance for growth. Bai Yifan smiled and agreed to join, seeing it as fitting training. Still, deep down, he remained wary of a possible plot within their holy land. Zhang Tai suggested they thoroughly prepare specialized gear before departure. He explained that the eternal demon abyss held 9 overlapping layers of vast space. Most of it was shrouded in eternal darkness, lair to countless demonic creatures, from lowly beasts to high-ranked fiends, all gathered there. It was also a colossal treasure ground. Deeper meant richer fortunes but deadlier danger. Due to its abnormal nature, the creatures had a fatal weakness: aversion to natural light. Shinnok Sinew stressed carrying glowing items like night pearls or light talismans without them. Entering meant suicide. Hearing demons feared sunlight. Bai Yifan instantly saw a way to turn the tide. 3 days later, the group arrived at Heya City. Xia Jingsheng stood before the outer disciples, explaining that Heyo was a trading hub for supplies before entering the abyss. He said multiple entrances surrounded the city, and each disciple would receive a communication talisman. This universal talisman allowed distress calls to major sects if luck was on one side. He divided zones by rank. Western Refining Realm stayed shallow. Aperture Realm went deeper. Those stronger were warned not to go too far unless they'd reached the Secret Realm stage. The disciples answered in unison, and Xia Jingsheng nodded, dismissing them. Instantly, hundreds split into teams to prepare for the journey. Bai Yifan's group gathered. Su Chun wanted new weapons, Shinnok Sinew some provisions. They entered the market. Su Chun admired a fine longsword, while Bai Yifan marveled at Hai Yao's prosperity. A rude man barged in, fighting Su Chun over the sword, calling himself Sun Sing of the Iron Armor sect. Enraging her fellow disciple Xiao Shi tried to calm them, but Sun Sing sneered, calling 5 Elements holy land mere cannon fodder. Watching, Bai Yifan felt only irritation. Sensing trouble magnetized to him again, Liu Yi retorted proudly that their holy land far surpassed minor sects. With Su Chun backing him up, Sun Sing cursed furiously, boasting Iron Armor sect was a second-grade sect recognized by the continent. The Holy Land disciples coldly replied that to them, second-grade or third-rate made no difference. Insulted, Sun Sing roared in rage, nearly sparking a fight. As she was about to strike, a chilling command froze her in place. A cold blade touched her neck. Bai Yifan, warned if she caused more trouble, had shown no mercy, his speed terrifying her. Humiliated, Sun Sing retreated with her peers, muttering spite, while Shin Sinyu picked up the sword and handed it to Xu Chun, who thanked her joyfully. Bai Yifan sternly advised Xu Chun to strengthen herself. No one could always protect her in the abyss. Shin Sinyu gently explained it came from care, emphasizing self-training as the key, earning Xu Chun's nod of understanding. At their inn, the Iron Armor sect disciples knelt trembling as Sun Sing was slapped hard by her elder for shaming them. Holding her stinging cheek, she trembled, admitting her reckless act had disgraced the sect. Elder Jiang scolded furiously, reminding her never to cause trouble in Haiyo, especially against the Five Elements Holy Land. He analyzed that the Holy Land was on the brink of revival, possibly reclaiming first-grade status in the upcoming Grand Assembly. In contrast, the Iron Armor sect could only rely on its backers and wait for a chance to rise. Yet their disciples' foolishness exposed their weakness before just an outer disciple. The elder coldly ordered them to restore the sect's honor by any means necessary. Outside the city, Bai Yifan led his team to confirm the nearest abyss entrance, while deeper below, orders echoed to wipe out remaining demons. Liu Ai unleashed sword strikes, clearing the foes and agreeing to rest after cleanup. Zhang Tai charged fiercely, his palm blast shattering the demons ahead. Corpses littered the ground. Liu Ye casually wiped her sword and bragged, while Zhang Tai boasted that few could stop them now. Amid the cheer, Shin Xinyu spotted a glowing spirit tree and shouted it was a rare demon spirit tree. Zhang Tai praised its worth, and Shin Xinyu proudly flaunted it like a pile of gold. Bai Yifan decided to split up, going alone to explore the 7th layer while the team stayed behind to stabilize. Liu Ye worriedly confirmed if he truly meant to take such a risk. Calmly, he said it was for training and left her in charge of protecting the others before heading deeper. Su Chun timidly tried to stop him, saying she hadn't yet found her spirit herbs. Bai Yifan firmly refused, assigning someone else to help her gather more resources. The others comforted Xu Chun, promising to share future gains, but she only nodded gloomily. On the 7th layer, a gruesome scene awaited, demons feasting on corpses in a hellish banquet. A trembling cultivator realized he was no match for the Hyder demon that had slain his peers. Abandoning his trial, he just hoped to escape before being noticed. Panicked, he ran while screaming for help. The demon chased relentlessly, spear in hand, mocking his struggle. As the spear neared, he knew death was certain. On the brink of death, he let out a desperate scream. At that instant, a powerful blast intercepted the killing strike. A lightning-fast counterattack followed, striking the pursuer down. The demon fell as a cold voice remarked on meeting the Knight Commander right upon entering Layer 7. The newcomer treated the demons merely as test subjects for his skill. The rescued man collapsed in relief, gasping for breath and life. Bai Yifan smirked, taunting the approaching demons and wondering why there were so few. The man behind him paled, shouting that the rest had been lured away, and then frantically asked if Bai Yifan had any light artifacts. Bai Yifan calmly replied he did need such glowing trinkets. Hearing that, the man trembled in despair, thinking if even experts died here, they had no hope. Bai Yifan ignored him and dashed forward with lightning movement. He reassured briefly that these creatures weren't even worthy opponents. One sword sweep decapitated the entire horde, their bodies falling like dead leaves. The man behind him stared wide-eyed, unable to believe what he saw. Bai Yifan calmly noted that strength couldn't be judged by appearance. Before the man recovered, new roars erupted as stronger demons surged in. Bai Yifan instantly activated the violent rain sword technique. Striking upward through the air, the demons froze in shock, realizing a powerhouse far beyond their expectations had appeared. Panic spread, they fled, except one with a demon spear who charged back to fight. It was a giant demon, its aura suffocating across the battlefield. Bai Yifan instantly gauged it as mid-resonance realm worthy of a serious duel. He decided to take out the leader first. His sword light slashed forth, but the demon blocked it with lightning reflexes, landing lightly. Bai Yifan gathered spiritual energy into his palms, forming blazing golden orbs. The orbs shot out like meteors, turning into golden palms that pierced straight through the demon's body. In a flash, the foe collapsed, and Bai Yifan smiled in satisfaction at the test result. The rescued cultivator gawked, unable to believe a mid-resonance demon died in one blow. The remaining monsters instantly broke morale and scattered. Bai Yifan raised his hand coldly, saying since they'd come, they shouldn't dream of leaving. Golden fingers rained down densely, bursting in deadly fireworks. Demon corpses fell like hail, and the witness muttered in shock that all were wiped out. All flooded his chest at power beyond imagination. Bai Yifan calmly calculated contribution points from the corpses, treating it as casual profit. He walked on, musing about his new move's might, ignoring the man begging to tag along. Without looking back, he lay down to rest, enjoying rare peace after battle. Over the next 2 days, countless demons and fiends appeared only to be cleanly slain by him. He sprawled on the ground, eyes half closed, savoring a rare moment of calm in the abyss. Suddenly, light from his communication talisman made him open his eyes. Holding it, he suspected someone was sending an urgent distress call. Elsewhere in the abyss, Yu Huini and 2 companions stood tense and alert. Before her stood the Iron Armor Sect Group, 2 female disciples bound by Xiaoshai and Sun Xing, mocking the decline of the 5 Elements Holy Land. Xiaoxi sneered further, ridiculing their dried spirit veins and dwindling wealth. Sun Sing coldly threatened them to drop their weapons and talismans or shed kill the hostages. Helpless, Huani and her peers obeyed, trembling and praying the others would keep their word. Watching their talismans burn to ash, the bullies laughed madly, severing all hope of rescue. Then Xiaoxi ordered his men to surround the three completely. Huani gritted her teeth, demanding their true purpose and the promised release. Their reply was vile, ordering the girls to strip while the men laughed obscenely. Sun Sing shoved one disciple aside, urging her comrades to act fast. He spewed filth, boasting of trampling the pride of Holy Land women. One girl cursed back, exposing their shameless nature. Huani cried out to fight to the death so at least one could live to avenge them. Xiaoxi laughed maniacally, commanding his lackeys to tear their clothes off. At that instant, a sharp explosion shattered the air. Xiaoxi spat blood and fell dead on the spot, his allies frozen in panic. Sun Sing spun around at the sudden noise. Chaos erupted as they screamed, demanding to know who attacked. One stammered that Xiaoxi was dead but the killer unseen. A cold voice rang out, condemning the act of bullying women as utterly unforgivable. The newcomer sneered at the Iron Armor sect, calling them trash disguised as a sect. Sun Sing froze in terror. Realizing the man before her was Bai Yifan, she screamed for her comrades to flee. Knowing he was far too strong, Bai Yifan smirked, unleashed shattering golden fingers, and declared none would escape. In an instant, every Iron Armor disciple fell. Sun Sing trembled, calling her peers' names in despair. Turning back, she saw Bai Yifan right behind her, his speed chilling her spine. Bai Yifan coldly stated he spared women, but depraved ones like her were exceptions. Sun Sing dropped to her knees, sobbing and begging for mercy in utter terror. Her pleas ended a heartbeat later with a scream and a splash of blood. Huani and her two peers bowed deeply, admitting they couldn't imagine the outcome without him. He humbly brushed it off, asking instead about the entrance to the 8th layer. Hearing that, Huani couldn't hide her shock. She warned seriously that Layer 8 might hold divine-level demons. Urging utmost caution, he nodded in thanks. She then described the path, follow the river to reach the deeper passage. Bai Yifan smiled and offered demon spoils as gifts, delighting the three women. He even added rare spirit nectar for healing, stunning them with its high value. After farewells, he left calmly, leaving a promise to stay in contact. The three whispered praises: heroic, generous, and undeniably handsome. From afar, Wang Dang and Go Yang, hidden in the shadows, watched with envy, suspecting Bai Yifan had gained even more. Gao Yang sighed in defeat, clearly frustrated by the sight. A cold female voice snapped, calling Wang Dang useless. It was his sisters. Wang Dang turned in shock to see Wang Meng standing behind him. Gao Yang leered and made a crude remark, but didn't finish before dooming himself. A chilling blade touched his neck, cutting his words short. Wang Meng released killing intent and ordered absolute silence. She warned coldly that one more step meant instant death. Gao Yang turned pale, trembling and begging for mercy. She sheathed her sword, revealing she had reached late Purple Residence realm and would soon train on the 9th layer. She scolded Wang Dang for failing to act against Bai Yifan as promised, leaving him stammering excuses. Gao Yang muttered that with Bai Yifan's strength, they couldn't win anyway, so patience was wiser. Wang Meng coldly snapped, asking who gave them permission to act at all. She revealed she had another plan, one ensuring Bai Yifan's certain death. Meanwhile, Bai Yifan reached a massive lake swirling with a vortex, the path to deeper layers. His communication talisman lit up again, making him sigh at yet another distress call. After a brief hesitation, he chose to help and raced toward the signal. Seeing the caller, Bai Yifan was stunned by the familiar face. It was Hu Chun, panicked and screaming for him to stay back. Without delay, he struck down the demons while wondering why she was in this layer. The monsters were wiped out within seconds. Seeing that, Su Chun burst into tears of relief. Feeling reborn, she ran to him crying as Bai Yifan urgently asked about Liu Yai and Shen Xinyu. Through sobs, she said the demon chief killed Zhang Tang Xinyu, and Liu Yu was imprisoned in a cave. Bai Yifan was shaken by the news and puzzled how Su Chun ended up here. She panicked, admitting she had fled blindly and accidentally rushed into the 7th layer. Bai Yifan immediately ordered her to lead the way to rescue Liu Yi. Before the dark cave, Su Chun pointed out the prison spot while he told her to stay calm and follow. The deeper they went, the thicker the darkness, and Bai Yifan told her to stay close behind. Suddenly, he caught a full stench and grew alert. Su Chun feigned fear, moving closer under the excuse of poor visibility. A sly thought flashed: she planned to strike when he least expected, but Bai Yifan acted first, seizing her wrist and coldly exposing her intent. He snatched the talisman, realizing it was a binding charm, and demanded her true purpose. Su Chun stammered in panic, claiming she had grabbed it by mistake for light. Bai Yifan didn't believe her, pressing for truth as she trembled in denial. He had long suspected her low cultivation, yet safe arrival here was impossible. Su Chun coughed blood, crying desperately for mercy. Suddenly, a violent blast shook the entire cavern. To their shock, the escape route collapsed. From the darkness surged hordes of red bloodbats, vampiric demons swarming madly. Bai Yifan coolly noted this was a suicide trap, while Su Chun fell coughing, denying everything, screaming hysterically. Su Chun blamed them for betraying their promise. From outside came Wang Meng's mocking laughter. ridiculing Su Chun's foolish trust. She sneered that Su Chun had believed them far too easily. Moments earlier, Liu Yi's group had already fallen into their hands. Gao Yang interrogated them, but Zhang Ti resisted fiercely, condemning their betrayal of sect rules. The captors admitted they bore no grudge, only using them to bait Bai Yifan. The prisoners cursed their vile tactics, vowing the plan would fail. The enemies offered life in exchange for betrayal, but Shen Xinyu rejected with scorn. Liu Ai roared he'd rather die than betray his brothers. Furious, Wang Deng kicked Liu Ai brutally, sending him crashing to the ground. His comrades screamed his name. Terrified for his life, Wang Deng threatened them all with his weapon, yet Zhang Tai and Shen Xinyu defied him boldly. Wang Meng turned to Xu Chun, her cold gaze making the girl tremble. She tempted Xu Chun bring Bai Yifan here and shed earn freedom and spirit herbs. She sowed doubt, saying her teammates never truly valued or helped her. She added that betraying them was meaningless guilt, they'd die soon anyway. Finally, she promised status and protection within the Holy Land if Xu Chun joined them. Zhang Tai shouted in fury, insisting Xu Chun was a traitor like they claimed. Xu Chun's mind broke, torn between life and death. Back to the present, the conspirators grinned at their success while Wang Meng slipped away to avoid suspicion. His comrades confidently took over, vowing to finish the trap. Bai Yifan observed the demon bats individually weak, but deadly in swarms. He scoffed at their ploy and instantly cast a talisman. Runes flared, forming a solid defensive barrier. It was his strongest ward, blocking all attacks temporarily. Su Chun knelt outside, coughing and crying for protection. Bai Yifan coldly demanded to know who forced her betrayal. In despair, Su Chun confessed everything, begging for mercy. Bai Yifan laughed, reminding her he never promised to save her. Su Chun panicked, desperately appealing to his pity. She wept, admitting her sins and begging to live. The demon bats swarmed, devouring Su Chun amid chaos. Bai Yifan coolly declared that evil reaps its own end. Hearing her screams, Wang Deng rejoiced, certain Bai Yifan was dead. Gao Yang regretted the loss but was pleased their foe was gone. They decided to abandon the others in the cave to fate. Inside the barrier, Bai Yifan feared it wouldn't hold long. He refused to retreat. This was his trial by fire. Resolute, he unleashed blood key sword arts, shredding demon bats. He found the technique surprisingly swift and lethal. Then he activated a fusion talisman of spiritual power. A massive fire dragon erupted from his blade, radiating destruction. Watching enemies burn, Bai Yifan smiled, savoring absolute might. He planned to leave the cave and settle with his ambushers. Suddenly, a terrifying force from behind made him tense. He realized a stronger creature was still hiding. A giant demon bat unleashed sonic waves that rattled his blood key. He noted the sound technique exploited the cave's resonance. Seeing the disadvantage, Bai Yifan decided to retreat. Before he could move, another shockwave hurled him toward the abyss. He knew death was certain unless he reacted fast. He stabbed his sword into the cliff to slow his fall. He shouted, straining to stop his sliding body, but the cliff was too smooth to halt the descent. After a long drop, he barely landed safely at the bottom. Reaching the base, he chose to explore the abyss's secrets. He lit a soulfire talisman for illumination. He comforted himself falling into abysses often led to fortunes. Soon he found piles of gleaming white bones ahead. Seeing many races' remains, he guessed it was once a battlefield. His gaze fixed on two figures dead yet standing face to face. Even after ages, their bodies remained intact, proof of immense power. He deduced they were peak human and demon lords. With soldiers scattered around, Bai Yifan kept scanning the cavern below. He noticed a strange scroll radiating strong spiritual energy. Suddenly, an ancient voice called out to him. He spun and demanded to know its source. The voice claimed to come from a corpse, a remnant soul waiting 9,000 years. Bai Yifan was stunned by such impossible longevity. After introducing himself, he respectfully greeted the ancient senior. The remnant soul was pleased, praised the five elements' holy land, and asked if he knew its identity. Bai Yifan cautiously inquired while secretly preparing an escape route. The other claimed to be the progenitor of the Huangji Holy Land human emperor Xuan Yuan Jingqian. Hearing that, Bai Yifan froze, shocked by such an overwhelming title. He quickly recalled the three emperors legend and realized this soul was a supreme rank. Xuan Yuan Jingqian recounted the ancient Humandaman War and his mutual destruction with the demon emperor. He revealed the scroll was the demon sealing list, a sect treasure suppressing all demons. He lamented the unfulfilled grand mission and the lost peerless artifacts. Xuan Yuan Jingqian offered inheritance, while Bai Yifan remained calm and wary. The apprenticeship came with the supreme art Huangji 3 epoch diagram and priceless treasures. Bai Yifan bowed, outwardly agreeing. The other saw it as fate and asked for no gratitude. He urged Bai Yifan to kneel and begin the transmission. Suddenly, Bai Yifan stepped back, sensing something wrong. He bluntly accused the other of planning to possess his body under pretense. Xuan Jingqian hastily denied it, invoking his emperor status as proof. Bai Yifan refused the inheritance, citing his sex code. The rejection enraged the soul, making its energy surge violently. The old spirit revealed its ambition and lunged to seize his body. Bai Yifan confirmed the plot and prepared an escape measure. Without hesitation, he activated his spatial ring to flee instantly. In a flash, he returned to the modern world, narrowly escaping death. He planned to rest and devise long-term countermeasures against that threat. Suddenly, Xuan Yuan Jingqian's soul appeared right behind him. Bai Yifan was startled by the impossible turn of events. The human emperor panicked, finding himself powerless in this strange world. Bai Yifan realized the remnant soul had followed him across dimensions. The emperor gawked at modern electronics, mistaking them for divine artifacts. Bai Yifan seriously pondered why the soul wasn't erased by world laws. He decided to extract information from his new guest. Xuan Jingshan roared in fury, demanding his lost power back. Bai Yifan used a vacuum cleaner to forcibly capture the human emperor's soul. The trapped soul cursed nonstop inside the transparent container. Bai Yifan said interrogation terms, but Xuan Jingshan sneered in disdain. When threatened again, the emperor immediately broke down and agreed to cooperate. Bai Yifan questioned his identity and motive for possessing human descendants. Xuan Jingshan admitted long imprisonment had driven him past morality. Bai Yifan then asked about remaining artifacts in the abyss. The emperor confessed most divine weapons were broken and worthless. As Bai Yifan prepared to destroy him, Xuan Jingshan hastily revealed the demon sealing list still intact. He claimed the list originated from celestial scripture, could subdue all demons, and urged release to teach its use. He solemnly listed its 9 powers from soul-devouring and sealing to enslaving demons and cultivating without spiritual energy. Bai Yifan looked intrigued by the described power. Seeing him pull out a phone, Xuan Jingshan panicked, mistaking it for a new divine artifact. Bai Yifan calmly requested a detailed explanation of the Huangji dominating diagram. Though furious, Xuan Jingshan endured, secretly plotting future revenge. He explained the diagram had 3 layers, of which he mastered only the human emperor part. The art made the body nearly invincible, immune to most harm. Bai Yifan seemed satisfied, while Xuan Jingshan sighed in relief. Bai Yifan declared the soul was no longer needed. Shocking his captive, he laughed, showing the phone's recording, terrifying the ancient emperor with modern tech. Without mercy, Bai Yifan locked the soul in a microwave to erase it completely. Xuan Jingshan's spirit faded, releasing faint glimmers of light. Bai Yifan calmly bid farewell to the vanishing emperor. He believed such calamities shouldn't be kept close to avoid future trouble. After finishing, he prepared for the next step. Bai Yifan dripped blood to bind the demon sealing list. Instantly, he was pulled into a golden chaotic realm, the primordial world. He was amazed that the list drew his consciousness into the spirit domain, confirming the bond. Ancient celestial memories and demon-suppressing arts poured into his mind. The knowledge etched into his soul, granting him mastery as if owning a small world. Feeling his new strength, he eagerly wanted to test it on real demons. On the 8th level of the demon abyss, a feral demon wolf unleashed crimson aura, blasting disciples away. The disciples cried for help, unable to withstand the beast's power. As they tried to flee, they realized only an abyss lay behind, no escape. In panic, some prayed to ancestors, lamenting dying before enjoying life. Suddenly, loud thuds echoed from behind, making them turn in terror. Another wolf pack appeared, deepening their despair. Someone regretted greedily climbing too high and meeting this fate. Unexpectedly, the new wolves attacked the old pack, stunning everyone. The disciples noticed the oddity and watched more carefully. They saw the monsters savagely tearing each other apart. One noticed the newcomer's eyes gleaming with strange golden light. From afar, Bai Yifan smiled confidently, confirming the list could easily control demons. He recalled killing the bat leader but still missing Wang Deng and Gao Yang. Returning to the present, he saw the situation under control and prepared to command. When the old wolves were wiped out, the disciples gaped at the motionless new pack. Bai Yifan raised his hand, calmly ordering the end. The disciples panicked, thinking the wolves would now attack them. Instead, all the demon wolves howled and leapt into the abyss, ending themselves. Bai Yifan strode forward leisurely, descending to the next level, leaving the stunned disciples behind. Peeking down, the group froze in terror. One man trembled, thanking heaven for ancestral blessings saving them. On the 9th layer of the demon lake, a colossal bear-like beast roared, smashing fruit trees to pulp. A deft hand caught the sweet juice as the beast's rampage threatened to flatten the whole area. Bai Yifan sipped calmly, recalling 2 days of using treasures to control countless demons, even peak-level ones. With this mutant guard army, he felt confident to conquer the 9th floor and build a rotating legion of immortal beasts. The vision of ruling the entire demon lake became vivid. Any challenger would be crushed. Remembering past oppressors, his eyes turned icy. He vowed to repay humiliation 100-fold with his new power. A sharp howl suddenly cut through his thoughts, making him turn alertly toward the sound. In moments he arrived at a chaotic battlefield where elites of great factions clashed fiercely. Amid the fight, one group battled while retreating, their target's lair just ahead. He realized this was the demon Marquis extermination mission had been assigned. His guess confirmed. Curious, Bai Yifan gracefully descended the cliff, unwilling to miss such a sight. In the sky, a horde of monsters swooped down, led by a 2-headed, winged abomination, proof of this floor's danger. Facing them, he coldly decided to turn all foes into his servants. His command thundered as beasts roared and stormed forth like a black hurricane of destruction. Seeing defeat, the twin-headed creature flapped desperately to escape. He ordered shadow bears to block its path, crushing all hope of flight. The 2 bears struck with blinding power, and Bai Yifan felt sure their strength could easily subdue the foe. He decided to recruit more flying beasts to expand his ranks. Channeling energy, Golden light erupted from him as his demon control relic activated. Radiance bound the monsters, staining them gold with marks of obedience, swelling his army further. Feeling power to spare, he thought gathering more followers would be effortless. A thunderous explosion and pitiful wails suddenly echoed, startling him. The thought of an attack flashed through his mind, raising suspicion. Without delay, he sent his minions to scout the disturbance. Observing, he saw it was only shockwaves from two mighty forces clashing unrelated to him. Below, a massive beast battled a cultivator. Both exhausted yet unyielding, the young man roared, unleashing fierce punches and cursing the foe, calling it blood-faced Shura. Bai Yifan calmly assessed that such fist power marked him as an elite. Yet his opponent was no pushover. The Shura was a vicious D-player demon, equal to high-level human cultivator spiked, brutal, cunning, and verbally menacing. A lightning-like strike from the Shura hit the man's gut, yet he was shocked the human still stood, mocking in human speech. The Shura flung the man into the abyss. At the bottom, the cultivator lay motionless in blood as the Shura sneered, vowing to rip out his heart. Suddenly, weak demons rushed in to distract him, leaving him stunned and furious. He roared, accusing them of stealing his prey. Amid chaos, one bit his arm, shocking him that lowly beast dared resist. Enraged, he cursed and vowed to annihilate them all. Just then, a cold voice behind him made him whirl in alarm. Bai Yifan struck, stabbing his sword through the Shura's back, making it howl in agony and disbelief. The demon slave swarmed, tearing Shura apart as it screamed and cursed in despair. Furious at dying to such weaklings, it exploded with strength, blasting many away and swearing vengeance. One blow killed over 20 demons. Bai Yifan was awed by its commander-level might. Quickly steadying himself, he noted its exhaustion and activated his control relic. The Shura sneered, mocking the idea of being enslaved by a lesser being. Ignoring the taunt, Bai Yifan coldly forced the suppression, adding more power. Chains of light tightened, making the Shura shriek and beg for release. Unmoved, he frowned and strengthened the talisman, crushing the resistance. The slave mark glowed above the Shura's head, its fate sealed. When done, Bai Yifan sat panting, admitting subduing a commander demon exceeded his limits, but was worth it. Before him, the Shura knelt, submitting completely. Learning its name Beitu, he found it strange yet amusing. On command, Beitu checked the wounded human and confirmed he was an inner disciple of Zhenwu City. Bai Yifan calmly noted that in deadly zones like this, life and death were trivial. He ordered Beitu to open the storage ring sealed by soul imprint. Beitu breathed green mist over it, breaking the outer seal. Bai Yifan prepared to inspect the spoils. Inside were demon materials, bones, herbs, and mediocre artifacts. Initially disappointed, his eyes suddenly lit up at a crucial find. He confirmed it was the fierce fist technique once used by Huang Yan'an. Returning, Bai Yifan focused on mastering its 7 escalating moves, blending energy and intent. Lacking spiritual power, he used soul force instead, though his spirit was strong. Comprehension would take time. Luckily, the Earth-adapted version was simplified, otherwise even reading it would be tough. Just then, his phone rang. The caller had showed Sister Go. Surprising him, answering, he directly asked why she was calling. Her furious yelling about forgotten packages made Bai Yifan pale and nearly dropped the phone. He quickly apologized, admitting he forgot, and promised to pick them up that day. Last month, his mother went abroad to buy gifts, but since he was busy battling in the demon realm, he asked Sister Gu to receive the packages. On a rainy day, he came to her house to pick them up. Apologizing while marveling at the pile, she feigned sternness, then forgave him. After some small talk, Sister Gu led him inside. Bai Yifan saw a middle-aged woman waiting, who warmly called her daughter over. When the woman eyed him suspiciously, he quickly introduced himself as Go-Ru's tenant. The mother scrutinized him, silently judging him poor and disapproving their closeness. Go-Ru hastily clarified he was just a friend. Still, her mother bluntly advised her not to associate with men like him. Just then, a well-dressed man appeared, eagerly introduced by the mother as an ideal suitor. Go-Ru protested angrily at her mother breaking their agreement, but the woman justified it with talk of age and future. While Go-Ru sighed helplessly, the man's scrutinizing gaze made Bai Yifan silently exasperated. As they sat, the mother praised Tadong King's success nonstop, urging her daughter to listen. Tadong King replied modestly on the surface but felt smug inside. The mother was even more pleased. Go-Ru merely nodded politely and went to fetch the packages, leaving Bai Yifan with tea. Once she left, Tadong King started chatting, asking about his job and offering a card politely refused. Hearing that, he lectured that a man without a career had no worth in society. The mother echoed his flattery, while Tadong King bragged about owning a company and invited her to visit. He intentionally mentioned the luxury car parked outside to impress. Boasting, he claimed $1 million car was nothing special. When compared, Bai Yifan calmly said he wasn't interested in cars, anything functional was fine. That attitude made Tadong King secretly scorn him as all looks and no substance. He flaunted his luxury watch before pretending to rush off. The mother recognized the brand from TV, which made him even prouder, though he feigned humility. Just then, Go-Ru returned carrying boxes, noting many were valuable foreign goods. As she moved, she slipped and lost balance. The mother cried out in alarm. Bai Yifan dashed forward and caught Go-Ru before she fell. Holding her steady, he gently asked if she was hurt. She said she was fine. Watching, Tadong King fumed his chance to impress stolen. Worried the goods were damaged, Go-Ru checked, while Bai Yifan calmly suggested opening them to be sure. Tadong King sneered inwardly, thinking their things weren't worth anything anyway. When opened, a high-end watch appeared. Tadong King froze, recognizing a Patek Philippe, while Bai Yifan stayed indifferent. Curious, the mother asked. Tadong King hurriedly explained it was an ultra-luxury brand. Sweating from shock, Go-Ru panicked, apologizing upon seeing the cracked glass face. Bai Yifan ignored the broken watch, caring only for Go-Ru's safety, stunning Tadong King when he realized its true value. Casually, Bai Yifan gifted Go-Ru a bag from his mother as thanks. Tadong King froze, seeing it was a limited edition. Go-Ru's mother fussed over her, while Tadong King forced a smile to hide his rising discomfort. Bai Yifan twirled his car key playfully, half-jokingly asking about their health. Spotting the Porsche logo, Tadong King went pale, an unbridgeable gap exposed. Go-Ru's mother gawked at the car's identity, while Tadong King's pride crumbled completely. Loading boxes into the sports car, Go-Ru fretted it couldn't handle the weight, while Tadong King stood numb, seeing a Porsche used as a cargo hauler. Bai Yifan chuckled, reminding them a car was just transportation, a gentle counterpunch. Tadong King fumed inside, humiliated by his own words turned against him. Bai Yifan politely bid Go-Ru farewell and drove off. The Porsche sped away, splattering mud and leaving Tadong King stranded in awkward silence. Go-Ru told him to visit when free. Then everyone returned inside, back on the 9th level of the Eternal Demon Abyss. Bai Yifan resumed training his fist art. One punch thundered like an explosion, even shocking him with its force. Using only soul power, he marveled how devastating it would be with real spiritual energy. The Shurabai too knelt, praising his master's genius, but Bai Yifan coldly told him to stand. Knowing Bai Tu wielded spiritual force, he ordered a demonstration of true strength. Ba Tu unleashed a spirit-powered strike, simple at first, yet explosive upon impact. Bai Yifan was stunned by its might, but Tu explained it was a racial divine art for cross-realm killing. Bai Tu then cast a blood spirit spell, summoning countless crimson orbs with massive destructive range. The blast warped the terrain. Bai Yifan was horrified it could erase entire armies. Not stopping, Bai Tu kept showcasing ultimate techniques to prove his full power. Each relentless strike shattered the ground, radiating terrifying annihilation. When done, Bai Tu confidently asked his master's opinion of the display. Bai Yifan admitted the divine realm's power was beyond imagination without its prior weakness. He could never have subdued Batu. He realized he now possessed a warbeastier combat force. Bai Tu humbly said he was still inferior to the soul extermination nation array set by the flame cloud demon Marquis, startling Bai Yifan. Bai Tu revealed that the Marquis had arranged a 10,000 soul annihilation formation around the soulstone vein, enough to slay all cultivators below the Unity realm. Hearing that, Bai Yifan felt a chill. This so-called siege hit a vast resource struggle. The soulstones were rare treasures that nourished the spirit, coveted even by divine experts. When asked the true motive, Bai Tu confirmed the Marquis planned to escape, leaving the formation to slaughter human elites. Bai Yifan pondered grimly, suspecting a hidden power manipulating the cruel scheme. Dai Xiaotu was tricked into the deadly battle center. Within the chaotic battlefield, the air echoed with endless cries of slaughter. She unleashed all her strength in a fierce strike aimed straight at the demon beast. Suddenly, a terrified cry for help shattered the momentum. She panicked upon realizing the one controlled was Bai Yifan. Regaining focus, Xiaotu quickly ordered her teammates to cover her. She burst forth with spiritual power, performing a devastating ultimate skill. The sword light shot at the demon, forcing it to confront head-on. The demon pretended to scream in pain, feigning weakness. Under immense pressure, it had no choice but to release the hostage. Wounded, the demon fled but left behind a threatening remark. Xiaotu showed concern, while Bai Yifan secretly mocked the clumsy act. The final threat in the support zone was finally neutralized. Bai Yifan thanked her for saving him, and Xiaotu urged him to stay with the safe squad. La Shen angrily scolded her, but Xiaotu sternly refuted him. La Shen continued to sneer at outer disciples as worthless trash. Bai Yifan sarcastically retorted, mocking La Shen's arrogance. His words sparked outrage, and the crowd turned to question La Shen. Elder Ding appeared and stopped the quarrel. La Shen fell silent reluctantly but still looked displeased. Elder Ding grew suspicious of Bai Yifan's identity and sudden presence. Bai Yifan warned that the Flame Cloud Demon Marquis Castle was a death trap. Shocked by the revelation, Elder Ding exclaimed in horror. Elder Ding demanded proof, but Bai Yifan admitted he only had random intel and kept his secret. La Shen objected, using Ormine profits and Hololan pressure to push for action. He accused Bai Yifan of cowardly lies to save his own skin. Bai Yifan snapped around, his cold gaze locking on La Shen. La Shen froze, terrified by that aura. Bai Yifan declared he would never toy with human lives. He emphasized his warning was true and urged the elder to reconsider. Elder Ding hesitated, realizing the matter wasn't trivial. A distant voice scolded the Five Element Holy Land for their delay. La Shen seized the chance to stir the flames. Fully denying Bai Yifan's words, Elder Ding decided to advance, ordering Bai Yifan to come but not act rashly. Outwardly compliant, Bai Yifan secretly fumed and schemed his own plan. At the central battlefield, major forces were fiercely attacking the Demon Marquis lair. The Doba Holy Land shouted to claim first credit for breaking the formation. The Zenwu Holy Land declared no one would outpace them. Elder Du raged over the lack of manpower to activate the 5-element Grand Array and blamed Elder Ding's delay. Elder Ding hurriedly led his team over, apologizing for being late. Elder Du scolded him, saying their tardiness cost them advantage. He immediately ordered all disciples to charge the demon fortress. Bai Yifan grew anxious, knowing ahead lay a soul-slaying death formation. Determined to save everyone, he prepared to reveal his trump card. Small beads exploded in a chain reaction, flames and earth flying. Disciples screaming in chaos, Elder Du instantly recognized the danger and ordered a full stop. He warned it could destroy meridians, while Ding Mao suspected sabotage by another faction. Bai Yifan smirked inwardly, knowing they were merely seeds disguised as lethal aura. He recalled the grueling experiments to craft a non-lethal delay method. Bai Yifan believed as long as he could buy time, everyone would escape catastrophe. The chain explosions continued, dust engulfing the field as disciples screamed and scattered. Elder Du tried to calm them, insisting it was just an enemy's stalling ploy. Before he finished, a dreadful dark aura swept in, silencing everyone. From the tall tower came a chilling voice sentencing all cultivators to death. Malignant energy flooded the battlefield, striking disciples brutally. Maniacal laughter and deathly curses echoed nonstop. When the smoke cleared, the sight before them was horrifying. All eyes turned toward the fortress where the flame-cloud demon Marquis erupted with destructive force. Elder Du's face turned pale, seeing other factions almost completely annihilated. La Shin muttered in terror, unable to believe only the 5-element Holy Land survived. Bai Yifan secretly breathed in relief, knowing he had saved the situation in time. Xia Jingsheng appeared, sternly demanding an explanation for the anomaly. Ding Mao trembled as he reported the grim truth and confirmed the soul-destroying formation's existence. The Dean was shocked and demanded a clear explanation of the array. Ding Mao revealed the Flame Cloud Demon Marquis plot to lure 3 holy lands and wipe out their elites. Xia Jingsheng, astonished, asked who provided the intelligence. Bai Yifan stepped forward and admitted he was the informant. Xia Jingsheng eyed him suspiciously. Sensing the youth's identity was far from ordinary, he set aside the investigation for now. As the Flame Cloud Demon Marquis had clearly escaped, Xia Jingsheng immediately channeled Dragonblood's spiritual power and soared skyward. Disciples below gasped as countless soul stones were revealed. The Dean ordered the battlefield cleared, resources gathered, and survivors treated. He publicly praised Bai Yifan for saving the entire 5-element Holy Land. Xia Jingsheng promised to report his merits and ensure proper reward. Ye Xiaotao sighed in admiration, saying they escaped disaster and profited greatly. Lu Shen secretly seethed with envy, dismissing it all as mere luck. Bai Yifan teased mockingly, leaving Ye Xiaotao puzzled and Lu Shen even angrier. He asked to take his leave, but Ye Xiaotao hurriedly questioned his sudden departure. Bai Yifan smiled mysteriously, saying he was off to collect a debt. Lu Shen, fuming, followed to see what he was plotting. In a desolate area beyond Demon Ravine, Guiyang and Wang Deng spoke nervously. They smugly believed no one would dare expose their misdeeds. Suddenly, a stone flew at them with terrifying force. The wine cup in Wang Deng's hand shattered to pieces. Bai Yifan appeared leisurely, stunning the 2 men. Wang Deng panicked, unable to believe Bai Yifan was still alive. Bai Yifan coldly questioned him, deliberately deepening his shock. Wang Deng screamed denial, refusing to accept it. Bai Yifan gripped his neck tightly, eyes filled with killing intent. Wang Deng stubbornly shouted, pretending not to fear. Bai Yifan demanded the truth about Liu Ai and the other's fate. Wang Deng sneered, daring him to ask the King of Hell himself. Bai Yifan's voice turned icy, forcing Wang Deng to repeat that taunt. Wang Deng recklessly threatened that no one would dare strike him in broad daylight. He used the crowded surroundings as his shield. Wang Deng invoked his sister's genius status as a threat of revenge. Bai Yifan sneered, clearly unafraid of any lofty cultivation rank. He unleashed his blood energy, and Wang Deng was horrified to realize his foe had broken through. Terrified, Wang Deng begged for mercy, offering compensation and peace. Bai Yifan struck coldly, ending Wang Deng's life in an instant. Staring at the corpse, he deemed it a fitting end for such evil. The onlookers gasped in shock at the public killing. Gao Yang collapsed in despair, refusing to believe Wang Deng was truly dead. Bai Yifan turned his gaze on Gao Yang, making him beg in terror. Ye Xiaotao hurriedly intervened, scolding him for killing within a forbidden area. Bai Yifan calmly replied that he was fully conscious of his actions. Ye Xiaotao warned that slaughtering a fellow disciple meant certain death. Bai Yifan declared had finished Gao Yang first. La Shen watched mockingly, eager to see him punished. Gao Yang knelt, pleading for mercy under the guise of brotherhood. Bai Yifan demanded to know the fate and burial place of Liu Yai and the others. Gao Yang stammered denials in despair. Yifan sliced off his hand, drawing a scream of agony. Bai Yifan furiously exposed his crime of abandoning comrades to be torn apart by beasts. Gao Yang kowtowed desperately, begging for his life. Yifan coldly told him to confess his sins in hell. Just as the killing blow was about to fall, a powerful force stopped him. Ding Mao appeared in time, demanding Bai Yifan be taken for public trial. Bai Yifan was quickly escorted to the judgment platform. Setting foot on the stone steps, he realized it was the harsh execution days from ancient records. Each step forward weighed on him like a mountain. Before the stern elders, Bai Yifan calmly proclaimed his innocence. One elder shouted, condemning him for denying responsibility after killing a peer. Bai Yifan fiercely argued back, decrying the injustice of laws that fail the victims. He insisted his act was righteous, purging evil for the Holy Land, and that this trial was absurd. The atmosphere on the platform grew suffocatingly tense. Gao Yang suddenly wailed, slandering Bai Yifan and twisting the truth. He pretended to have survived thanks to the elder's timely rescue. Bai Yifan mocked his ever-improving talent for fabrication. The fat elder turned to consult the other two. The long-bearded elder suggested leniency considering Bai Yifan's merit. The female elder objected firmly, saying murder cannot be excused by merit. Gao Yang seized the moment to cry harder, further smearing Bai Yifan. The fat elder concluded that murder was proven, and the other victims lacked witnesses. Just then, a voice rang out denying the claim of no witnesses. The three supposedly dead disciples appeared, stepping onto the platform to testify. Gao Yang froze in panic at the sight of those who should have perished. Bai Yifan laughed heartily, teasing that their tardiness nearly made him handle justice himself. Even the presiding elder was astonished to see the witnesses alive. Liu Yi proudly announced they not only survived but advanced in cultivation within the demon ravine. The female elder sternly demanded a full account of the truth. Bai Yifan smiled enigmatically and calmly began his explanation. He described Liu Yi being tied up in the demon ravine while Xin Yu, fearing noise, kept silent to avoid drawing monsters. Just as the warning ended, strange sounds echoed from the deep forest. The three panicked, thinking a demon beast had come. It turned out to be just a rabbit, making them sigh in relief, but the creature soon transformed into a raging monster and attacked ferociously. The trio despaired, believing death was certain. Suddenly, the beast was slain in an instant, leaving them stunned. Bai Yifan arrived just in time to save them. He freed the trio, checked their wounds, and reassured them. Yifan decided to hunt down the mastermind himself, telling them to retreat first. Liu Yi and Shen Yu wanted to join for revenge but were refused. Yifan insisted they were too injured and should focus on survival. As they spoke, a chorus of beastly roars echoed from afar. Hordes of demon beasts appeared, surrounding them on all sides. They realized the earlier explosions had attracted the monsters. The three raised their weapons, unwilling to be burdens. Yifan chuckled, scolding them for speaking so gloomily about death. He confidently promised that as long as he was there, no one would die. His companions still worried. Seeing how numerous and strong the beasts were, they urged a temporary retreat for safety. Yifan activated his spiritual artifact, radiance engulfing the area. The demon beasts shrieked in confusion. Blinded by the light, the artifact's power wiped out every beast in an instant. Yifan retrieved the artifact once the battle ended. Liu Yi gasped in awe, curious about the relic's origin. Shen Yu trembled in shock, recognizing it as a lost ancient holy treasure. Bai Yifan calmly explained it was a protective item had prepared earlier by their suggestion. Shen Yu watched in admiration, praising how the artifact perfectly restrained dark creatures, even scaring away feral beasts. Bai Yifan told them to return to the city for recovery, promising to reunite after settling the conflict. The group hesitated, uneasy about holding such a priceless treasure. Bai Yifan declared that brotherhood outweighed any treasure and swore loyalty beyond life and death. Deeply moved, they pledged absolute loyalty and wished him safe return. Bai Yifan reassured them, vowing to purge all abominations and repay every debt tenfold. Before the council, Bai Yifan clearly presented every detail without concealment. Elder Kai sternly questioned the trio, demanding confirmation of his account. The three disciples knelt, testifying that the conspiracy originated from Wang Deng and his cohorts. Bai Yifan confronted Gao Yang directly, using the living witnesses to expose his lies. Elder Kai furiously ordered Gao Yang to reveal the full truth immediately. Gao Yang panicked, confessed his crimes, and named the one pulling the strings. Before he could finish, a strike from above pierced through his body. Gao Yang screamed and collapsed dead on the spot. The punishment elder coldly declared his execution justified and a warning to all. Witnessing the bloody scene, Bai Yifan silently sensed haste and something off about her. The female elder turned her judgment on Bai Yifan, saying his reasons were valid but his actions broke protocol. She sternly lectured that a cultivator must guard their heart. For letting darkness in destroys one's path, she concluded that restricting his cultivation for 10 years was a fair sentence. Liu Yi and Shen Yu furiously objected, calling the verdict ungrateful and unjust toward their savior. Bai Yifan calmly smiled, asking if the sentence would change should he offer an ancient holy treasure. The female elder froze, suspicion flickering in her eyes at his sudden words. He cited the Holy Land's ancient rule of reducing punishment by offering treasures. Declaring his readiness to surrender a supreme relic, Elder Kai was stunned, doubting he truly possessed such a divine item. Another elder argued that no treasure, however rare, could equal a human life. Yifan leisurely produced several more spiritual herbs, asking if 10 of these would suffice. The elders were collectively dumbfounded, eyes wide in disbelief at the number. Someone stammered, voice trembling at the unimaginable value. Yifan then casually displayed 20 more, saying if that wasn't enough, he still had plenty. The three elders were nearly dizzy, unable to believe the number 20 he uttered. He even revealed he still had about 30 more ancient spiritual herbs of the same kind. Everyone gasped, realizing the hoard's value could buy dozens of great cities. The female elder tried to stay composed, but her tone betrayed shock as she demanded the origin of such wealth. Ifan softly replied he had once stumbled upon a hidden treasure vault within the holy domain. Elder Kai fell silent in thought, then turned to privately discuss the matter with the female elder. Ifan smirked, feigning disappointment, hinting that if unwanted, the treasures would be buried with him. He added that he had intended to dedicate them to the sect, but if rejected, had rather take them to the grave. Another elder panicked, objecting that destroying such relics would be a devastating loss to the Holy Land. He stressed that Yifan not only recovered precious herbs but also achieved great merit by securing the Soulstone mines during the Demon Fortress campaign. Considering his three major merits, punishing him would anger thousands of disciples, rewarding him would restore morale. One elder agreed, saying allowing Yifan to atone by contribution and offering treasures was both just and honorable. After reaching consensus, he turned to ask Elder Long, who coldly responded with reluctant approval. The council announced Bai Yifan's achievements, recovering 30 ancient herbs and saving 5 academies at Demon Ravine, and granted him elixirs and spirit stones as reward. Liu Yi and his comrades rejoiced, unable to contain their excitement over the unexpected victory for Brother Fan. Amid the cheers, Bai Yifan stepped forward to express gratitude, then suddenly made another request. Elder Kai was surprised, while Elder Long mocked him, saying greed knows no bounds. Bai Yifan voluntarily requested imprisonment at Ghost Sorrow Cliff for 3 months to atone. The hall fell silent in shock. No one could believe their ears. His teammates panicked, reminding him Ghost Sorrow Cliff was a dark prison for the most dangerous offenders. Bai Yifan calmly affirmed he knew, saying it was his way to uphold sect law and honor the punishment hall. Elder Kai admired his humility and integrity, praising his potential, then turned to ask Elder Long's view. The female elder fumed but begrudgingly admitted he was an extraordinary individual. Bai Yifan sneered inwardly, thinking that even if time turned back, he would kill Wang Deng again without regret. The request for confinement was actually to distance himself from the schemers in the Holy Land and protect his treasures from prying eyes. The first benefit was earning the elder's favor while legitimizing his reward. The second was that Ghost Sorrow Cliff's isolation made it ideal for secluded cultivation. The final benefit was having freedom to secretly investigate the mastermind behind the sect's conspiracies. The elders approved, officially sentencing him to 3 months at Ghost Sorrow Cliff. Bai Yifan gladly accepted, bowing in thanks before leaving with 2 guards. Liu Yi stood speechless, too choked up to speak. Bai Yifan turned back to reassure his team, telling them to train hard and wait for his return. They answered firmly, vowing to work hard and not fall behind. Just then, an enraged voice shouted, furious that the punishment was only 3 months. The man accused his master of disgracing justice by going soft on a public killer. The elder snapped, admitting he was powerless against Bai Yifan's incredible luck and might need to silence him to maintain order. Wang Meng seethed with hatred, both jealous and resentful of Bai Yifan's undeserved fortune. The elder scolded him impatiently, warning to stay in line or face consequences. Burning with vengeance, Wang Meng swore an oath to hunt Bai Yifan to the end. A month later, Liu Yi and the others visited Ghost Sorrow Cliff. Growing uneasy at the eerie scene, Xin Yu stepped forward, pleading with the guards to let them see Bai Yifan briefly. The guards coldly refused, reminding them this was a forbidden prison for dangerous offenders. Xin Yu bowed her head in disappointment, and Zhang Tai gently urged everyone to leave. Liu Yi glanced back anxiously, worrying Bai Yifan could endure such a place. Xin Yu sighed, recalling rumors of the cliff's brutal climate, scorching days and freezing nights. She grew even more uneasy, thinking of Bai Yifan's not-so-robust physique. Liu Yi imagined miserable conditions, poor food, hardship, and crawling vermin everywhere. The group hugged and cried, vowing to throw a grand feast when he was released. Contrary to their fears, Bai Yifan was actually enjoying a surprisingly comfortable time in Ghost Sorrow Cliff. He silently reminded himself not to grow complacent, lest he lose his cultivation spirit. From afar, Jang Ling quietly observed, puzzled why he'd willingly take such punishment. 2 months later, the warden informed him his confinement was over and advised him to live properly outside. The guard joked half seriously as they said farewell, treating it as their last meeting. Outside the cliff, Liu Yi and the others waited eagerly, cheering when he appeared. Liu Yi's eyes widened in disbelief at the sight before him. Bai Yifan stepped out muscular and radiant, grinning as he asked why they looked so shocked. Once back, the group immediately threw a lavish banquet to celebrate his freedom. Everyone was astonished to find his cultivation not weakened, but significantly advanced. Xin Yu teased playfully, making Liu Yi blush and admit she had trained hard not to shame Brother Fan. Liu Yi suddenly pointed at Shen Yu and Zhang Tai, accusing them of pairing up in cultivation to speed up their breakthroughs. Bai Yifan frowned in surprise, asking seriously what forming a Dao partner truly meant. Zhang Tai explained that Dao partners support each other's cultivation, sharing insights and techniques to advance faster. Liu Yi bluntly revealed it was basically dual cultivation, making Shen Yu blush furiously and throw a bun at him to shut him up. Bai Yifan's eyes lit up, praising it as an impressively efficient path to power. Shen Yu shyly said that with his current strength, there was no need to rush, suggesting he join the upcoming Outer Sect tournament instead. Bai Yifan frowned in thought, repeating the tournament's name under his breath. Zhang Te eagerly explained it was the Holy Land's annual event. Rich in rewards and granting access to secret realms, Bai Yifan agreed with interest but said he had one important matter to handle first. On the way to the affairs hall, he planned to trade all his spoils for contribution points. Upon arrival, Bai Yifan politely greeted the staff and offered to submit his materials from the Demon Ravine. The hall master waved lazily, inwardly dismissing him as just another outer disciple. Bai Yifan calmly mentioned that he wasn't sure how many points his large batch of materials would be worth. The old man scoffed in disbelief, telling him to show what he had. Bai Yifan leisurely displayed 800 demon horns he had collected. Hearing the number, the hallmaster jumped up pale-faced in shock, not stopping there. Bai Yifan produced 1,000 bottles of beast milk, nearly making the old man collapse. When he mentioned 10,000 demon hides, the hallmaster completely lost his composure. Bai Yifan calmly confirmed the count and asked for their contribution value. The hallmaster was stunned, unable to believe such loot came from an outer disciple. Seeing him frozen, Bai Yifan had to wave a hand to bring him back to reality. The old man stammered, quickly beginning a careful inventory. After calculating, the hallmaster declared a total of 24,000 contribution points. The outer disciples outside erupted in chaos, unable to believe one of their rank had earned such a massive sum. Bai Yi thanked them calmly and left, deciding to hide the rest of his spoils to avoid attention. He assessed that he had reached his current limit and needed a stronger technique and weapon to match his power. As he pondered, someone suddenly stepped in his way. Looking up, he saw Jang Ling wanting a private talk and nodded in agreement. At his residence, Jang Ling was astonished by the dense spiritual energy, far richer than in her own quarters. Bai Yifan explained had arranged spirit-gathering herbs and offered to share them if she wished. He gently poured her tea, his calm demeanor making the atmosphere pleasant. Jang Ling was captivated by the aroma, curiously asking about the strange yet delightful drink. Bai Yifan grinned, saying it was just tea blended with beast milk, secretly pleased by its irresistible charm. After sipping the tea, Jang Ling finally turned to the real reason for her visit. She produced several treasures as gifts, leaving Bai Yifan stunned by her thoughtfulness. The first item was the Channel Flying Sword, controlled by Soul Force, whose long-range lethality greatly impressed him. Next came a spear-grade cultivation method tailored to his realm. Moving Bai Yifan with her thoughtfulness, she even prepared special spirit elixirs to aid his sword technique training, showing her meticulous care. Lastly were 2 rare pills for breaking into Divine Ability Secret Realm. Filling him with joy, Siang Ling explained that the Devourer pill guaranteed near certain breakthroughs within years, shocking Bai Yifan. Yet she warned that it drained the soul's potential, limiting future cultivation progress. Hearing this, Bai Yifan asked about the effect of the Forgetus pill. Siang Ling said it was a gentle elixir focused on strengthening foundations and unlocking long-term potential. Bai Yifan was stunned to realize all those treasures were prepared just for him. Siang Ling admitted she had meant to visit earlier and said his heroism deserved reward, not punishment. Her words deeply touched Bai Yifan, warming his heart in rare sincerity. Flustered under her gaze, he awkwardly asked why she was staring. Siang Ling bluntly reminded him his royal-grade aptitude was poor, and reaching the Divine Ability realm was almost impossible. Bai Yifan boldly proposed a bet to prove himself, surprising her with his daring. He declared he could reach the Divine Ability realm on his own without the Devourer pill. The wager if he succeeded within half a year. Siang Ling must become his cultivation partner. Siang Ling was stunned, never expecting him to be so direct. Bai Yifan cheerfully explained that cultivation partners merely train together, prompting her to ask if he truly understood its deeper meaning. His overly simple explanation left Jang Ling completely speechless. When asked about failure's consequence, Bai Yifan cheerfully accepted any punishment she chose. Jang Ling laughed and agreed to the bet even knowing it brought her no gain. Bai Yifan's blushing joy clearly betrayed his excitement. Jang Ling stressed how hard the goal was, using it to spur him on. Bai Yifan secretly vowed to prove his worth no matter what. He set his short-term goal breaking into the top 10 of the upcoming Outer Sect tournament for the prize. Bai Yifan confidently declared he'd not stop at top 10, he was aiming straight for the champion's seat. After Xiang Linka left, he eagerly studied the gifted sword manual. The moment he opened it, Bai Yifan was completely captivated by its profound content. He realized this sword art far surpassed normal techniques, merging elements to boost power with each level of insight. Comparing pure swordsmanship and sword skill was simply impossible to judge clearly. To cultivate the golden sword art, one must form a sword embryo within the body, and the golden needle herb greatly speeds up the process. This spiritual herb bears golden seeds, sharp as needles, and looks just like a stalk of rice. Bai Yifan went to an agricultural shop on Earth to ask if they sold barley seedlings. The shopkeeper bluntly refused, thinking he was just wasting time, and kicked him out. Leaving disappointed, Bai Yifan muttered that online shopping was his only hope now. Half a month later in Bai Yifan's otherworldly home, Leah curiously asked why he stayed indoors all day. The door opened, and Bai Yifan cheerfully greeted everyone, arms full of golden needle herbs. When teased for being a farmer, he fiercely argued that these were priceless treasures. Before their eyes lay a field covered in golden needle herbs, leaving everyone shocked speechless. Zhang Tai and Liu Yi were stunned to learn this rare treasure from the Five Elements Holy Land was growing here in bulk. Bai Yifan volunteered to test his cultivation level with a sparring match. Liu Yi warned that it carried the Taoti bloodline, making his power and realm nearly unbeatable among peers. Bai Yifan only smirked and directly told it to strike. I stepped into the courtyard with determination as everyone cleared the space. Before fighting, I reminded Bai Yifan not to underestimate him. I then unleashed the Taoti Great Spirit technique, his aura exploding violently. A massive punch shot toward Bai Yifan with a loud warning shout. Instead, Bai Yifan calmly raised one hand to block and even mocked him for being weak. Liu Yi stared wide-eyed, stunned that such an attack was stopped so easily. Bai Yifan continued teasing that his current state was completely off. He even mocked that it couldn't handle a simple move. With just a gentle push, it was sent flying and crashed down with a pitiful cry. Shinnok Sinyu suddenly shouted, drawing everyone's attention. She pointed out that a sword embryo existed within Bai Yifan's danchin. Liu Yi, sweating profusely, was horrified and guessed Bai Yifan had entered a terrifying new realm. Bai Yifan declared the duel wasn't over and prepared a new move. He pointed his sword and unleashed the shattering gold finger, making Liu Yi panic and beg for mercy. Black energy swirled, making Liu Yi shiver, realizing a real hit would pierce him horribly. Liu Yi fully surrendered, admitting Bai Yifan's growth far surpassed imagination. Bai Yifan laughed proudly, satisfied that his sword embryo had converted his blood and Kai into Jang Gold sword energy. Growing so fast that even senior sister Jang would be stunned, he decided to keep nurturing his sword embryo with golden needle herbs, while Liu Yi could only sigh and beg not to be crushed again. The next day, the Outer Sect tournament filled the plaza with disciples from all directions. Bai Yifan's arrival stirred a buzz. With talk of both his feats and scandals about killing Wang Dang in his service to the Holy Land, he sighed quietly, accepting that it had become the center of gossip among the Outer Sect. As he walked leisurely, a voice called out from behind. Turning, he saw Yuanbai smiling warmly, greeting him and predicting he could reach the top 29. Bai Yifan calmly replied that his goal was rank 20, not lower. Yuanbai said Bai Yifan was too modest, as his fame from the Eternal Trial had already spread far. Bai Yifan firmly explained that rank 20 was accurate, anything less would be underestimating him. Just then, another person butted in mockingly, saying without late Purple Mansion's strength, even top 30 was a stretch. The speaker was Zioyi, the Outer Sect's 7th ranker, who sneered that aiming higher was just delusion. The crowd buzzed as two top 10 experts faced off, eager to see Bai Yifan's response. Yuanbai argued that if Bai Yifan hadn't been jailed at Ghost Sorrow Cliff for 3 months, had already be top 20. Women sneered, exposing that Yuanbai only flattered him to get the Forget Dust pill. He mocked that such a rare mid-grade pill in the hands of a yellow-rank talent was a tragic waste. Bai Yifan smiled coolly and asked Zioyi if he wanted the Forget Dust pill. Lifting the bottle, he made Zioyi instantly recognize it as the real deal. Bai Yifan half-jokingly said he'd give it away if Zioyi kneeled and called him father 10 times. Wu Min hurriedly stopped Zioyi, whispering that striking now would void his tournament qualification. Zioyi frowned, insisting he knew the rules and needed no reminders. He threatened that if they met on the arena, he'd beat Bai Yifan beyond recognition. Bai Yifan taunted back, saying a yellow rank defeating a top-tier expert would be far more entertaining. He even joked that such an upset would make the crowd cheer wildly. Zioyi turned pale with rage. Lost for words, Wu Min added fuel, saying arrogant men always die early on the stage. Bai Yifan smiled confidently, boldly declaring he was always ready to fight. From afar, Jang Ling and Yixiachua watched, noting that such arrogance easily invited trouble. Yet Jiang Linga admitted she actually found that attitude intriguing. Yixiachua teased her, making Jiang Linga blush and stammer while she kept joking. Just then, a majestic voice echoed, making everyone look up. Presiding elder appeared midair, introducing himself and announcing the tournament rules. He declared that 8,000 disciples would battle on 4 arenas, and anyone knocked off would be eliminated. When only 20 remained, the tournament would switch to unknown life and death duels. The rules allowed serious injury or even killing. Unless the opponent conceded, the top 10 would receive rare treasures, with the champion gaining supreme spiritual energy. Lower ranks would also get techniques, pills, and other fitting rewards. Bai Yifan quietly judged that the prizes were tempting enough to go all out. As the announcement ended, the plaza erupted and disciples rushed onto the stages amid cheers. One challenger stepped up against Bai Yifan, while he simply smiled faintly at the provocation. Before the opponent could get close, Bai Yifan countered in a flash. In an instant, Liu Yezing lay flattened as Bai Yifan remarked he hadn't even used strength. Realizing the threat, nearby disciples suggested ganging up to eliminate him early. A group quickly surrounded him, loudly demanding he surrender to save himself. Someone impatiently proposed just knocking Bai Yifan off the stage. Bai Yifan calmly replied that they'd misunderstood who was cornered. His figure flickered like a ghost, and in a blink, all foes were blown off the platform. He coolly concluded that they were the ones surrounded. The stands erupted as Bai Yifan wiped out most opponents with one move, but all eyes soon shifted to Zioyi. Zioyi's side burned with battle spirit as he stood among a mountain of defeated foes. Seeing that scene, many disciples fled in terror. Their will to fight shattered. The temporary results placed Bai Yifan in the top 20 and Zioyi in the top 10. Zoe laughed arrogantly, pointing at the fallen and claiming that would be Bai Yifan's fate. Bai Yifan raised a brow, telling him to save his energy and show his strength on stage. The organizers then had the disciples draw lots to decide the next matchups. Bai Yifan drew number 10. Zoe drew number 18 and grinned, convinced luck was on his side. The crowd worried for Bai Yifan facing a top 10 early, but Li Yi firmly declared that Brother Fan was the strongest. On the arena, Zoe sneered, saying it'd go easy to repay the old humiliation. Bai Yifan coldly cut him off, demanding he strike. Zoe roared that he'd use the Azure Demon-slaying sword to knock Bai Yifan off. He lunged forward, unleashing his fiercest combo with relentless footwork. Bai Yifan merely flicked a finger, power bursting from the tip. Under stunned gazes, he used the shattering gold finger, golden sword key piercing straight through Zhao Yi. Blood splattered as Zhao Yi stared in horror at his chest wound, unable to believe his protective aura shattered in one move. From afar, Jang Ling marveled such a technique consumed vast golden essence. Yet Bai Yifan had perfected it across his whole hand. Xiaoqiu screamed in shock, while Jiang Ling shook her head, suspecting Bai Yifan was secretly loaded. Bai Yifan smiled slyly, hinting his opponent valued that sword far too much. He casually seized the weapon and snapped it in half like trash. Bai Yifan mocked that Zoya's threats didn't match his actual strength. Zoe went berserk, roaring that he'd fight to the death for his destroyed sword. Bai Yifan coldly replied, then unleashed a barrage of punches straight to his face. Zoe was beaten senseless, questioning who he was and where he even stood. In his daze, he kept taking hits while his thoughts turned to mush. Bai Yifan commented that lasting this long was at least some form of skill. Finishing the match, he delivered a final blow knocking Zoe off the platform. Lying below, Zoe wailed pitifully, calling out for his lost sword. The audience was stunned as Bai Yifan rocketed from a low rank to 7th place in mere moves. The elder immediately declared Bai Yifan the victor. Returning to his group, Bai Yifan asked their results. Liu Ai gleefully said it made top 10 but was still far behind Brother Fan. The rest stopped at top 50, considering it their best record ever compared to Bai Yifan's leap. Suddenly, a thunderous cry erupted from another arena. A figure was blasted off and crashed before everyone. It was senior brother Te. The fallen one turned out to be De Yuan Bai, ranked 3rd among the outer sect. His victor, Xiao Shi, stood calmly, completely unfazed. Te Yuanbai gritted his teeth, vowing to surpass Xiao Shi someday to wash away his shame. Xiao Shi only glanced down coldly, finding that ambition laughable. The crowd buzzed. No one expected Xiao Shi, thought to be in seclusion, to appear at the tournament. They whispered that Xiao Shi had been the undefeated outer sect champion for 4 years, his strength terrifying. Bai Yifan briefly remarked that the man indeed had real power. Xiao Shi strode forward slowly, his proud gaze locking firmly onto Bai Yifan. Bai Yifan calmly acknowledged his identity and directly asked what guidance Xiao Shi sought. Xiao Shi praised his recent feats and expressed interest in a duel someday. Just then, another voice interrupted, calling Xiao Shi by name. Xiao Zhen appeared, declaring that only he was worthy to face Xiao Shi. The crowd erupted. The return of Xiao Zhen shocked everyone. Xiao Shi coolly mentioned Xiao Zhen's defeat last year and wondered about his current strength. Xiao Zhen tossed a corpse to the ground, proudly saying his power spoke for itself. The crowd surrounded the body and gasped it was Lionhead Shea. That man was a top-ranked criminal of the Holy Land, peak Purple Mansion cultivator infamous for brutality. Everyone was stunned to learn Xiao Zhen had slain a foe worth 20,000 spirit stones. Xiao Zhen sneered, bragging about a 7-day hunt and ordering the corpse exchanged for merit points. Disciples hurried to obey. Hauling the body away, he then released his spiritual power and summoned a junior disciple forward. The unlucky one he grabbed happened to be the next scheduled fighter. Xiao Zhen forced him to forfeit, making the man fake an injury and withdraw. Xiao Shi watched and sighed, realizing Xiao Zhen was finally getting serious. 2 hours later, Bai Yifan won fight after fight without real resistance. Every move he made left the audience dumbfounded. Below the stage, some jealous disciples whispered doubts about how Bai Yifan grew so strong so fast. They trembled upon realizing he had broken into the top ranks. Liu Yi loudly countered, shouting that Brother Fan was the true number 1 of the outer sect. At that moment, the presiding elder stepped up to announce the top 3 names. One of them was Bai Yifan, the other 2 were Xiao Shi and Xiao Zhen. Xiaoqiu was stunned. A mere yellow-ranked disciple in the top 3 was unbelievable. Xiao Zhen sneered that at least the outer sect finally had someone interesting. The elder declared that the finals would be held tomorrow, with one fighter drawing a bye. The 3 drew lots amid tense silence. Bai Yifan drew the match lot and sighed, disappointed he couldn't rest. Xiao Shi calmly raised his lot, confirming he advanced directly to the final round. Furious, Xiao Zhen crushed his lot, vowing to defeat Bai Yifan in 3 moves before challenging Xiao Shi. Suddenly, he sensed something wrong behind him. Turning, Xiao Zhen froze in shock. The mark of defeat already showed. Bai Yifan stood tall, coldly remarking that the outer sect's peak might not even qualify as his opponent. The whole arena gawked as Bai Yifan used spiritual force to snap in several sticks into Xiao Zhen's back, pure arrogance incarnate. Xiao Zhen growled a threat, promising tomorrow would prove whose fists or words were harder. Shinak Xinyu worriedly warned of Xiao Zhen's danger, but Bai Yifan only replied that he knew exactly what he was facing. Liu Yu was utterly confident, even betting his entire fortune on Bai Yifen's victory. Bai Yifen laughed heartily, thanking him and promising a feast tonight before the fight even began. That night, in Wang Jr.'s sister's room, she wondered why Xiao Zhen had come to see her so late. Wang Mengqing warmly invited Xiao Zhen to sit and talk. Xiao Zhen sat down impatiently, saying he preferred to get straight to the point. Wang Meng offered a pseudo-spirit technique and 20,000 spirit stones, asking him to kill Bai Yifan for revenge over Wang Dang. Xiao Zhen admitted the offer was valuable but not tempting enough. He demanded additional benefits before agreeing to act. Wang Meng produced a blood-enhancing heirloom treasure to persuade him. Xiao Zhen still shook his head, saying it didn't meet his price. Wang Meng smiled outwardly but fumed inside, asking what else he wanted. Xiao Zhen dropped the act, revealing his vile intent and making lewd remarks toward her. Swallowing her fury, Wang Meng reluctantly agreed to let him have his way after the revenge was done. Xiao Zhen laughed loudly, satisfied with the deal. He even turned to harass other female disciples shamelessly. Wang Meng screamed in horror, shocked by his audacity. Xiao Zhen casually said it was just a little appetizer. The terrified women cried for help, begging for mercy. Wang Meng forced herself to stay calm, reminding him of tomorrow's battle to stop him. Xiao Zhen sneered that Bai Yifen wasn't even worth his concern. Two female disciples were dragged off by him amid desperate screams. The next morning, the stands buzzed with debate over who would win between Bai Yifan and Xiao Zhen. Most claimed Xiao Zhen held the advantage with his pseudo-spirit technique, while Bai Yifan was dismissed as an external force cultivator. Elder Mu from the Wood Court smiled, pleased with how fierce this year's competition was. The head elder agreed, hinting it was thanks to the rise of many promising newcomers. The Water Court's representative boldly declared their chosen target was already decided and no one else could interfere. The Gold Court elder refuted, saying no faction could force the disciples' choices. Elder Long sternly intervened, stressing the upcoming decisive moment in the tournament's grand scale. The organizers announced a new rule for more excitement: top fighters could go all out, with victory judged only by win or death. Bai Yifan felt a thrill realizing this year's matches literally wagered their lives. From afar, Wang Meng watched with malicious confidence. Sure her plan would end him, she swore that her clan's hatred would be washed away in blood today. Xiao Zhen arrogantly mocked, telling Bai Yifan to kneel early or face utter humiliation. Bai Yifan coldly brushed off the taunt, as if the man was talking to himself. Unable to contain himself, Xiao Zhen charged in with a direct attack. Their clash exploded violently, making the crowd fear Bai Yifan had been crushed. When the dust settled, Bai Yifan stood firm and unharmed, stunning everyone. He sarcastically admitted his opponent's high rank came with a bit of strength after all. The audience murmured, suspecting Xiao Zhen was using rare treasures. Wang Meng analyzed that his family artifact boosted power greatly and believed Bai Yifan's fate was sealed. Xiao Zhen kept taunting, daring him to see how many strikes he could endure. As soon as he finished speaking, he unleashed his most powerful ultimate technique. The crowd gasped as they recognized the Ten Tiger Force, a hightier Earth Court secret art long rumored to exist. Elder Long silently assessed that such a technique could overwhelm Bai Yifan's cultivation and surpass normal outer sect limits. Under pressure, Bai Yifan calmly countered with the shattering gold move. The explosive strike shattered the assault, leaving Xiao Zhen stunned that his body shield was pierced. Bai Yifan smirked, mocking his opponent's lack of real combat experience. He blurred forward with ghostly speed, landing a lethal kick that made Xiao Zhen spit blood in panic, completely losing ground. Xiao Zhen could only scream helplessly as he was sent flying midair. The audience below was in uproar, baffled how a yellow-rank rookie's strange movement art could dominate him so utterly. Cornered, Xiao Zhen gritted his teeth, swallowed a pill, and roared that it'd see how long Bai Yifan could last. Jang Ling and Xiaoqiu gasped it was a human vitality pill. Forbidden drug trading half one's life for brief power. Someone shouted a warning, demanding Bai Yifan kneel and surrender or face disaster. Before the words finished, Bai Yifan had already closed in at terrifying speed. Given no time to react, Xiao Zhen's eyes widened, dread flooding him. A crushing pressure like a tidal wave broke his resistance entirely. In despair, he realized this was spiritual power far beyond his endurance. Bai Yifan unleashed the Spirit Fist, a single devastating punch sending him flying. The entire arena shook. Xiao Zhen couldn't withstand even one counterattack. All eyes turned to compare whose fist truly ruled supreme. A disciple asked in confusion how someone without spirit cultivation could use a spiritier martial art. Xiaoqiu curiously asked Jang Ling about the strange technique, who answered it didn't belong to the Five Elements' holy land. The Water Court Elder and Wood Court Elder confirmed in shock it was the giant spirit fist of the true martial temple. In contrast, Wang Meng clenched her teeth in fury seeing Xiao Zhen unconscious. The arena grew tense as some wondered why the presiding elder hadn't yet declared the result. Just then, the elder stepped forward, sternly calling Bai Yifan's name. He demanded an explanation for using a spirit-level art from the true martial temple. Disciples murmured suspicion, thinking Bai Yifan might be a spy requiring investigation. Bai Yifan calmly recanted being framed during the demonic ravine trial and falling into the abyss. There, he discovered the mysterious Sun Rift and witnessed a life-and-death battle between an Azura and a yellow-robed disciple of the true martial temple. He explained he was taught the giant spirit fist's essence by that dying disciple, barely able to use it through innate soul strength to survive. The elder pondered, confirming his account matched reports of a missing yellow-robed inner disciple from the true martial temple. Wang Meng seized the chance to accuse him, saying even if innocent, a Five Elements disciple shouldn't wield another sex martial art. Bai Yifan reasoned back that the tournament rules judged only victory, not the methods used. Wang Meng fumed silently, her glare full of frustration yet unable to argue further. The crowd whispered among themselves, jealous yet admitting that fortune, too, was part of strength. The elder concluded that by the announced rules, Bai Yifan had violated nothing. Elder Long frowned inwardly, marveling at how this disciple kept stumbling upon rare fortunes. The elder advised Bai Yifan to prioritize Five Elements techniques, allowing the giant spirit fist only this once and warning restraint to avoid trouble. Bai Yifan bowed respectfully, promising full obedience. The elder formally declared Bai Yifan the victor. Luya's group erupted in cheers, praising brother Fan's overwhelming strength. Wang Meng glared at him with burning hatred, vowing vengeance one day. Jang Ling sighed in relief, her tension finally easing. Xiaochuo teased her for worrying so much, only to be scolded to focus on the next match. The elder then announced the final match, Bai Yifan versus Xiaoxi on a stage reinforced with spirit talismans. Xiaoxi confidently stated that while the giant spirit fist was strong, Bai Yifan still wasn't on his level. Bai Yifan answered boldly with action, striking straight ahead to test strength. Xiaoxi easily deflected with his fan, calmly noting that spiritier techniques drained too much soul power for repeated use. He challenged Bai Yifan to prove right or wrong through sheer strength, unleashing his spirit art. A violent aura surged straight at Bai Yifan. The crowd gasped as they realized Xiaoxi's fan wasn't mere metal but condensed spirit energy, a mark of the spirit link realm. Xiaotua whispered in worry, saying such a realm gap was nearly impossible to bridge unless Bai Yifan had a hidden trump card. Xiaoxi lifted his chin arrogantly, declaring that this was the true gap between genius and commoner. He summoned his sword, forming a storm of spirit energy over the entire stage. The spectators were horrified. It was the intersex sword control art, and the weapon was a high-grade artifact. The sword light tore through the air as Xiaoxi confidently proclaimed the battle decided. Silence fell over the arena in unbearable tension. Bai Yifan calmly smiled, parrying the blade aura while remarking that Xiaoxi's sword control still lacked perfection. Realizing he couldn't stall any longer, Bai Yifan chose to unveil his final trump card. He unleashed the Jing Gold sword art. The entire arena froze, even Xiaoxi was left speechless. Jang Ling stared in disbelief, wondering how Bai Yifan had mastered such a resource-hungry technique under limited means. Xiaoxi forced a smug smile, claiming that weak sword Kai couldn't rival his spiritual weapon. But before he could finish, Bai Yifan's sword aura erupted, completely overpowering him. Xiaoxi panicked. Unable to believe what he was seeing, he realized in terror that his spiritual weapon was on the verge of shattering. He hastily recalled the spirit sword. Though successful, he was drenched in cold sweat, mind trembling violently. Regret and dread surged in Xiaoxi's heart for misjudging his opponent. Bai Yifan warned that if Xiaoxi didn't fight seriously, he would truly lose. He formed hand seals, admitting his sword art's full power hadn't even been unleashed yet. The Jing Gold sword art erupted again at full might, sending hundreds of radiant sword beams into the air. Xiaoxi was horrified as the sword Kai multiplied severalfold in an instant. The elders were all shaken, unable to believe a single disciple could command such a staggering scale of sword energy. Luya laughed proudly, admiring Bai Yifan's domineering flair. Xiaoxi reluctantly used the dragon-soaring sword art and dragon-scale armor to defend, albeit his foe's extreme Kai control. Bai Yifan's voice deepened as he unleashed his ultimate move, Metal Sword Codex fused with Metal Breaker form. With a roar, Bai Yifan dropped a massive sword, its crushing aura throwing Xiaoxi into panic and disbelief. The dragon-scale armor shattered instantly, and the crowd gasped as Xiaoxi was utterly defeated. Bai Yifan stepped forward coldly, declaring the fight's conclusion. Trembling, Xiaoxi cried out surrender before the final blow could land. He knelt, begging for mercy, all traces of genius gone. Xiaotho realized in shock that without mercy, Xiaoxi would have paid dearly. Bai Yifan accepted the surrender as Xiaoxi panted, admitting defeat sincerely. Liu cheered wildly, praising the spectacular victory. The crowd hailed Bai Yifan as the outer sect champion. The hidden ace revealed. Elder Mu sighed, this half-year rookie overthrowing a four-time champion meant great upheaval ahead. Fellow disciples surrounded him with congratulations as Bai Yifan laughed. Exhausted, the elder announced the prize, a waterfire robe for the victor. Bai Yifan accepted it and bowed politely in thanks. He believed every academy would now fight to recruit him. Yet the opposite happened. The elders ignored Bai Yifan and surrounded Xiaoxi. The water, earth, and metal academies each tried to lure Xiaoxi to join them. Bai Yifan stood stunned, unable to fathom why the champion was disregarded. Saya Hojin mocked him, saying a yellow-grade talent couldn't compare to Xiaoxi's mystic grade. Shinsinyu spoke up in defense, but Xia Huzhen kept provoking. He sneered that luck fades. while talent gaps last forever. Finally, Saya Hujin claimed the elders ignored Bai Yifan because his cultivation was forced by external means. Bai Yifan calmly asked how that could be when had never used a Godavaring pill. Saya Huzin insisted the rapid progress must come from forbidden medicine. The crowd murmured in doubt, believing a yellow grade couldn't achieve such feats unaided. To many, that suspicion seemed a perfect explanation. Some pitied Bai Yifan, thinking neglect or poison had unhinged him. Saya Huzin mocked again, telling Bai Yifan to smile at the right time. Bai Yifan coolly retorted, mocking his short-sightedness and revealing proof. The crowd was stunned, had never used the Godavaring pill. His power was genuine. Xiao Tho and Jiang Ling were shocked that the pill they'd given him went unused. Bai Yifan countered sharply, saying only the weak hide behind drugs. Saya Haojin, unwilling to yield, reminded all the elders had ignored him earlier. At that instant, the elders' attitudes flipped upon learning Bai Yifan used no pills. The academies rushed to recruit him, showering him with offers. Shin Xinyu laughed heartily from behind, delighted at the sudden reversal. Contrary to expectations, Bai Yifan politely declined all offers, asking for time to think. The entire arena froze. No one expected him to reject every invitation. Bai Yifan knew the elders lacked vision and weren't the right choice. His current goal was rapid growth, seeing the eternal demon abyss as the perfect training ground. Leaving, Bai Yifan simply said he'd continue cultivating, ignoring his friend's curiosity. Back home, he vowed not to return until reaching the divine power realm within the abyss. Excited, Bai Yifan strolled through a lavish market, planning to treat himself to a fancy meal. Before entering, a familiar voice stopped him, stirring old memories. Chu Suji appeared, hand in hand with her boyfriend, mocking his presence in such a pricey place. The man beside her eyed Bai Yifan with jealousy, asking who he was. Chu Suji casually introduced him as an old college classmate. Bai Yifan froze briefly at the sight of the woman he once adored. Painful memories returned. Had given everything, only to be scorned and used. Chu Suji feigned friendliness, noting he looked taller and more charming now. Bai Yifan coldly turned away, saying it no longer mattered. Chu Suji's boyfriend shouted, pointing angrily for him to stop. Bai Yifan's casual release of keys sent the man sprawling in confusion. Onlookers burst into laughter at the embarrassing scene. Chu Suji fumed inside, humiliated by her boyfriend's blunder. Bai Yifan mocked them, advising not to invite their own shame. Chu Suji helped her boyfriend up, pleading to stay friends. Bai Yifan flatly refused, unwilling to tangle with the past. The man falsely accused him of harassing Chu Suji and bragged about saving her from a poor loser. Bai Yifan laughed scornfully, saying his taste in women far surpassed hers. Chu Suji sneered, saying he had only looks, no career, and no love. Her boyfriend dragged her away, dismissing him as a failure. Just as they gloated, a gentle voice drew everyone's attention. An elegant beauty stepped out from a VIP room, apologizing for keeping Bai Yifan waiting. The crowd buzzed in awe at her noble aura and status. Chu Suiji, burning with jealousy, asked her boyfriend if the woman was really that beautiful. Kyla gracefully linked arms with Bai Yifan, inviting him to dinner, but Suiji suddenly yelled. Suiji doubted Kyla's identity, suspecting she was his girlfriend. Kylie openly confirmed it, leaving them dumbfounded. Suiji mocked Kyla, saying beauty was all she had, not success. Kylie calmly flaunted her immense wealth, saying Bai Yifan didn't need to work. Suiji was completely shaken, unable to believe such riches. Kylie hugged Bai Yifan, declaring his looks made her happy every day. The crowd gasped in envy at the couple's sweetness. Kylie softly asked about dinner, driving Suiji mad with jealousy. Bai Yifan smiled and agreed, secretly amused by the charming Seo. Suiji glared furiously as the two walked away. She spitefully cursed Bai Yifan as a man who lived off women. Exege's boyfriend admired him, saying relying on women was also a skill. Suiji instantly twisted his ear, forcing him to apologize in fear. At the restaurant, Bai Yifan thanked Kai Li for rescuing him from that awkward scene. Quietly said it was nothing, but she had something important to ask. She directly inquired about his relationship with Tang Rongrong. Bai Yifan was startled, recalling how Rongrong had suddenly cut contact. Quietly explained that Rongrong was just busy studying and pursuing her goals. It seemed Rongrong wanted to better herself before returning. Bai Yifan denied doing anything wrong but felt uneasy inside. Quietly said her sister's change was good and hinted her standards for a brother-in-law were very high. Bai Yifan smiled wryly, knowing his status couldn't match the Tang family's Harris. When Kyla said he wasn't bad, Bai Yifan suspected she was testing him. Quietly hinted that his path shouldn't revolve around just one Harris. Bai Yifan was stunned, sensing deeper meaning in her words. Kylie didn't explain, simply smiled and stood to leave. As they exited, a commotion from a car accident erupted nearby. Kyla's expression darkened as she recognized the voices of that troublesome couple. Suiji and her boyfriend were loudly blaming each other for the fender bender. Kylie judged both equally guilty, the argument pointless. Calmly, she walked up and asked what they were doing in front of her car. The boyfriend apologized quickly, while Suiji fumed at seeing them again. The unexpected encounter made the air even tenser. Suiji cut off the apology, dismissing the idea of compensation. Her boyfriend snapped, pointing out the car's value far exceeded their means. Kyla coolly quoted compensation of around 100,000. Suji's face went pale at the staggering amount. Kylie smiled and asked Bai Yifan if he wanted to vent a little. She demanded Suiji bow and apologized 3 times to settle it. The boyfriend hastily agreed, but Suiji stubbornly refused. He pressured her to comply to avoid the huge payout. Furious, Suiji called him irresponsible. Kylie Essley urged them to decide quickly. Suiji reluctantly bowed in humiliation. Kylie mocked the insincere apology, threatening to call traffic police. Suiji panicked, apologizing repeatedly and begging for mercy. Kylie turned to Bae Yifan for his decision. Bae Yifan agreed to forgive them at her discretion and waved them off. Suiji left in bitterness, silently resenting the gap between rich and poor. Kyla's tone turned icy as she sharply demanded what Suiji had just muttered. Suiji sneered that the car wasn't Bae Yifan's, while Lin Junli nervously tried to calm things down. Kylie summoned her secretary to handle the scratch and bring out a few ordinary cars from the garage. Her deliberate tone made Bae Yifan suspicious of her intentions. Minutes later, rows of supercars appeared, leaving everyone speechless. Her aide reported they'd brought the cheapest ones as ordered. Kylie nodded in satisfaction. The luxury lineup stunned Lin Junlui. Realizing Kyla's sense of normal was absurd, Kyla affectionately told Bae Yifan to pick any car to drive home as a gift, leaving him both amused and exasperated. Lin Junlui groaned bitterly, overwhelmed by the outrageous display of wealth. Suiji exploded, scolding him, and he coldly admitted their relationship was purely transactional. Lin Junli bluntly suggested breaking up. Tired of pretending, Suiji lashed out venomously, calling him a parasite she regretted ever dating. Bae Yifan chuckled, tossing in a perfectly timed jab. Calmly unlocking the car, he quipped that too much humility only invites contempt. Suiji and Lin Junli froze as an unfamiliar engine roared to life. Bae Yifan invited Kylie into the car, declaring he'd drive her home himself. When they realized the top-tier car was his, everyone went silent. Even Kylie was stunned. Kylie immediately ordered the remaining cars to be driven away. The door closed, leaving the humiliated couple drowning in disbelief. Bae Yifan coldly reminded Suiji to recognize the reality after her earlier insults. He asserted that he and Kylie were equals. There was no dependence at all. The crowd stood frozen, unable to process the sudden reversal. The supercar glided away, leaving envy, shock, and silent awe in its wake. Someone half-joked about joining their relationship regardless of gender. Back in the cultivation world, Bae Yifan's comrades tried to stop him from returning to the perilous demon abyss. He insisted only in ultimate danger could he force himself past his limits. Luya wanted to argue but stopped, realizing this was Bae Yifan's chosen path. Before leaving, he entrusted spiritual food, pills, and treasures to ensure their training continued. His team promised to handle everything he left without looking back, vowing to return in 3 months transformed. Upon reaching Black Rock City, Bae Yifan assessed the life-or-death risks and prepared carefully. Suddenly, desperate scream echoed nearby. A veiled girl was surrounded, her father's corpse beside her, crying over stolen relics and murder. The leader, Fang Lin, brazenly admitted killing the man for failing to sell him the Fire Lotus seed. The girl furiously accused them of robbery and demanded the treasure back. He responded with a brutal shove, knocking her to the ground in humiliation. In tears, she begged them to return her father's relic. Fang Lin grew lustful, deciding her beauty was worth more than the treasure. He ordered his men to seize her, calling her their spoils. She screamed for help in vain while the gang laughed. No one would interfere here. Terrified, she shrank back, cornered with nowhere to run. Her fate seemed sealed in despair. In final defiance, she protected the Fire Lotus seed and sealed her own body. Fang Lin laughed cruelly, savoring her struggle and pain. Just as he struck, a sword light flashed. His arm was severed as a cold, mocking voice rang out. Screaming in agony, he writhed on the ground. His gang roared in panic, demanding to know who dared intervene. Bae Yifan appeared calmly, his contempt freezing the air. Someone recognized him as a member of the Five Elements Holy Land. Recalling past grudges, Bae Yifan sneered, declaring the stone armor sect rotten to its core.